Hello and welcome to the MinnMax Show. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Serial Vasquez.
Hi.
Jeff Marchiafava.
Hey.
And Kyle Hilliard.
Hi.
We're here. This is it. Last episode of the MinnMax Show before Christmas, and we're going all out. This is the official Game of the Year debate.
Last one of 2019.
Last of
Well,
the
not
decade.
quite, because we have one next week, which is the 26th. Which, let's just get right into holiday plans.
That's right. I forgot about that one.
Yes, we're going to have an episode that will be airing next week as well. We'll explain exactly how that works. I think the community will like it. And then the week after that, so the first week in January, we're going to be taking a week off. I'm going to be traveling and out in Seattle and stuff. So that's going to be our break. But we'll still have MinnMax content pumping out on the Patreon, patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns, and then also on the YouTube channel, stuff like that. But for the full MinnMax show, it's not going to happen. Also, the Great Goaty Hunt stream, that won't be coming back until January 7th when we have some real bangers. The first games of 2020 to finally play on that stream. I think it's going to be pretty funky. But for what we're doing here is this is the Game of the Year debates. And we wanted to air it all. We wanted to be transparent, show exactly what we're doing here. So we're talking about what the format should be, could be. We could rank the top 10 games of 2019, but it's like 10, you want some more to play with, you know?
Everyone does 10.
Everyone does 10. Giant Bomb does 10. Everyone does 10.
It doesn't scream MinnMax is the problem.
That's exactly it. And so we came up with two lists.
Huh? Two tens, you might say.
So we're ranking games from 2019 in a list of patreon.com/MinnMax.
Two tens.
Two tens.
There are going to be two tens here. Numbers 1 through 10, and then effectively, if my math is correct, 11 through 20.
Are we going to call that another our
so-
second top 10 list? Is that what it'll just be another?
Yes.
Is the official list called the MinnMax 210s?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Okay. For all official
The
terminology.
two tens of 2019.
Better
Beautiful.
believe it. Now, here's the thing. What we're going to be going off of here is our own flawed human brains. This is subjective to just this table. We can't do any of that stuff where it's like, well, I guess Sea of Thieves was popular for streaming this year, so we got to put it on the list.
Fortnite Game of the Year once again, because
None
so
of
many
that
people play it.
And so it's like, I get stressed out about these episodes, and then it's like, oh, wait, no, we just have to gauge how much we love each of these games, right? We're just being very subjective. It's just based on the people at the table. That is what is going into this list.
Yes.
Right?
And we should also add the other quick disclaimer that we always do, which is that none of us knew we were going to be here until 2 months ago or 3 months ago. And so we probably don't have as big of a back catalog to call on in terms of I certainly wasn't trying to play every single game from 2019 thinking I was going to be
In my
integral
basement
part.
at the end of 2019.
I don't know what you were talking. I fully expected to be in a basement talking about Games of the Year by now. You know.
But here's the thing. We're gonna make mistakes. You're going to listen to this and say, oh my God, you idiots. What are you doing? You're blowing it.
You're speaking in French for some reason.
That's right. And that is where the community comes in for next week's episode, which is going to be the community fixing our list. We're going to have to pre-record that one. So on Saturday, if you support patreon.com/MinnMax, 2Ns, 210s, I forget exactly what the name is at this point. But if you support us at any level, you get access to the Patreon exclusive Discord for MinnMax. On Saturday, this Saturday, we're going to have a channel in that Discord, and you can jump in there if you want to fight for why a game should be higher or lower or rearrange our list.
Or on the list at all.
Or on the list at all. We will then call you up, and so next week's episode is going to be interacting with the community, calling people in through Discord and stuff. So if you want a chance to be on this show, you can support MinnMax at any level. You could go $2. You could go higher. Hey, I'm not going to judge. You do what you want. But then you'll get a chance, and we might call you up and have you on the show, and we'll probably have some special guests as well for next week's episode. So it should be fun. Because I think, Kyle, you'll be gone, and Siri will be gone?
Yeah.
So 2 replacements. Who could that be? Let's find
direct
out.
all your Outer Wilds thoughts directly to me on Twitter.
Don't do it. So that'll be super fun. Again, that's going to be this Saturday, so you'll have a chance to fix this list. But look, there's nothing to fix at this point. But before we even get started, I want to point out on the TV behind us, if you're watching the video version, we have the Wall of Heroes. So these are people who have supported us at the $100 level for the month of December on Patreon, which is incredibly generous. And so we are basically out of N64 games to put behind us at this point, so we're just going to have the Wall of Heroes now running throughout the entire show. Yeah. If you would like any picture you want that's reasonable. We're waiting for those hot D-pad pics. I still want one at least. Any picture you want back there, along with your name, your YouTube channel, the name of your small business, whatever you'd like. You can support us at the $100 level, and then throughout January, we'll have your picture rotating. I'm hoping for more joke pictures, things that'll really make me laugh. Yeah.
That'll really distract us in the middle of a podcast.
That's exactly it. And again, that's patreon.com/MinnMax, 2 N's. Now let's get to the patreon.com/MinnMax, 2 10s.
2 10s. Woo!
Whew. Jeff,
How are we going to start this?
this is just, we need to start just throwing games on the list that'll probably be up there, and then we can whittle it down, actually get to the ranking, everything like that, right? That's the only way to really get through this. Jeffem, do you have one game that you feel like is confidently what we'd call the slam dunks in a previous era?
Right. I would call that One Piece World Seeker.
Are you serious?
Bold choice.
Kyle, will you fight for One Piece World Seeker?
I absolutely will fight for One Piece World Seeker.
Really?
Yeah.
Are a lunatic?
come
All right, the
on.
first one
That was
on the
supposed to be
list.
a joke one.
Shit, you picked a bad one.
You
I
messed
like
up,
that
dude.
game.
I looked through this microscopic text that Kyle printed out
Yeah.
and was looking for the
did he
jokiest
say?
one.
Can I take a turn? I think I'll be better at this.
Yes, Kyle.
Do we just want to
Resident Evil
bold One
2.
Piece World Seeker and just underline it and say Game of the
I
Year?
never would have said that if I thought it was going to go on that list.
Okay, so we're just throwing things on right now.
These are
you know?
locks.
It just, I
One
think you
Piece
should,
snuck on somehow, but
you
these are
should
locks.
only, raise a hissy fit here if you think like there's no universe where that's going to make our top 20, right?
Hanson, you should single space that list. It is.
You got it, dude. Yeah, if you're watching or just listening to the audio version, we have the video on the screen.
We've got more games to put on there. We don't have,
Is that
have time
right?
for scrolling, you know?
Okay,
Put the Outer Worlds on
That's
there.
right.
The Outer
There we go.
Worlds. Love it. Let's just go off the top of our head. Sekiro.
Yeah.
Scarrow.
Control.
Control. Yeah.
What else you guys got?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Mortal I love it, Surreal. Mortal Kombat 11.
Death Stranding. Yeah. Put it on there. Keep typing.
Okay, I raised an eyebrow at that, but we'll keep rolling with it. Wargroove.
Wargroove.
Okay.
How about a little Days Gone?
I'll raise an eyebrow.
I'm going to put that right next to Death Stranding for no reason. Okay.
Oh, because it's
Noted.
alphabetical. You're slowly working your way through the list. Okay,
That's
you'll
right.
figure it out.
That's right.
Link's Awakening.
Okay.
The Legend of Zelda. In case you were wondering what series that game is from.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's Jedi Fallen Order? I don't know.
Technically, it's Fallen Order.
Yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think.
Now,
Fire
should I
Emblem Three
write down,
Houses.
I think?
No, you can, and it's
Well, okay, Pokemon Sword or Shield. Which one did you guys play?
I played Shield.
It's Alt EE, by the way, for the E.
I've been copying and pasting that from Google
Oh,
my entire life.
As the Pokemon guy, I learned all the shortcut keys for the tilde on the E. It's Control 0233, I think.
Well, what are you
You
gonna
can
do?
also just not bother.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's better.
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Guys,
I say
this
that as
is the
someone who didn't
easiest
play it.
list making I've ever seen in my life. Tetris
this-
99, I'd argue.
Tetris 99. Disco Elysium.
Okay.
Dragon Quest
Said
Builders
very
2.
original.
Okay. Dragon Quest. Hey guys, these are a lot of games already. I'm starting to
yeah.
get worried about this list.
Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night.
Interesting. Finally, it comes up. There are a lot of people with last week's episode like, what is wrong with you guys?
Grindstone.
Interesting.
Untitled Goose Game. Oh, I shouldn't have
Go
gone twice in a
ahead.
row. I was going to say Untitled Goose Game.
Now, I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
I know we all like Untitled Goose Game, but did
Hey,
you finish
we are
it?
adding games.
Okay.
We will delete them
Yeah.
later.
I have very nice things to say about that game.
Observation.
Remind us, what was that one again real quick, sir?
It's the first-person adventure game in which you are an
Peeping
AI who
robot.
is guiding someone through a space station.
There it
And
is.
it gets weird.
What, the golf?
With the golf.
The golf.
Love it.
Oh, I'm doing this one for you, Hanson. Baba is you.
Oh, interesting. I don't know what
He
that's
wasn't
going
to say it himself.
Yeah, that's
I'm
weird.
doing
but
this
he
one.
would die if we didn't put it
That's
on
weird
there.
how that's
For
on
me.
there.
Ape Out.
Ape Out. Love it. Did we get Wargroove on yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on there.
Okay.
Gears 5.
Okay.
Garrus 5.
Hang on a second. I'm just going to, for no reason, put this next to
Have you said Dreams yet?
Dreams.
Dreams.
Hanson.
Love it. I will put Apex Legends on here.
Devotion.
What is
That's
Devotion?
the horror game, right?
Yeah, this is the horror game.
Really? That was pulled. Okay. Interesting.
Devil May Cry 5.
Devil May Cry 5.
Okay.
Crackdown 3.
No.
Let's just put it on. Let's put it on. You
Outer
guys.
Wilds?
Okay. And let's confuse everybody and put it right next to Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Holy
Give it
God.
the best chance possible.
And I mean, yeah, I like World War Z a fair bit. I'd like to bring that
World
up.
War Z.
Yeah.
You're standing by that. Okay.
Yeah, best Left 4 Dead game since Left 4 Dead 2.
Okay.
Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes.
Strikes again.
This is for me, Dr. Mario World. Still playing that to this day.
You have a lot of these are for me, but hey, that's the point. No
We're at
judgment.
the table. I'm a quarter of this decision-making
Hey,
process.
man. Absolutely.
Lonely Downhill Mountain?
You need to say it correctly in order to
Downhill Lonely Mountain?
Lonely Mountains Downhill.
Downhill Domination
Dang
2?
it. I knew it was one of those.
Pistol Whip.
Kyle, what is that?
It's a VR game that I forced Cyril and Jeffem to play right before we started.
You didn't, I mean,
It
you
was
asked.
forced. It was.
Jeffem was a force. You were
It was
really
really
much more amenable.
crazy.
Savings on great computers from Amazon. No, Mario Maker 2. Super Mario Maker 2.
Okay. Oh my God, you guys.
So,
Luigi's Mansion.
3, yeah.
No,
Right?
the original for 3DS.
Did that come out? That actually was this year, wasn't it?
Gains of Hyrule. Is that going on this list?
You can put it on there.
You
I don't
can
know if it's
type
going to stick
whatever you
around.
want. Those keys let you do anything.
I really liked Photographs this year from the creator of 10 Million and You Must Build a Boat.
Okay.
Did anyone else play that besides me?
No,
No?
I
No,
don't, unfortunately.
Call of Duty?
Yep.
Should we put a Call of Duty on there?
Any will do. The mobile one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
The one everyone's talking about.
Modern Warfare.
Supraland.
I love that. I will put a short hike on here.
Yeah, that's one that's sort of bubbling up now near the end of the year of Don't Forget a Short Hike.
Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Okay, interesting. Now we're cooking with gas. Ring Fit Adventure, I'd argue.
Sure, yeah.
That's my argument, by the way.
That's it.
Is the extent of it.
Your Honor, I rest my case.
Cuff me, Your Honor. Remnant?
I only played that in preview, but I liked
Okay.
what I
Yeah,
played.
I played that
Well,
in preview as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's no
But
good.
I did, yeah, I liked it, what I played. Gato Roboto is one I enjoyed.
Okay. I'm going to put Jackbox Party Pack 6 on here.
Samurai Showdown.
I love it. Now, spelled correctly, yes? No W?
No W. Well, one W.
We should at least mention Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm not going to fight for it. I probably would have been the only one who will fight for it, but I just wanted
Should
to
I type it down on this list, ladies and
I don't
gentlemen?
think you need to, but I just
I
want to
played-
at least acknowledge it. It just didn't work for any of us. So
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I
I'm
did,
sorry for
actually,
everybody out there.
here's everything I'll say about Kingdom Hearts. I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up as a moment, but I forgot about it.
Perfect.
Entering the Toy Story world is a very strange, interesting thing in
Yes.
that game. So
Yes.
That's
Did anyone else play Judgment?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, I played through
Would you
most
like
of
it on this list?
I can take it or leave it. I don't know. I'm not super.
Let's put
that's
it on
okay.
there.
Okay.
It's fun to whittle things down, right? Here's an odd one, ladies and gentlemen. Twitch Sings from Harmonix.
Okay.
I will put it on there.
Did anyone else play Slay the Spire?
no, I didn't. No.
Sorry, everybody.
Good luck with spelling here, Hanson. Sayonara.
Sayonara Wild Hearts?
Yeah.
Sayonara
No red
Wild
line.
Hearts.
No red line.
You nailed it.
Killer Queen Black I played recently and was a little bit let down by on the Switch, but it's considered but not on the list.
Yeah.
Kids considered on the list. Void Bastards. Anybody fan of Void Bastards?
Haven't played it.
I didn't
Okay.
get a chance to it.
Okay. all
Looked
right.
cool though. I downloaded it.
Wolfenstein Youngblood. Any fans in the house?
Started it, didn't
Not
click with me.
Not passionate about it one way or the other. Ultimately.
Okay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Metro Exodus. Jeff?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't get to it.
Didn't get to it.
I
played
played
it.
it, but it just
I liked it.
didn't
Not on the list.
do
That's
anything
fine.
for me.
Wait,
yeah.
Serial, would you like
I
that on this
liked
list?
All right.
Okay.
Sky Children of the Light.
Really?
It's a good game.
It
Bad
is?
platform, good game.
Okay. No judgment here. Division 2, anybody?
Yeah, I can go in there.
Not really.
Okay.
I
that's
played
fine.
a couple hours. It seemed cool.
Okay, there we go. Let's not do it. I'm also in the same camp. Played a couple
Okay.
hours. Seemed cool. Hey, everybody. Is this our list to start whittling down? Are we missing anything big? Speak now or forever hold your P's and Q's.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of ones that like didn't click with us as a group, but became sort of internet darlings.
Did anyone play Telling Lies?
No.
Okay, I didn't.
That's why I was up last week for...
Yeah.
Okay.
Crash Team Racing is another one that I think is well done. I don't think it's going to be on this list. Ukulele, Impossible Lair.
Yeah.
Frogger in Toy Town is a
I didn't like
banger.
Frogger in Toy Town. Did
Andrew,
you
I
like
think you're-
Frogger in Toy Town?
No.
Okay.
And I love Frogger.
Yeah, that was
You're the one who's
underwhelming.
played the most Astral Chain here?
Yep. That's the
Yes.
for sure.
Thank you so much. How did I miss that? Oh, my God. Yes.
We got Dragon Quest Builders, right? That was pretty early
Yep.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really liked Operencia Stolen Sun, but I can already tell it's not going to make the list. So we
Okay.
can.
That's from the pinball developers,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that was a cool idea. Like the idea of them sort of they made like an RPG basically, right? Yeah, that's cool.
Serial. Any of those smart person games, like the auto chess things you're into?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay. I'm sorry.
How,
Okay.
how dare you ask me about those games?
Is this our starting list to whittle down?
Dota 2 patch 7.23. I don't know. No.
I mean, I don't know. I'm up for that kind of weirdo stuff.
They added items to the neutral camps.
Borderlands 3.
No.
Interesting.
Borderlands 3? Have you played it?
I've never been a Borderlands guy.
Jeff
really.
played it.
I played the first one,
played
played
it.
half the second one.
I didn't say it.
Okay.
We're not obligated to keep saying game names.
Speak now or forever hold your peace. Right now we
Shenmue
have
3. No,
Okay.
I don't want that on there.
Great. Okay, here's what we have on the list.
Wait, Katana Zero? Any big Far Cry
I
New
played through it,
Dawn?
not super hot on it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm feeling pretty good about this list.
I'm also feeling pretty good. Also, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, I was tempted, but it just came to PC this year. It came out late last year on Switch, so I'm not going to count that. Rage 2. Box Boy, Box Girl.
I think Rage 2 got its award.
Yeah, Box Boy, Box Girl. We can skip.
Okay. Audica, Harmonix's VR game.
I played Audica, and I was really excited for Harmonix to do VR after how much I love Beat Saber, and it really did not. I was disappointed in it. I would much rather play Pistol Whip or Beat Saber than Audica.
Sure. Okay.
Sorry, Audica.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the full list to start whittling down right now. Resident Evil 2, One Piece World Seeker, Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds, Sekiro, Control, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Death Stranding, Days Gone, Wargroove, Link's Awakening, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Tetris 99, Disco Elysium, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Grindstone, Untitled Goose Game, Observation, What the Golf, Bob Is You, Ape Out, Gears 5, Dreams, Apex Legends, Devotion, Devil May Cry 5, Crackdown 3, World War Z, Travis Strikes Again, Dr. Mario World, Lonely Mountains Downhill, Pistol Whip, Super Mario Maker 2, Luigi's Mansion 3, Cadence of Hyrule, Photographs, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Superland, A Short Hike, Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, Ring Fit Adventure, Gato Roboto, Jackbox Party Pack 6, Samurai Showdown, Judgment, Twitch Sings, Nine Wild Hearts, damn it. Metro Exodus, Sky, Children of the Light, Astral Chain, and Borderlands
How many is
3.
that?
Congratulations on reading that list so
That was
quickly.
super
You
fun.
did really well. Sayonara was the trip, but you did good
Well,
job, man.
I wish you didn't
Sayonara
bring
was
that
a
up.
trip.
It was a trip. It was a good game.
That is, as everybody knows,
Not the most efficient way to count.
how do you do it?
So X out of that, and then in the top right, there's a 1, 2, 3 button. Here, you want me to just do it for you?
Please.
Let's see.
I've heard of ABC, but easy as this?
There we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, indeed.
All
This
right.
is 54 games we have to whittle down into 2 10s.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this list. Let's just cut it off at
Yeah.
20. So, congratulations, Untitled Goose Game, just squeaking by. That is the 2
did
10s
it.
right there.
Wow.
So should we start with like
This is different. This is a different process than most other places.
This is the list of games that came to our head first. I'm surprised One Piece World Seeker was number 2.
Hey, man.
That was a
Process
joke.
works. Trust the process.
So should we start with just these are 100% locks?
There's no universe where this isn't on our top 20 somewhere.
I feel
Yeah.
like we know because I think we should just cut things first.
Okay.
I like the idea of people
Okay.
fighting for games versus like against them, which is I think what leads to because then otherwise it's like, hey, everybody agrees that this should be on the list except for the one person who's like,
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Serial, what's your cut?
no. One Piece World Seeker I think can go.
I really like that
Agreed.
game.
Okay.
I was on the high end of that sort of Metacritic review.
You were high, all right.
Yeah, I really liked that game.
What did you like about it?
I loved the moving around the world. It had sort of like the way you could grab onto the sides of buildings and slingshot your way around. I liked the combat. I liked the way it looked. I thought the story was pretty good.
Yeah.
I just like moving around in that world, and I had a good time with it. And,
Okay.
But I know not only am I alone at this table, I'm alone on the internet, and I appreciate
That's
for that
what I
game.
want to bring up. Can we not make the arguments like the Metacritic arguments? Does that have
I'm
a
happy with
place
that.
for in this discussion.
I don't think it would, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think it would.
it's supposed to be just us, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Don't sell yourself short,
I
Kyle.
will say, here's
one is still 1/4. That's
We-
more than
we talked-
that's One Piece has more support here than I think a lot of the games on the list do.
we talked about this a little bit before we started about like our personal top 10s and stuff. Here's something I'll say about that game. It is low on my top 10.
Okay,
Kyle, I don't think it's making our top 20.
we can figure that out later.
Okay.
I think there are
you guys
games we
didn't
can
play
cover.
it, so
here we
it's
go.
hard for me to.
right,
I mean,
follow.
you guys don't care about
Yeah.
One Piece.
I
and
said
you
the
didn't
game
play
put
it.
it.
I would say One person, being passionate
motto, one
about a
person, one
game
piece.
at
Okay.
this point. I'm sure we have some that no one is passionate about, which we can.
All right,
I'm
Jeff,
sorry.
make a cut.
Yes, I'm sorry, but we can start with Borderlands 3.
You played it.
I'm-
You love Borderlands.
I played it. Yeah, it just was not doing it for me. It felt like more Borderlands, and I know that for a lot of people, that is exactly what they wanted.
Yep.
But I bounced off of it after how many ever hours, just because I want more than just more Borderlands at this
Yep.
point.
Okay. Borderlands 3. We hardly knew ye.
So we're gonna go around and kind of make cuts. You think?
Let's do it. All right. Kyle, what do you want to cut?
All right. I have a controversial cut that will blow your guys' minds.
Start with the easy ones.
You want me to start with the easy ones?
Well, you do what you want, man.
Link's Awakening.
Oh, what? Are you kidding me? Out of the gate?
Yeah. In a way, I had a good time with that game, but it just sort of reminded me that the level design of Link's Awakening was underwhelming and difficult to parse.
I think this is correct, but I don't want to do it yet.
Okay.
I don't know what this top
I like
20
that
looks
game
like.
I
enough
had
to
that in my
keep it on
pocket
there
as
for
one
now.
that's like that one that I would be
Wow.
okay with not being on our 210s.
Yeah, you just-
I
you-
wanted to because I knew it would be I knew it would get that
I,
reaction.
we
and
can
I was
have-
looking forward to
we
that.
can have this argument later, but
On the
I
drive home.
like that game too much to cut it.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
I will undoubtedly cut Devotion.
No, I will fight very strongly for that.
Really?
Yes.
Now, is that the one that was pulled off
Yes.
line?
Yeah.
Now, if it didn't have any of the controversy surrounding it, do you think you would still be like?
Yes,
Yeah?
I would.
Okay.
I would 100% still back.
I mean,
that
I know
game.
that's a hard question to answer,
Right.
but like, did it get elevated by the sort of the story
I mean,
around it?
I think I would not. There are a lot of games that have been delisted that I just didn't bother playing, but I think that game stands out for reasons beyond the fact that it was delisted for sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make a second option here.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that one bounced off. He deflected my blow. Gato Roboto, I see a massive glowing orange spot.
I like Gato Roboto, but that's okay. Yeah,
What is it?
it's a very highly inspired by Metroid platformer, and it's solid, but it just feels like really it is not innovative in any way, but
Yeah.
fun. It can go. I think there's games I'm much more excited about on here.
All right. As they say, Domo Arigato, Gato Roboto.
Wait,
But that's
why you wanted
hello.
to cut it.
All right, Sario, what do you cut, baby?
Gears 5. I think.
Yeah, I'm
I
okay with
enjoyed
that.
it, but
You two
it's,
played it, yeah.
Yeah, we
yeah,
played it.
I like it, but
Sario
it's,
played that game
it's-
twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so like a year and a half from now, when someone's like, "Pff, Gears, that went off the rails, are you going to say like, actually, on contraire?
No, I would not say that. I would because I'm not a nerd for one. But I would say it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. I don't have any strong criticisms of it. I think it does what it sets out to do, but I also don't have any like, man, Gears 5. Like
Right.
there's no passion behind like my interest in Gears 5.
Right.
I'm glad that I played it with that both times I played through it. I was just mostly talking up with you and my brother about random
Yeah.
stuff that did not have anything to do with the game.
Okay, Gears 5.
Bye.
See ya.
You did okay.
Jeff,
Let's say
it's very
That's Your Honor, leading the witness.
having the option of highlighting things on the screen is very tempting.
I never got to play Untitled Goose Game.
I started it.
I played about an hour of it.
Someone brought up that we should have brought up for favorite thing, having the dedicated honk button, which I do agree.
Yeah,
or
that's
also the button to spread your wings out. Two
Yeah.
very good things in 2019.
90% of what you do in that game.
90% of the reason people like that game.
Yeah.
Is anyone at the table passionate about it being on the list, though?
Yeah, that game sort of exceeded my expectations in a big way. Like it became this like meme generator,
Yeah.
and that was like a fun element of it. But
It was the Baby Yoda of its day.
yeah, but like
The day before.
and I went into it kind of thinking like this will be a sort of silly indie game that isn't really going to move me in any way, but it's just going to be like you get to control a goose, and that's part of the fun. But by the end of it, I thought it was like a well-executed sort of fun puzzle game. And the ending sort of is this really circular sort of thing that like calls back the beginning in a fun way. Like I ended up liking Untitled Goose Game like way more than I expected.
You've convinced me that we should cut One Piece from the list.
World beeper.
Are we doing it?
I mean, I made my case.
Okay. One Piece.
Bye.
We love you.
Just because it
I had a
seems
good
like
time with
you're
it.
very passionate about Goose Game and other people have also played it and liked it, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't. I
wouldn't.
I liked
I'm not
it
super
fine.
passionate
I'm
about
not.
Untitled Goose Game.
All
It
right,
definitely
get
surprised
the
me.
goose out of there too.
Wait, you're just for the camp of like if one person loves it, then.
Yeah, I know.
this
No,
is
Kyle, can you
leave
live with
the-
it?
No, leave the goose for now.
Okay, Kyle.
That was a
Make a cut.
a
All right,
more
all right.
compelling argument
Sure.
than he
making
made
a
for
cut.
One Piece.
I'll cut. This is cutting my own suggestion, but I'll cut photographs because I
Love it.
I like that game, but I can't make a really strong argument for it. So, but it was
Yeah.
good. You check it out.
Yeah.
This is obviously like a list of. As you're listening, like these are all games that you should check out, but
Yeah.
we'll see who makes the
Do you want to explain
final
what Photographs is?
cut. Photographs is from the creator of 10 Million and You Must Build a Boat, the best mobile games ever made. And it's like it's just one of those games that's really well designed for mobile, and it's like a series of short stories based around puzzles. You solve puzzles, and as you solve the puzzles, you get a little bit more of the story. And the stories are really sad and interesting, and the art's really cool. So check it out.
There it is. I will make a safe bet, and I will cut Judgment.
Sure. I think I know a lot of people are excited about it because it is their first Yakuza game, but as someone who has played all of those, this one felt the most where I was kind of burnt out on that formula. I think it leads to some interesting places, but I don't think it iterates enough on that formula to be interesting to me personally. And I think a lot of what it actually adds, I think, makes that game worse. Like the detective stuff, following people around and having to scan environments for clues, I don't think work in that environment.
Sure.
And I think there were chances for them to explore that formula a little bit more and maybe dedicate themselves more to the storytelling aspect, which is the part that I like, versus the kind of arcadey combat, which I think they're still very much married to. But
Well, they're not that married
yeah,
to it.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I'm more. I think even after Judgment, I'm more excited for Yakuza 7 because it is deviating from that formula.
If you're unclear, Yakuza 7, right? Yakuza 7 has turn-based combat. Yeah,
Which will make it the first Yakuza that I give a solid try.
yeah.
But I will say though that if you are interested in that, if you've heard people talking about the Yakuza series and want to dive in, I think it's really either Judgment or Yakuza 0 at this point.
Sure.
So maybe give it a try if you're interested.
There we go. Jeff Margiafava. I'm sorry, Serial. Yeah,
yes.
it's your turn to cut.
It just sounds like he cut his own.
I know.
His own game.
Never cut your own.
World War Z. I think I enjoyed that game plenty, but I don't know that I've ever. I have not thought about it since I stopped playing with you.
Okay.
But I can kind of quietly acknowledge, like, oh yeah, this game's pretty fun. It's giving the Left 4 Dead people what they want, but I can't imagine going back to it.
Yeah, that's okay. I had
Very
a good time with
clever
that game. They've added DLC recently that I want to go check out, but it wasn't this defining 2019 experience for sure.
Jan Margiafava?
Yeah. Can we say sayonara to Sayonara Wild Hearts? Was that one that we just kind of threw on at the end?
Did you beat it, Serial?
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it when I played it at E3, and then playing the full game, I still liked it. But I very much thought to myself, like, oh yeah, I should go back and try to beat every level and do every gold medal. And I just never had, I didn't think about it too much after that. I think the soundtrack in that game is really good and works really well within the context of the game. But
Good soundtrack, good visuals, but
Okay.
Yeah.
it's kind of okay.
As I say, goodbye.
that common turn of phrase
Really blew that
goodbye.
Whipped it.
That's a deviation of an old Jeff Cork joke, which always made me laugh, where he was talking about Dan Reichert's Jose Canseco book.
Okay.
And this is just Jeff Cork. All of his jokes are just subtle little English like twists and jokes. And he's just talking about it. And he goes, that's when you said, "No way, Mr. Canseco."
That's good. Oh, Cork, I miss you.
Mwah.
R.I.P. Let's cut Cadence of Hyrule.
What is with your Zelda hate?
I hate Zelda this year.
You're gonna rub off your tattoo next.
Almost like a similar Sayonara Wild Hearts argument. Fantastic soundtrack.
Right.
One of my favorite soundtracks of the year by a mile. underwhelming game, but that was mostly frustrating to me.
Yeah, it's this weird matchup where I think I would have preferred the more pure version of both of those games over how they mix together.
Yeah.
Like
Interesting.
I think my favorite parts of Cadence of Hyrule were the Zelda parts, and then I played an actual Zelda game. It's like, oh, it's much better in here than it is in Cadence of Hyrule. And I think the combat is interesting. I think the roguelike elements I don't think do that game any favors.
It took a long time to get rolling in that game. If I remember, I was beating my
starts
head against a
hard,
wall for
yeah.
a while, and then it's like, okay, now it's snowballing, and I have 6,000 rupees. Yeah.
But even when I was successful and even getting to the end of the game, it was mostly just a matter of like having a lot of hearts and sort of just hitting my head against a brick wall until
you get to a run where it's like, oh, things just happen to go my way.
Yeah,
which is not a
and
thing. It's not a feeling I want to have in a Zelda game.
Right.
So,
See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Superland. I
thought
played
that
that.
would last longer. Superland, I like. It's like a Metroid Prime almost in terms of the way it's structured.
It felt like a Zelda for starting out, at least.
Yeah,
I thought it was more of a Metroidvania. No.
Yeah, I mean, Zelda and Metroid sort of have they overlap a lot, in terms of mechanics, but it definitely leans more Metroid by the end of the game.
And you're like a red guy in
Yeah,
a town
like I didn't love
getting powers.
I like the environmental art. The characters are not great. You're gonna pull it up. It looks like. But yeah, it just really is one of those games that like I didn't know anything about, and ended up being like really surprised by just the game design.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just like really well designed. Clearly a fan of like, Zelda, Metroid kind of gameplay and well executed. And I'm looking forward to it coming to consoles. I might even play it again. But
cool.
But it's just a really surprising indie game. So it's hard for me to really fight passionately about it. But I did enjoy it.
Gone.
I'm gonna cut Twitch Sings unless you have.
It's just
I'd like to make
karaoke,
my
man.
defense in the form of a song. I mean, this is one of those silly arguments, right? But it's like, in terms of like the most fun that I've had with a game this year, like the 2 times playing Twitch Sings, I remember thinking in the moment, one of them was live streamed on Twitch with Kelsey and Wade at MinnMax here, but I remember thinking like, I cannot have more fun on planet Earth than what I'm doing right now.
But like that's
How much of that is fueled by the fact that you're having?
That's the argument of like, like Gears 5 was so much fun because I played it with Serial. Like it's just like karaoke
but
online.
what else are we going
right?
off of? But beyond karaoke online,
We're going off of design and like well-made
I agree.
games.
And like playing it with an audience is clearly the way to go, and having the audience like vote on twist where it's like, okay, for this portion of the song you have to sing it like a pirate, you have to sing this one with an accent, you have to do this, you have to do that, like letting people choose and vote on what song you're singing. I think it's a really, really smart.
If you have that audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, going off of what we look, I agree, I'll cut it, but I think Harmonix did a really great job with that, except for the fact that for the archive, it got nuked for copyright infringement. Where it's like,
oh, really?
This is Twitch's game.
That is weird.
And they can't figure out. Maybe the problem was that I was too good at singing "What's This" from Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yeah,
so
that'll
it
do
thought
it.
that I was Jack
That'll do it.
Skellington. Okay,
But
great.
then they wouldn't have copyright struck you if they thought you were Jack Skellington.
That's true.
Clearly,
I own
this
it.
is
I mean, the copyright owner of that song
is the fictional character Jack Skellington.
It's a tax scheme. It's like that's how they're avoiding that.
Okay, great. It is cut. Let's move on.
No, it's not.
Oh,
All right, Jeff.
gotta watch him.
You got to pass the computer as we go through
You
these
skipped
cuts.
Cereal again.
No,
is that
I
that's
touched-
yours?
I just
Good
touched
cut.
Sings.
Good
Let's
cut,
just say
Cereal.
the,
Thank
the
you.
fat Twitch sang.
All right.
We can. We don't have to.
Not cool. Go down, please.
That's it. One page. We're down to. Hang on. Let's get a. It's this fancy button, Kyle.
Oh, we got to highlight everything. Otherwise, you just you have a single game.
Let's start numbering this list now.
For a frame of reference, we're at 43.
Yeah.
How about
halfway?
Ring Fit Adventure?
Oh, you're right there.
All right, guys, sell me on this game I have on the way from Amazon.
I don't know. Maybe this body could convince you.
Look at those guns.
I retract my cut.
Everyone's talking about games with gun violence. I didn't know it was about Ring Fit Adventure.
To be fair, I played it one night, and it was just that moment of like, this is much better made than I expected.
Yeah. I played it like a week, probably a week and a half or so.
Yeah.
Try every day, and it's really cool. Like it's
Much better than I expected.
Well, it's much. I wasn't going to say expected. I was going to say it executes on what Wii Fit should have been initially, which was like we're going to try to gamify working out and improving yourself. And Wii Fit
That's what
was
we're
just
about.
So you're
very
saying that
sterile
Dragon's
and
going to be in the
bland.
next Smash?
What was that?
You think that Dragon's going to be in the next Smash?
Drago, absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely. Forgot about him
but,
for Character of the Year, by the way, Drago.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it's like a really cool like adventure game that I think now the question is, would it be interesting without the working out element of it?
No.
I mean, it
that's
doesn't
the
matter
point.
though, like
Yeah.
because they
go
made
hand
that
in
game as a
hand.
workout game first and foremost.
Yeah.
There's no way you can divorce it from that.
Yeah, but it does. I didn't beat it because it's hard and it.
And
Well,
Fantasy-
but also that's not necessarily a game you want to beat. You
yeah.
want to be.
They made it long intentionally.
Yeah,
to
that's a game where you can very easily argue that's like the grind is the point. The fact
Yeah.
that it
Right.
is so long and tedious is like, yeah, what do you want? It's a fitness game. Of course
And
it is.
this is the problem with lists. And you guys, we have to not fall into this trap. But I look and it's like that's just a cool game to have on the MinnMax list.
Yeah.
But we got to go off the table. And I played it one night. Kyle, you didn't
I
finish
played it more.
Well,
and
that's
I
the thing.
enjoyed
Is
it.
I don't think not finishing this game counts against
Yeah.
it in this
Yeah,
case.
I
This is a rare case.
I
of not
wouldn't,
finishing
I
it.
wouldn't
It's fine.
hold that against it. I'm wondering, is it a novelty, and that's why we like it,
Honestly, the reason that I got it was
versus something that you've actually had a lot of fun with, you think is a good game.
it's hard because
It's fine that the
Yeah.
I'm also not holding against the exercise component. I think that's great. You know,
Yeah.
This game also like feels like it exists outside of like merit or like traditional ranking lists because so much of it is like there's a motivation there where it's utility versus like
Yeah.
fun,
Right.
right? Like the fact that you like it feels like this game feels like work is like a point in its favor, so it's kind of hard to compare to like I'm playing this because I like it, you know.
I mean, we got to cut a lot. I think Ring Fit.
I would like to give the annual Ring Fit Adventure Award to Ring Fit Adventure and then cut it.
Yeah, the greatest adventure of all, as Hook says, is death. So
Okay.
Bye bye.
doesn't he say that?
Sure.
Okay.
I trust you.
Kyle?
Did you wait? Okay, never mind.
I'm not being a little stinker here.
Okay.
Let's see.
You accusing me of the stink?
I'm just saying. You did
Let's
not
not-
touch Twitch Sings when you said you were, so.
Just making sure. Observation didn't do a ton for me. I was impressed by it. I thought it looked great. I liked it in theory. I like about halfway through, I was like, I'm not super compelled to keep going on this.
And your genre is stuff going wrong in space, and
I
that's what
love
that
stuff
game
going wrong
is.
in
You're
space.
playing
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
computer,
It felt-
kind of monitoring that.
I felt kind of like restrained and like where I couldn't really like explore the ship as much as I really wanted to, I guess. But I was impressed by the sort of like the way that game feels. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like being able to explore that ship is neat and unsettling, and the graphics are amazing. Like I've never been in a video game and felt so much like I'm actually on a like modern day space station. But like it wasn't compelling enough to pull me all the way through. So
I really like Observation. I think that I'm a big fan of, like I was mentioning to you this off the podcast, but like I like games
the
that
pod.
that zero in on one thing very specifically, and I think that I know that it's not traditional in the sense like you can't explore the space station, but I think that insofar as it wants to tell a very specific story, I think the way it melds its mechanics to
unique
tell that
angle,
story,
too. Yeah.
and the way it makes that angle interesting, like the having to jump around different cameras and stuff, and track characters as they're going in and out of the station and things like that, and the directions that game goes and how it gets you to question your own motivations. I think that game stands out. I think as a game that uses game mechanics uniquely to tell a story. So
Are
I
you
would not.
deflecting that blow?
I would like to deflect that blow.
Okay. And honestly, like you saying that,
Sir.
like, because I didn't finish it, and it sounds like there's a lot more to get out of it if you see it to its
Yeah,
conclusion.
like I'm
right?
not.
Yeah.
It's not like it goes down a rabbit hole, and I don't think it fully succeeds at that. But I think the rabbit hole it goes down, I think, is super interesting and leads to a lot of cool like set piece moments that don't feel.
Do you want to make another stab, Kyle?
Oh, I got another choice.
The honorary Mordhau stab?
but it
Even though
has
that's
to be
on
one
this
of
list?
your own now.
It has to be one of my
since
own.
you
I mean, I have
deflected.
some
We're out
on
of
there.
Zelda games. Anything else you want to tell?
Let's cut Sky, Children of the Light.
Love it.
Because I do stand by it. I think it's a cool game, but the platform really hurt that game.
Oh, yeah.
significantly. So there we go.
Yeah.
That one's an easy one.
Okay. Well, there's only one way to go here. I think we all know. I feel like I'm picking on you, Kyle.
Yeah, it does feel like you're picking
Did
on me.
you notice that?
Yes.
To be fair,
Every
Kyle,
week.
you put out like so many more games than the rest of us,
I
and,
did,
and they
that's
were
true.
all very Kyle picks.
Okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
good games.
All right, Kyle. I'm willing to cut Metro Exodus. Solid game. I'm happy for 4A. I don't think there's the passion at this table to make it in the
Yeah,
top 20.
I liked it when I played it, but I really enjoyed a lot of what it did with like framing its narrative around seasons. I think there's some like surprisingly interesting like narrative choices that you make, and the environments I think were really cool. But ultimately, I don't think
It felt kind of like an old FPS to me.
Yeah, which is
You know what I
part
mean?
of why
Which-
I liked it though. Like
Yeah.
like they don't make games like that a lot. games that feel so
They make
tailored
them
to
good
like.
these days, which is cool.
Well, no, like I think the fact that you're not going on like the side quest feels significant and there's not like a huge task list and you're not capturing points and like expanding territory. I like that it doesn't feel the need to do that.
Yeah,
But
but
lets you focus on the world. And,
right. But I don't think like what it has in place of that is like super strong enough throughout to make it worthwhile.
Metro taking an exit from us.
Sorry, Metro. You looked great.
Look great.
Feels better.
All right, so Cyril is you, right?
Yeah.
Cyril
let me look
is
down
you.
the list again here.
What do you hate more than anything else on
keep
this
scrolling.
list?
Keep it scrolling. Keep going.
Let's go for the audio listeners. Hang on, audio listeners. We have Resident Evil 2, Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds, Sekiro, Control, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Death Stranding, Days Gone, Wargroove, Link's Awakening, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Tetris 99, Disco Elysium, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Grindstone, Untitled Goose Game, Observation, What the Golf, Bob Is You, Ape Out Dreams, Apex Legends, Devotion, DMC 5, Crackdown 3, Travis Strikes Again, Dr. Mario World, Lonely Mountains Downhill, Pistol Whip, Super Mario Maker, Luigi's Mansion, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Short Hike, Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, Jackbox Party Pack 6, Samurai Showdown, and Astral Chain.
Hanson, how do you feel about Astral Chain?
This is an interesting discussion.
Which is weird because I fully expect to like that game. I just have not played it.
Damn it. I'm about 60% of the way through it.
Okay,
which is
now I realize
telling.
I am 2 hours into that game.
Okay.
but
Sure.
I haven't played enough of it to.
Astral Chain is really, really impressive. I think technically it's probably the most impressive thing I've seen on the
your
Switch
life?
at this point.
All right.
It's stylish action, which is the genre that I am the absolute worst at, over and above anything else. So I'm having a very tough time with that aspect of it. But I love Nintendo taking the stab with new IP with Platinum. I think there's a lot of really cool ideas in it. Like being able to control on the second stick sounds like it should be a control nightmare, right? But being able to control your legion that you're tied to, and you can like wrap it around and like keep it in the battlefield. So you're basically controlling two at once. There's also co-op if you want to play that way. So I really like it. That said, I went back to it this weekend to try and finish it. And jumping back into a stylish action game, especially one as complex as that, halfway through, is impossible. And I just hit a wall where I'm like, I can't do it. And
Well, separate from that stuff, I mean, are you interested in the world?
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's cool. I mean, it's platinum storytelling, you know?
Okay.
I mean, that's a weird thing to say for Nier, I
not Nier
suppose.
Automata. But that's not
Yeah.
that's not Platinum though. That's Yoko Taro. I feel
Okay,
like
sure.
a lot of that storytelling prowess comes from his side of the equation. I think.
That could be. So
And maybe I'm not giving them credit, but yeah.
Sure. So I think where I'm at with Astral Chain is I want to like it a lot more than I actually like it.
And I fully expect to come back at some point next year and say like, we were crazy for cutting it, but
It's
I
very
just have not
cool.
played it. So,
Uh,
would you cut it though?
God. I mean, based on where we're at and the fact that I haven't finished it after spending $60 on it and you only 2 hours in, I don't think it's going to make top 20.
And just being able to say I want to like it a lot more
Yep.
than I do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, that sucks. All right, sorry, Astral Chain. And you can hear
You're
tens
ruthless,
of
Surreal.
people screaming out, 2 tens of people screaming out in
No.
pain.
At least.
Okay, here's one that I know one person loves, but I actively hate, and that
Ooh.
is Dr. Mario.
Yes, Dr.
Actively
Mario
hate, huh?
World.
Yes.
Why do you hate it so much?
You got me to try it out because you liked it so much, and it's just that microtransaction trap that
Yeah.
But what about the mechanics? Do you like those?
it was okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm in the same camp.
But
I thought it was okay.
but layered on top of that, and I always
But totally fair to like, I'm not trying to say, just ignore the microtransactions, because that's like, it is a game that you get 5 tries, and if you die, you have to wait, to play more, which sucks.
And then they have, like the kind of extra challenge levels, which seem just designed to
to
suck.
just eat your lives.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I play that game regularly, even today.
you and Ben Reeves love this game more than I think anybody else in the world.
Yeah, it's but you guys, but your hate is stronger than my enjoyment.
Yeah.
And that's always with these kind of best of lists. I think microtransaction traps like that bother me more than any other shortcoming than a game could have.
Especially in a year where we were liberated from that in so many ways, right? With
Apple Arcade and
Apple Arcade, but also EA put out some solid offerings that weren't too bad on that front.
And not to get ahead of ourselves, but if in a Dr. Mario versus Grindstone world,
right,
I'm going Grindstone, baby.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Doctor is out.
Yep.
Do you guys like the jokes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta
As long
have
as they're good.
something.
Okay, well, that's not a guarantee. Okay.
Go on. Crackdown 3 can go. I like that game.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. Because I
I
was
have a good
going to
time with
feel
the game.
bad about ganging up on Kyle with my nice pick.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those I like. I had a good time with it, but it's
Yeah.
not like I'm not super passionate about it. I do think people were harsh on it, but I mean, it's
Me
not one of the best
included.
games of the year. Yeah.
Okay. This is getting tougher, and we're not even close to the tough parts yet. I want to cut Samurai Showdown.
I would be okay with it. I like that game quite a bit, but the online infrastructure is still kind of not there. I think they've done some interesting stuff with updating it over the course of the year. They've kept a pretty regular schedule of characters going, and I like the pace of the combat. I even liked it at launch, which a lot of people didn't, but I think my passion for it is not, I don't think, strong enough for me to argue it at this point in the list. So
Yeah. Hey, a game I just, by the way, after recording last week's podcast, I went and was uninstalling stuff from my Steam library, and I was like, why didn't I look at this before we recorded the games you've been meaning to
see what you
play?
had.
Yeah, because there's so many things in there. Like, what was that fighting game? I uninstalled it now. But what is the name of that one that was like designed for beginners?
a Fantasy Strike.
Fantasy Strike. Do
Yeah.
you stand by that as a good game? Not that we should put it on the list, but
I didn't say it was. I think it's a good game for you specifically of learning how to play fighting
Morons?
games. But
Okay.
but I think it's a game that if I were to give you, like, if you were super interested in getting into fighting games, I would say like start there and then graduate to something more interesting.
okay, there it is. Like Jump Force.
No,
Okay, is it me?
no, you just
oh,
cut Samurai
You just
Shodown.
cut Samurai Showdown.
I have a bloodlust now. All right, sorry, go ahead. Don't look where that cursor is.
Do we want to cut Call of Duty?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Should we explain more than that?
Yes, I think visually one of the best looking games we've ever played. I understand that's a weird thing to lead with, but I mean that game is wow gonzo. Outside of that, I think the campaign was fun. I was worried that I wasn't going to enjoy it because I thought it was going to be all just controversial moments and things that really gross me out because I don't like gore. I don't like feeling gross. But I thought like so much more of that game was just traditional modern warfare than I expected. And I thought a lot of missions were super fun
Some
and creative.
of the best campaign stuff.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
terms
And
of
then
Call of Duties.
And I didn't play as much multiplayer as I wanted to. Hopefully they'll add the Battle Royale, so I'll get more into it. But I do think Gunfight, again, in terms of just multiplayer games this year, is some of the most fun I've had for the time that I spent with Gunfight, which is the 2v2 quick mode.
Sure.
Very easy pick up and play. But I like Call of Duty a lot this year. So back off, you monster.
I mean,
give that a try,
I
right?
those breaking it and those like breaching missions I think were really good. But other than that, I guess I just didn't resonate with me at all.
Sure. All right, so that bounced off. So what do you got?
Oh,
Why are you so harsh on Pistol Whip right now? Like,
I highlighted Pistol Whip to be fair for audio listeners.
but like, I mean,
I don't know.
Not to jump ahead, but like,
Kyle,
are you?
how do you?
Okay,
Shut up.
we'll get to that
How do you
later.
feel about Super Mario Maker 2?
That was going to be my cut suggestion coming up.
Okay.
Now I got to pick another one. So Super Mario Maker 2 is well done, but like it just didn't resonate with me. It felt almost like unnecessary to a certain degree. Like
I
just
feel like
didn't
a lot
add
of people
enough.
wanted that game on Switch, right?
Yeah, but like the additions weren't like super compelling, and like it's less fun to not use a stylus on the Wii U, which is like a small sort of knock against it. But yeah, I wasn't excited about it. I don't know. It was, like I said, it was going to be my suggestion for a cut when it came to be my turn. So
It looks like it's time to meet your Mario Maker. See ya. You are the weakest link.
Wouldn't want to be.
Great jokes.
see, these are good. Keep them going.
Oh, my turn. Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of meat on this bone, maybe.
Yeah.
Except for that. Oh, wait, you guys have a different thing on your screen. I was trying to selectively not have one on the list. All right.
How do you feel, Hanson, about Lonely Mountains Downhill?
Great suggestion. I like the game a lot. I only put 3 hours into it. Great podcast game. I think it is, in a year where Trials Rising came out, it scratches so many more of those itches in a cleaner, nicer way where you're just taking challenges, riding down this mountain, pretty forgiving checkpoints overall, and just grinding that sucker out. I think it's a really, really cool game that, again, one of the reasons I like video games, is I never would have guessed that Lonely Mountains Downhill would be the name of a game that we'd be considering for the heralded 210s. So
It's one of those games I want to watch someone else be really good at. Which to a certain degree, kind of like I played it. We played it here before we talked about it that one day, and then it did become a Game Pass game. So I played it like another 30, 45 minutes, and I wasn't excited about it, but I recognize it being a well-made game and with a cool style.
There's stuff I would cut before it, but I don't think it's hanging with the 210s.
I do also enjoy it, but yeah, it is one of those. It still ends up falling into that trials trap for me, where even though it's not forcing you to do really difficult stuff, the nature of trying to do your absolute best and find the perfect run leads me to doing a lot of restarts, and it's hard for me to get out of that trap. And so I do enjoy it, but for me, I'm not passionate about it being here, and that's why I wanted to see what other people felt.
Okay, Liz just got a lot more lonely. Goodbye.
Now, how do you feel, Serial? As we remember who added these. I don't think you did. You did add this one, but Bloodstained.
I really like that game. I think it is a success.
I lost momentum on that game, and I might be
because you played the Switch version.
I did play the Switch version, which could be a factor in that, but it wasn't. The thing that was holding me back wasn't the sort of technical deficiency of the Switch version, which is like barely fine. It was like I hit a point in that game where I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't feel like I have any direction. I'm just sort of aimless here. I need some new ability. I don't even know what it is. Where in his Igarashi's previous Castlevania games, I feel like I had a much better sense of like where to go and was much more energized about leveling up and getting stronger and going to the next place. And Bloodstained just didn't like click with me
I will say that it starts off slow, but I guess I only had that problem once, and it didn't last super long. Of having there are some points in that game where it is kind of vague about where you should be going.
Yeah. Which is like can work in that genre. I mean, the fun of that genre is exploring, but like there's a point where it's like, well, give me at least like a
there are a couple points in that game where
towards.
you have to make some logical leaps, sometimes literally, to go and find items that the game does not ever hint at. But I think that it very quickly goes from this is fine. Like I was very much expecting in the first few hours to be like, I don't know, this feels like Mighty Number 9, but like by the end of it,
was not that bad.
It got to be on like in terms of those games that he has made specifically, it feels like it probably is in my top 3 of all time in terms of games he's made. So I'm not.
So we can cut it.
No, I think that game does a really good job of both giving you the best of what you wanted out of that particular type of game, but also introducing new items. Like I think the degree to which you can customize your build as an RPG, I think like the combat itself would not be as interesting if you didn't have all these underlying RPG layers behind it. And I think because of that, because of the way you can equip different things, and everyone feels like they had, when I was talking to them about playing it, everyone feels like they found the thing that was like broken for them, which I think is a sign of a game that has a lot of interesting builds that you can work. And I think the map is like super strong. I really like that map. It has some really strong set pieces. So I would not cut it yet.
Okay.
That's the sound of you hitting the armor, the Mandalorian's
And
armor.
you guys didn't check out Bloodstained, right?
I played
a little bit
30 minutes of it, yeah.
Okay.
Not my thing.
Now I gotta come up with another one. This is hard. You want to fight for Days Gone, Jeffem?
Ooh, hell yeah.
Because that's one that I played, I don't know, 6 hours in and did not really feel super compelled to keep going. Despite, generally liking it okay.
Yeah, I super like it.
I like it.
It's in terms of open world games, I appreciate that it has a very distinct feeling from other ones for me.
Barren and boring?
Not barren and boring, dangerous, and I feel like when I'm actually going out into the wilderness, it feels like a scary open world place. It feels like an interesting mix of open world and survival horror.
Yeah.
Which is doing it for me.
Yeah. And technically it didn't drive you insane?
No.
Okay.
I didn't really have any technical
I remember
problems with
it was pretty buggy at launch.
Mine was just like, it just felt kind of repetitive, and I instead of getting scared going out in the open world, I tended to get frustrated. and maybe it's just because I wasn't like looting enough, but I just never had any ammo. And like it just and when you run out of ammo when a horde is chasing you, like that's just not fun. You know what I mean? Like I just was like, well,
it's a survival horror aspect.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's survival horror, Kyle.
I don't know. I guess
So
because
Kyle's saying that we should cut Resident Evil 2
no,
from
I
the
think
list,
the
is
thing
what
about
he's
Resident Evil
saying
2 is like
right now.
you can get to safety when you're out of ammo. Where Days Gone, I felt like I kept running into situations like, well, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any ammo. I don't know what to
You're playing
do
poorly,
here.
Kyle.
I mean, that could be the case. Maybe I just like wasn't planning enough ahead or what. But I just like. I don't know. The world didn't really grab me. I liked maintaining the motorcycle. I liked having being really emotionally attached to that
Another
vehicle.
great aspect of the game.
But
I
outside of
agree.
that, it just didn't really click with me. I
Deacon
did
St.
not feel.
John, character of the year. Do you think the
character
story
of
gets
the
too
year.
much crap?
Yes.
And the writing is too much crap?
Yeah.
Why do you think it is? Just because Sony's pedigree is so high at this point for storytelling?
I think because zombie Sons of Anarchy is an easy thing to make fun of and say
and
that's
knowing
a
that
stupid
was,
idea.
I mean, we visited Sony Ben, and that was literally what they said. It was like, well, Walking Dead was huge at the time, and we liked Sons of Anarchy, so we made the thing. It's like, yeah, we see that you made the thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think they also.
But did they make the thing?
I think they also do just like zombie stories. It's not like, hey, Walking
Yeah.
Dead's hot. We should copy that thing. You know.
Well, it's not that they didn't like zombie stories, but and to be clear, these are not zombies.
No, they're clickers or
Freakers.
Dang it! Yeah,
I'm cutting it
freakers.
because you called them
Don't
clickers.
you dare!
I mean, yeah, the story. It wasn't like. The story seemed interesting. I wasn't like, this sucks in terms of like the narrative. I just was like, I just wasn't that interested in exploring the world,
Okay.
really. And
It sounds like a deflecting blow to me.
A lot of deflections here. Can we? Yeah, you go next because I did 2 deflections and I don't.
Really?
Yeah,
keep
I don't
going,
know.
man.
That means we have to cut something of
Kyle,
Kyle's.
cut something.
Let's see.
Could be anything.
How about Destiny 2? Because that's just DLC. And it's
Wow, it's an
boring.
expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I will. I will say that I don't think it'll make this list. But I do want to give my piece on it.
anything else.
I feel like Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is a very good game that I have less interest in than I've had in the past. Because I think their push towards more seasonal content and dedicating themselves more to that drip feed, I think is super good for that game. But it's not how I want to approach it. So like I like to sort of marathon the expansion, like I did, a very long stream for it, and I got to the end and there wasn't as much to do because I knew kind of going into it that this was going to be more of a slower burn, than it has been before. And I get that that's cool, and they've added some stuff over the years, but to me, I just very slowly I stopped keeping up with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for what they're doing, but I miss the kind of stronger acute moments that Forsaken had that a lot of their earlier expansions had, even though they weren't as good. So I've kind of been it's been an upward trend for them, but for me it feels like I've slowly kind of weaned off a bit over the course of the year. So
Okay.
I'm okay with cutting it, but I like that game quite a bit.
We became legend.
I thought you were going to say we should keep it in the shadow.
Oh, that's better. Thank you.
You
I
can
mean, we should keep that in the shadow.
There we go. Good job, Hanson. God, you're clever.
Thank you. Love it. Oh my God, my turn to cut. Let's see. I still am just ready to cook a goose, but all right, I'll save that for later.
I'm curious to talk for you. Why are you focused so in on Pistol Whip? What is it about that you're just
let's
like
do it.
completely
Let's do it.
uninterested in that? You know?
I think.
Is it because it's VR or like?
Let's see. Probably because I'm an angry person. No, but I think it's just. I think it's because I had such a good time with Beat Saber last year, and I played Audica this year, and the idea of like, here's another VR game where you're kind of like shooting things to music. I don't.
That's not fully what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
well, make the case.
Ultimately, what the game.
Let's say I'm trying to cut Pistol Whip. That is my choice. But.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so the short pitch for that for me is that is the most fun I've had since Beat Saber. That is the kind of VR experience that I like, where it's like really enveloping in terms of music, and like it really uses VR well in terms of aiming your gun and shooting and stuff like that. But I mean, like ultimately, you can look at it as like a modern take on like Time Crisis or something like that.
Exactly my point.
And then, which is like super fun in VR. Like that's like Astrobot was like a VR take on platformer, and it was really super fun. Like I think that's where VR excels, is like looking at these established genres and sort of shifting them into virtual reality. Worked really well with Astrobot. Worked really well with Beat Saber in terms of like just a straightforward music game. And this combines a music game with an on-rails shooter. And it's a game that I keep returning to over and over.
I'm trying to figure out if it's the like, hey, it's an underdog because it's a VR game, and I had a very good time with it as a VR game versus does it really hang with the rest of this list?
I mean, it's one in terms of like the game, and this isn't a factor for all games. Like replay value does not mean a game is good necessarily, right? Like you can play a game and beat it. I beat Devil May Cry 5, and I was like, I don't really feel like I need to go back and replay it, and that was a good time. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But Pistol Whip is a very replayable game, and it is a game that since I played it for the first time, every 3 or 4 days, I pop on a headset and play at least a song.
So you could not live without it being on the 210s. Matter of life and death.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. It's like there's stuff on here I think I'm more excited about.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I've said why I think that's a cool game, and I think it's like it is the best VR game of the year. If we had that award, I would have given it to Pistol Whip, but it's like
I think we can cut.
I'm not going to be heartbroken to see it disappear.
Yeah.
You know?
I played a level of it and I enjoyed it. Like I could see myself adding like doing what Kyle did is every once in a while playing a little bit of it until I'm kind of tired but having that be on a longer timeline than like, oh, I got to play all the levels in this game.
Yeah.
And it is one of those games
I enjoyed it.
It'll keep growing and getting stuff added to
I've no
it.
doubt it's cool and one of the best VR games of the year, if not the best. But
what did you think, Jeff? You liked it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting for VR. Which
you hear that part?
It's the harsh one. I mean, it is a very interesting experience, and I appreciate that.
And
but
it wouldn't really work as well outside of VR either. Which is,
and I don't think like I guess part of me I don't want to immediately say well for VR because it's like you know the simple joy of like dodging out of the way of bullets and shooting something I think is equivalent to something like oh you can do here's a clever thing you can do in this other game like it's a clever mechanic even if it's like very simple and it's like oh yeah they thought of the thing you would do immediately but it's fun to do that even if it's not like the most creative thing in the world.
But like I said, I wanted to talk about it a little bit. It's good, but and I got everyone to play it except you. Let's see. Should we take a break and play it and see if we change your mind?
No. I gotta go to the bathroom.
But yeah, get out of here, Pistol Whip.
Wow.
Can't believe you cut that, Kyle.
Yeah, that's insane. Whip it. Whip it real good.
I think
I love how much you're selling those jokes too. You're just gonna mutter
all end in
something
question
vaguely
marks.
related.
can we cut Jackbox?
Is it an
This
exceptional
is-
Jackbox?
It is an exceptional Jackbox.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I know this is, in the past, it was always frustrating trying to get Jackbox on certain top 50 lists because it's like, oh, it's another Jackbox, it's another year. It's like, I hear that. At the same time, it's in the same realm as a Twitch Sings, right? Where it's like, yeah, it's this game that every time I've played it this year, I've had an absolute blast with friends. Like, just because it's the 6th year running where these things have been super fun as party games, like, I don't think that hurts it. And this year in particular, I think Push the Button is the most complex. That's like their first big foray into like a deception game. Or hidden identity game.
Well,
And
they've done those before, but they haven't been as simple.
Well, there was one where it's like you would
or
raise
as
your hand
interesting.
and stuff,
Yeah.
and so it was a very simple, streamlined, kind of blah version of that I wasn't a big fan of. But Push the Button this year, it's like the sci-fi themed one where there's aliens hidden amongst you. You have to do these challenges. Aliens get a different prompt than everybody else. I think it is...
Serial killed us all during the Extra Life.
That's right. I think it's the most complex game they've done, and I think it's one of the absolute best games they've done. And it's, again, every year with Jackbox, I think they up their production quality. And like even Joke Boat, which is another, it's almost Quiplash-esque in how simple it is of just, hey, write a joke, here's half a prompt, finish it, right? I think the production quality in that one is great. And I think that overall it is in the top 3 Jackbox party pack games.
Okay, if we're talking about qualifying sentences, though,
Yeah.
like the best of VR, top 3 of Jackboxes.
But still, the Jackbox games are some of the most fun I've had with games in the last 10 years, you know?
But this one, you still feel gets on the list itself without any other qualifications to it.
On its own, I can't look past how much fun I had with this game.
But it's like I know it just feels like you could have as much fun with any of the other ones too.
No.
Really?
Specifically, Push the Button, I think, adds a whole new layer of complexity that Jackbox has never had.
Yeah, I also feel I don't know. I feel like part of it was that complexity kind of I bounced off of that in a way. Like I think that part of me feels like that game is too complex to have in a party setting where you have to. It feels a little too elaborate for what people want to do with those games at times.
No, I've been to a lot of parties, baby.
Okay.
I introduced it to several groups, and it always worked.
I mean, you are within a friend group that plays a lot of Jackbox in general, right?
True.
Like, I'm not super passionate about the Jackbox games. I have a decent time playing them. It's a fun distraction, which is like a belittling word that's maybe unfair, but like.
But in terms of the friend group thing, I did play with a group that was about 60% strangers that had never played Jackbox before, and they were also fully on board with push the button.
Yeah, I mean, I did not get what you got out of push the button specifically, but I also haven't explored like the rest of those games. But
yeah,
okay, if you're passionate about it, but I feel like we are getting to the point where it's like I personally don't see it being on the list. But
yeah,
if you feel like arguing passionately for me,
I would like to deflect this blow.
Okay,
I know. Look, in my mind, and it's probably not. I'm damning it with faint praise. Is that the expression? But like, I think it's a solid 19 or 20.
Okay.
I was like, wait, what? And then I realized what you were saying.
What about
out of 10?
What about a short hike?
This is interesting. So, Short Hike is one of the biggest surprises I had this year, where I just booted up on Steam, had no idea what the hell it was. It's a pretty cheap little game, and just had a delightful time with it. It's probably 2 hours or so, something like that. But it kind of has an Animal Crossing aesthetic with, it sounds insane, but some of the design sensibilities of Breath of the Wild, where it's like, okay, little story game where it's like, okay, you're with your aunt on this island, and then the goal is get to the top of this mountain so you can get cell reception. And then however you get up there is up to you. You can do side quests, and it's just like this pleasant little experience where you're talking to nice animal characters, doing side quests. But the cool thing is it's just completely freeform. Like, get up there however you can. You can climb, and it really has like the Breath of the Wild climb meter and stuff. You're free to explore. You can glide. You get better and better like boosting and flying abilities as you go along. And so it is in that camp of just like, I had such a wonderful, pleasant time with that game out of the blue. And I'm so happy to see games take design lessons from Breath of the Wild at this point, that I am delighted by it. That said, it is a short, relatively simple. Some would say it's a short hike. Kyle, did you play it?
No, I want to, though. It's just PC right now, right?
I believe so, yep.
Yeah,
just on Steam.
Yeah, I want to play that one.
I'll let you land that blow.
Okay.
Hey, Short Hike, take a hike to hell.
A short hike into hell.
Okay. Jeff,
my turn. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Get a load of this.
My favorite game of all time is Tetris.
No!
Do we need a Tetris 99? Is it...
Did you play it?
I played a little of it.
Little.
I mean...
It
is the Battle Royale idea enough to say, hey...
It deserves a spot on this list?
Yes.
I think it is.
Whereas,
it's
like,
fun.
You know, last year, whatever, I would have absolutely... I did fight for Tetris Effect, you know, because that was a much meatier and, you know, I felt did a
more transformative,
yes,
I think.
Yes, thank you.
So it's a novelty in a way. When they announced it in the Nintendo Direct, I think everyone was like, what, Battle Royale Tetris? Okay, that'll be fun for a little while. But, like, I kept playing it for quite a while. I think a lot of people kept playing it for a while. Like, oh, this actually has some competitive legs to it. Like, it is super fun. I won my first night, which I was very, very happy about. I know I haven't gotten back to it in a very long time.
Yeah.
I know they've been adding things. They added like an offline mode and stuff like that to make it a little bit more of a traditional Tetris. So it is a novelty. It's just another one of those shocking things of like, oh, this novelty actually works. And a thing that should be a punchline, I think gameplay-wise, it holds up and it's cool.
I played a lot of Tetris 99. I'm not super passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
mean,
played some
liked
of it.
though.
It just, I guess the Battle Royale aspect of it was kind of secondary to the fact that I was playing Tetris on my Switch for me. I know that, like, it is not inconsequential, like the Battle Royale aspects, because you are...
That's
like,
a lot of intensity.
Yeah. But I think part of me kind of secretly just wanted Tetris, you know, over, like, the competitive
Just
stuff.
get Puyo Puyo Tetris on Switch. It's one of the best purchases. I'm willing to let it go.
Bye, Tetris.
Whew, not any problems, but the list ain't one.
Tetris, Not enough Tetris.
Not enough Tetris. Okay, so this is a difficult conversation that we all have to have together.
Oh no,
that will probably mostly be me and Cyril. But let's talk about the Outer Wilds.
Damn it. Oh no.
Okay.
I mean, it's a beloved.
Okay, where's everybody at? Let's explain. I played 90 minutes of it.
I played about an hour.
I had about 6-7 hours in.
So not the most informed panel.
No.
Where you apologize.
But we are no longer at that outlet. We're not obligated.
Yeah, I mean,
I played about an hour and a half.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah, so I've played the most, and there's a lot that it's going to be so apologetic. There's a lot I admire about this game.
What do you admire?
I admire the sort of open nature of it, that once you get the sort of launch codes, which does not take long, obviously, you can go anywhere. And you can find stuff. Like, there's just weird stuff to find.
It is a game that maybe also takes some cues from Breath of the Wild, where it emphasizes exploration in a very satisfying way.
Yeah, and like, I heard some people complaining about like the controls, which is always like a weird complaint to me, because I feel like you just get the hang of controls like the more you spend time with the game.
But when the entire thing is you're a spaceship and it's supposed to be physicsy and finicky, and like trying to land that ship and not have it take too much damage, I got nauseated. Like, I get nauseous really easily.
I enjoyed that element of it.
Okay.
I because it's also really satisfying to get better at it as you get along. Like, I was talking to Serial, like I'm at a point now where I can land pretty comfortably without crashing my ship like consistently. But ultimately, like, it never fully grabbed me. Like, it was almost too open-ended. And like the things that you discover, like you land on a planet, you're like, oh, what's this? What's this? And then like the sort of the finish line is like some vague but kind of interesting backstory about like this other alien race. But it was just like the rewards for exploration were that story, which was like just not the thing that was driving me forward. And like there were so many occasions where I was like, I would land on a planet and find cool stuff, and I never really found I found the finish line of exploration. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't solve the puzzle and was able to move on. And it just like ultimately, like, as impressive as flying around the galaxy was and seeing planets and landing on them and like getting eaten by a giant creature and stuff like that.
And
like,
the fun time loop, the Majora's Mask, like,
even
reset.
that was like not that compelling to me. Like, I like the context of I love it when games have context for things that we accept as sort of standard in video games, like dying and starting over.
Yeah.
Like, I like that there's story context there, but like that's all it kind of felt like to me. It was just like an excuse for why you're dying and coming back. Like, there were conversations that you could have where you're like, I'm in a loop, but like usually the response from the other people are like, I don't know what you're talking about, and then that was it. And like the big thing is like your sort of database expands, but that's the only thing that carries forward. And like that, the sort of story element of the game like was just not enough to drive me to be really excited about keep going. I did not finish it. No.
Yeah.
And like that's like we should make that clear. Like, we haven't played a ton of it. I didn't finish it.
But to be fair, it also wasn't grabbing you enough to continue and finish it.
5-6 hours in, and I just wasn't excited to keep exploring. Like, I felt like mostly I was like, well, I guess I should go back to the Hanging City because my computer tells me I'm missing something there. And I just explored until the sun blew up, and I was like, well, my database says there's still something there. I guess I'll go back again. And it just was like, it didn't get me super excited, but I can admire that game for like having the galaxy and being able to fly around anywhere is really cool. And
how cool is it in the beginning? I'm trying to remember it's like the alien artifact, right? It was a while ago when I played this. And then it like has that, shows your entire run up until that point, like basically has a full playthrough.
Which it does. That's a very like Super Meat Boy kind of like.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
and it's like, I've never seen a game do that. Like,
except for Super Meat Boy.
But that's different to have a first-person game where you're exploring. And then like, it's recording that entire thing.
And it's funny to watch it back and be like, oh yeah, I did spend a lot of time talking to that one guy because it like lingers on there for a while. But like.
Are we cutting Outer Wilds?
I feel like so there's an implicit kind of like tide of enthusiasm that we feel like we're fighting here, but like that's definitely a game that I have heard about all year and definitely admire. But I think when I got into it, I think for me, one of my least favorite like parts of a game is being super stuck on something, and I feel like you are stuck the game for me. Of like, there's just going to be a lot of moments where it's like I guess I should go keep exploring or like find another planet, and I think so much of it is based on like, okay, did you arrive? Like, because I feel like it feels like it's going to be one interlocking puzzle in a lot of ways of like, okay, now that I have this from this planet, I'm going into this planet, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like you've probably been on more than one planet at this point.
Oh yeah.
But like, to me, it feels like if you don't make the right breakthroughs in the right order, you're just gonna have a tough time, which just feels like sort of what I kind of started approaching of like, oh, I bet there's a thing on another planet that'll help me have a breakthrough here. Yeah. And I mean,
like there's things where you learn something and then you can go talk to a guy and there's a prompt there that's like, oh, I learned something. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh, I learned something. And I was like, oh, I actually don't have anything to say. I was like, oh, I bet I can go back to him when I'd learned something. So I did. I learned something. I went back to him and talked to him and I told him, and his reaction was like, oh, interesting. I was like, oh, do you have like a clue for me to like go somewhere else or something? And it's just like, that's just not really what that game is. You know, it's all about sort of your own journey rather than like giving you big rewards. And like, maybe it doesn't need that, but like I was missing compelling reasons to keep going. You know?
beating ourselves up over this right now because we know how
I think
people
we
are
are.
listening and
I
watching.
know people are going to be upset about
I know,
it.
but are we
comes down to
talking
it, yes.
further
I
than we
think
need
our
to?
personal enthusiasm for this game is not as high as other people. And
think you're right.
I can
Yeah.
acknowledge that for fine, but like I don't
Yeah.
think this table is super into the Outer Worlds as a whole.
Wilds.
As
Wild.
the genie,
Sorry.
oh boy, as the genie once said, "You're outer here."
Wilds.
I'm very sorry, everybody. I hear your pain.
And like I said, please direct your comments directly to me on Twitter.
Right. Okay, we are down to basically the list.
Come on, B20.
There's no way this is 20. 29.
29.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, cut all the rest of Kyle's picks, and we'll be done.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've called my picks pretty well.
I
Cuts are gonna get harder.
am feeling like cutting with no mercy left in my blood. Untitled Goose Game.
I'm
I'm
with
sorry.
you.
I take it back.
No.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Good pick.
Lovely game, no doubt about it. I definitely wanted to play more, but I don't think enough of us, outside of Kyle, who also just like watched a lot.
Yeah, here's what I'll say. Quickly, what I'll say is like,
Yeah.
it's an important game to me personally because
Right.
like it was one that my kid. It was like one of the first games she really got into.
Yep.
But as far as separating from that,
Yeah.
which is like it is personally important. I will always have a lot of love for that game for that reason. It's just standard Luigi's Mansion.
I'm not trying to
It was
bash
well
the game. I
done.
think it's fun. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fun.
it's a good
Nintendo
game.
design.
Yeah.
Next Level did an awesome job. I'm just saying because you were also watching your.
I did a lot of watching. Yeah.
I'm
sure.
just saying, reading this room, I don't think Luigi's
In terms
Mansion
of
3
passion,
hangs.
yes.
Yeah.
Can I borrow
Unquestionably
someone's
even-
copy of that,
Even
by
though
the
it
way?
gave us
Kinda wanna
the
play it over
most
the
fun
break.
moment, or
Our favorite
the
thing.
favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Our favorite
not our
thing
favorite
now
game.
is cutting it from the list.
that's right.
That's fine. Yeah.
Don't
cut me.
Oh, is there a ghost in here? Did Luigi finally die?
That one hurt. All right,
boy.
Serial.
This is maybe a weird one, but how do we feel about Apex Legends?
I was
one.
gonna bring that one up next.
This is
Great.
this is a
I
table
think I might be
game,
the
right?
person who likes it most at this table, but
I like it.
That was
Okay.
my question.
I don't like it as much as Blackout, but
Same,
I'm
actually.
trying to
I'm
remember.
with
I
you.
went back and like read my notes from when I first played it, and it was just like, this is such smart design, just over and over and over again. Like having the champions banner there, obviously having the ping system. It's just like Respawn did such an amazing job with a formula that people thought they were sick of at this point. As sick of
Sorry.
Look at
the
these sick
microphone
mic
with Jeff on
problems,
shrinking.
guy.
so I liked the game. I did go back to it 2 nights ago to play some, and was like, okay, I need to have a squad of friends in order for this to
Yeah.
really feel fun. It felt so intense. It had less of a sense of adventure, which I know there's a silly reason to like battle royale games, but that's what I love is just messing around with friends and exploring. Right?
Yeah, and the sort of level. I get, what are you saying?
There's multiple
the
maps.
World,
The map.
I get. Oh, there are multiple maps
Yeah.
now. Okay, there was not at the beginning.
No,
right?
correct.
Okay.
It was-
yeah,
it was
just the one.
was kind of underwhelming, but yeah, it didn't. It's not one that I got passionate about. I played a couple rounds. I was like, yeah, I had a good time, but
Yeah.
I would rather play Blackout. I think I had
Yeah.
more fun with Blackout.
I think this is personally my favorite battle royale game. I
Yeah.
think I was super strong on it earlier in the year. I think I've put about 80, 90 hours into
Oh,
it
wow.
so far, and a lot of it was because it became because it's free, and I had friends who were into it. That was like the co-op game that I just played with friends. Like we would even have we would have a 4-person group going in Discord, and we would just rotate someone in every match, and someone would just like kind of do other stuff on their PC for a while. So
Yeah.
I was definitely super hardcore into this game for a while, but I think at some point we just all quietly fell off of it, and I think I ended up hitting that threshold where I got to the point where it's like, okay, being good at the game, at the shooting actually mattered now, because that game emphasizes shooting so much more so than I think even something like Fortnite, where you can have good aim, but I think so much of it is the building stuff, and it's definitely less forgiving than something like Blackout, I feel. So I definitely hit that point where, okay, I need to be actually good at this to have fun with it now. So I kind of ended up falling off of it. So I'm fine with cutting it.
That's a
Good
tough
game,
one
Ape.
for
I
me.
was like, these cuts are gonna get harder, man.
Okay. Golly. Whew.
Wait.
Let's just say
You're not the apex of the
You've reached
genre?
your zenith.
you reached
Apex,
Thank you. There
Apex
we go.
Legends.
Okay, Jeff Markifava.
Um,
Bonus points if you do one of your own.
And the points very much matter, right?
Eat your own. Don't touch
No.
ours.
Jeff didn't throw a lot on
I
there,
don't
honestly.
have. Yes, I cut all of mine before we started because I
Okay.
realized that
You're a freak.
my personal choices aren't going to make it. Surreal. How strongly do you feel about Travis Strikes Again?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm honestly surprised it made it this far. And I think it is just that association. I do like that game. I think it is like one of my favorite games that he's done in a really long time. It has my moment of the year, as we've discussed before. I feel like Kyle with One Piece World Seeker, I feel like I was on the upper edge of people who liked it. I feel a little bit like it's just really kind of just me. But that game had some really strong moments. I really like it, but it is a game that as much as I like it personally, I've had a hard time recommending to people. I think you have to already kind of be bought into Suda's particular brand of weird, and I think this is the first game in a while where it's like I will recommend this as a Suda game and not just like it's a good game. But and I did like it. It's just I don't see it proceeding further on the list for sure.
Quote the Raven. No more.
No, it's Travis's third strike, and he's out.
Oh, that's good too. Okay.
Oh boy. Jeff, you want to chat with me for a little while?
No.
How about Dragon Quest Builders?
No.
No? That game is...
I love that game.
All right, okay. Calm down.
Deflected.
I just... yeah,
So all you have
that
to do is
game...
just be indignant, and then Kyle will back up.
That game is entirely too long. It takes a really long time to get to the interesting stuff. You have to play 40 hours to unlock co-op.
That is unforgivable.
Which is absurd.
I understand that I'm not playing that kind of game for co-op.
Sure, yeah. I'm with
I'm
you
not
there.
playing a
yeah.
Minecraft game for co-op is a funny thing to say.
I think a lot of people
No,
just
I-
play Minecraft on their
yeah.
own. I don't think that's crazy.
Sorry, it's your chance. I'm kind of get this thing off the
I hate this game. Builders, destroyers. This is what you should do to that list.
It's just a weird,
I don't know.
like, there's a lot, like, Dragon Quest, is like, really, it was really exciting. The original one was, the idea of someone else sort of tackling a Minecraft genre. And then,
And doing a super awesome different thing instead of just cloning the
Which
same.
they did last time.
I like Minecraft with goals, which is what Dragon Quest Builders is, and it's way better
and they
than the
fixed
first
the
one.
goals as opposed to the first one.
But there's still all these things. It's hard for me to give a universal recommendation. Like if you like Minecraft, you'll like this game because it's like if you
okay,
like
but
Minecraft,
this isn't the universal recommendation list either,
I
right?
suppose that's true. Yeah,
This is
our
the,
Wait, can we
these
add
are
Travis
the
Strikes
games
Again
that we all super enjoyed,
yeah.
and two of us super enjoyed it.
not sound that way.
I liked Dragon Quest Builders. I'm just looking, for cuts, and there were things that really bugged me about that game. Like,
The fact that Jeff Cork built a better restaurant than you.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I don't know. Is that a deflection? What do you guys think? It's tough because it's only two of us.
I
have
think it's a
played it.
deflection.
Yeah,
All we have to go off is love in the room, right?
yeah.
The love
Yes.
between ourselves and games. Okay, Kyle.
When man loves a
Don't
game,
cut mine.
Kyle, take your pick.
I don't love Baba Is You.
Incorrect.
I think it starts strong
do
and
love Baba.
and does not. It sort of drags in a way that the puzzles become actively frustrating and bad.
I think it is a case of you having to review that game and having to finish it. I understand being frustrated. I think it is.
So the complete experience doesn't matter.
It does if you want to keep going, but I'm saying it's not like a story-based game.
But
It's just like, I didn't finish my
But if I
challenge
hit-
in solitaire.
If it's
just
like a list of puzzles, hey, here's a puzzle game with a
Right.
bunch of puzzles. If I hit a point where I'm like, I'm not enjoying these anymore, I don't want to do these anymore.
then I just stop playing.
Well, I
And
don't know.
still
I don't,
had-
I do
but
not
that
like that
doesn't make the
argument.
game
That's,
that doesn't
that's like
make it for a
basically
better
saying,
game.
like,
It's just optional
but-
more content.
I don't
And-
like
and
this
with-
the third season of the show, so let's just stop there and not
that
consider.
doesn't mean
And
the
but
whole
if I
show
still
is
have-
good. You can just say the first 3 seasons are good, but like the show as a whole.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I had such a good time with Baba Is You
Yeah.
that's what I'm rating. I'm not saying all of it in its entirety is this good of a game.
And in this type of game,
But you have to rate the entire game though. Like if you're not
not for
compelled,
this list, baby.
But I feel like that speaks to the game though. I think if you weren't compelled to play through all of those games puzzles,
I don't think it does in this kind of case. It strikes me in a similar way to the Trials system, where it's like it gets more and more complex, and eventually you're going to
Yeah.
hit a ceiling where it's not made for you anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
And especially in a game, it's not like a platforming thing where it gets too difficult. Like, this is very difficult programming puzzles.
Yeah.
And you are going to hit that ceiling. And if you're not forced to review 100% of the game, I can see it being like, there are a lot of programming games where I super liked it, and then it gets to a point where, like, this is for actual programmers, and I can keep learning from it, and there are definitely puzzles that I've gotten to so far where it's like, this is super difficult and I don't know how to do it, and I will beat my head against it and eventually figure it out, and I'm very happy that I continued with it.
Yeah.
But it's not one where I'm going to say, like...
Also, this isn't an argument that it's too hard, by the way. Like, it does get difficult, and I don't think it's bad to get difficult, but there are puzzles that are just, like, actively, like, the way the solution for them involved, like, pushing boxes from the right angle and stuff like that, and, like, it just was not fun. Like, the fun part of that game is rearranging words to manipulate how you interact with the world.
Right.
And, like, you run into puzzles where it's like, that's not really the factor. It's like, I was pushing the box left when I should have pushed it right.
I don't think I got to the
that's
point,
frustrating.
after as far as I've got into that game and spent so much time with it this year, I did not get to a point where I'm like, that's a stupid solution to the puzzle.
I certainly did.
I know, but again,
Yeah.
you saw that end game stuff, which I did not get to. And I like your Trials analogy. That's exactly right. It's like having a great time with it, then eventually it's like, this is my limit, and that's totally fine for the human
I feel
brain.
like that's such a weird metric for. I feel like that's just.
But I love those early stages so
sure,
much.
but
And
like-
not even like the first. I mean,
I'm not saying you don't like those early stages, but I
think.
think I feel like a better game would have pushed you to say like this. You would never have that feeling of, well, I just can't solve. This is beyond me. Like I feel like a game would like slowly coax you into like, okay,
sure,
this is maybe a little bit out of my comfort zone, but like having that ramp of like, but I'm gonna give it a shot, and being able to make that leap and feeling like you can. I think that would have made it a better game. And this is, again, I feel like I'm arguing purely on rhetorical terms because I haven't played the game, but I feel like
there we go.
the fact that you got to a point where it's like, this isn't for me anymore, I don't think that's something we should overlook as a knock against the
I
game.
hear you, but I think, again, just framing what this list is, right? It's like love at the table, and I have so much love for what I played of Baba Is You.
And I also think in puzzle games like this, yes, you can string people along, but at some point, there are going to be people who are just so much better at it. And I don't like the idea that, like, well, we can't make content for these people because not everyone's going to be able to get to that point.
Yeah. I love Mario Odyssey.
makes
I didn't
sense.
do like those super tough challenges towards the end and stuff, you know?
But to use that example, there's still a satisfying conclusion for you to not have to go into the challenging stuff. Bob Is You just was at a certain point stopped being satisfied. I was not excited to go into new levels. You know,
Because you're on a time crunch to review it, I'd argue.
I don't know. I like to look at the whole sort of experience. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of it. And I think at a certain, like, I really liked those early levels, but at a certain point, Bob Is You actively stopped being fun.
Yeah.
And there are puzzle games that get really difficult that maintain their fun throughout, and Bob Is You was not one of those for me.
I hear you. Jeff, I feel like I don't have a full sense. Like, what did you think of your time playing it?
I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
It definitely seems like your type of game.
Yes, it is.
So you're saying Kyle's wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And again, to use the same analogy, I also really like the Trials games. There's no way I will ever fully complete a Trials game. And if I did keep beating my head, I would say, hey, this level design sucks. It's way too hard because I'm never going to be able to get through it. That's something that I don't hold against those types of games because I see there is a very large spectrum of skills that players are bringing into it, and I can appreciate the fact that level of skill is there for those super awesome players.
Yeah.
But to integrate that into like the main experience is what like I'm struggling with that argument. You know what I mean? Because like you use the Mario example of like there are super hard levels in that game that the hardcore can approach.
So halfway through Bob Is You want like credits, like good job. And
honestly,
then,
like just some sort of satisfying conclusion. It's like, all right,
but I
if you
don't
really
need that for like a bite-sized little quantum. Do this level, do this level, do this level. It was like we gotta save Baba by the end, then maybe. But like it's just, hey, here's a meal, eat what you want. Like that sounds great to me.
I don't know. I don't love that argument in terms of like video games.
It's not something I was playing like for a story or that I feel compelled that like I have to get to the end of this.
I wasn't punished for not finishing it.
I guess, but the thing is like I don't know. We're at a point I think we're not going to change our mind because like the sort of being excited to go to the next level is like good game design to me. And at a certain point, I was not excited to go to the next level in that game. You know what I mean? Like that, you need to be excited to continue to keep going. And maybe you hit a point where it's like too hard, but like I don't know. When it comes to like video games or in this situation, like I feel like there's a bad ramp of difficulty, and it's unnecessarily frustrating. It starts out really strong and then tapers off. Where I don't know. I think it hurts the total package. They had a really good, compelling initial idea, and they didn't expand on it in an interesting way. They just made it sort of not fun.
But I think the clever idea in the beginning is a puzzle mechanic that I've never seen in the history of video games.
There are other games that have used like programmer logic and puzzles before, to be fair.
Yes,
Jeff, it seems like an expert in this field.
I have played a lot of those. This is like puzzle games mixed with Sokoban puzzles, which is the kind where you're pushing around crates and different things, and so there's that spatial challenge also of like, well, how do I get that thing over here without pushing something into a corner and then I don't have access to it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a really strong initial idea that you come across early in the game, and like we even talked about it as being a moment.
Yeah.
Like I love that moment where you figure out like how the game works, but they just don't. What's the word that I'm looking for? Where you sort of build on something.
Iterate.
They didn't iterate on it well over the course of the game. I feel like.
I mean,
Jeff,
thank you.
how are you feeling about it on this list versus not on the list?
Die Hard has to be on there.
Really?
I mean, I can't remember if we're supposed to be making this argument, but it's on my top 10 list of experiences.
What did you say?
I mean, honestly, if you guys are both like super passionate about it, and I'm the one that's kind of like it starts
and you still
off
like
strong.
it.
I still like it. It like the further you get into it, the less I like it. So, and to me, like having two really passionate people, passionate people. People who are passionate about it.
What's happening?
Like, makes me okay with it staying on the list.
You're in our Baba is you passion sandwich right now.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like the
and you don't
lettuce,
want to leave.
and you guys are like the good sandwich bread. So,
So wrong is you. Okay.
I guess so. Jeff, I wish you hadn't played it.
Why'd you do that?
Hanson made me play it.
As a, I don't know if this is a concession, and if I'm just letting guilt wash over me, I will deflect that Baba blow. I'll take off Jackbox.
All right.
You're gonna
I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
Jackbox?
Do it.
Okay.
That seems wrong, but whatever.
Okay, so Kyle, you still got a victory.
Hooray! What a victory it is.
Did you want Jackbox cut, Kyle?
I'm not a big
Were you
Jackbox
arguing
guy.
for
I
that?
think we're at 25.
We're at 25. Oh my God. Observation and Devotion both being on this list. Maybe it's because it's two games that sound
One
similar,
word.
and I didn't play either of them.
I like both of those games a lot.
To the point that you want both those on this list.
Yeah.
Can you explain Devotion?
Devotion is a horror style game that I think uses that as a very strong jumping off point for a story that is much more personal and a lot more human than you might expect, and it goes into some very good directions without. It doesn't forsake its horror trappings entirely, but I think the story it tells is better than a lot of horror stories.
Yeah.
The emphasis is not on like a monster per se. There are some horror-esque moments in it, but I think the story that it tells about a father raising her daughter, and it feels very culturally specific. That's why I don't want to say it's like, oh, because they got the reasons it got delisted is because it feels so. Like, I mean, obviously it got delisted for a very specific thing, but that thing is in line with a lot of that game's motivations. It does feel like a game that is uniquely Chinese, in that a lot of it, so much is about societal pressure to perform, and so much of it is about like the expectations that are placed upon like a lot of people, and how they grow up, and how like, well, you did this thing, and so now you have to keep doing it, and like whether you like it or not, like you are good at this thing, so you need to continue doing it, and how that affects people, and how people are willing to manipulate that for their own gain. And I think what parents specifically are willing to do for their children, I think it does that so strongly, without sort of giving you this exposition dump, and it does that through the game and not through like, here's a text entry that you read. Like, so much of it feels like it is playing with the environment, and the puzzles I think are good. So between Observation and Devotion, I would prefer Devotion stay on the list, which isn't. I don't want to.
Are you sacrificing Observation?
I don't want either to go, but I also see like there are tons of games on this list that I would rather see go.
And it's not an either or between those, but if you're saying there's an opening with Observation,
I don't want there to be an opening yet. There are games that I would rather cut, but I think specifically speaking to Devotion, that is a game I feel very strongly about.
Okay.
Are we to the point where one person advocating for a game that the other three don't care about or
We'll keep it
don't
on this
like?
list?
Yeah.
Just depends.
That's
I
my-
think. Are you saying that one person isn't enough?
That's what I'm asking.
No, I don't
Are
think
we
so.
to that point?
I think it's.
Which I'm not. I think you just made a very good case for Devotion.
Yeah.
Observation is the one where I'm looking at where you're less enthused about it.
Yeah.
We have other people who have played it and didn't
I
like
didn't
it as
play it.
much.
Observation was one I had suggested as a cut earlier, yeah. But it's not a mathematical vote, you know. I
Right.
mean, it's more of a passion thing, and if two of us are.
But
like,
if
Yeah.
Serial's at a 8 out of 10 with his love for observation, and you're bringing it down 2 points, then it is a mathematical cut. And I think
That's such a weird reason to make that cut, but
your call, Serial. Your call.
I don't know.
What were the other games that you said you'd want to cut before that?
Untitled Goose Game. I would
Yep.
want to cut.
I'm with
before
you on
then.
that. Hang on. Let's
Hey,
hang
wait,
up
wait,
there.
wait.
Let's hang up there.
Go ahead and let's lose Goose. Let's lose the Goose. Because
All right.
it's solid, and I like the ending, but it wasn't like
There it is.
you know, this-
Unlisted Goose Game.
There we go.
I don't want. This feels really like a weird thing where you just cut something else before. I guess I'd have to see how we feel about What the Golf.
I love What the Golf.
Okay.
I thought
wanna
it
make a
was
case?
fine and funny.
Oh no.
I thought it was a funny game, but
I do think it's very funny, and just having it was also like right game at right time, which I understand is a tricky way to make this list, but like just in terms of having something simple, funny, every level's creative, it's just rapid firing through these little golf challenges, and every level is like, oh, that's a funny twist. Oh, that's a funny twist. Just the amount of creativity and fun packed into that really simple experience, and like it is an Apple Arcade game. I played it on Epic Game Store, and I feel like it played great on PC. I loved having it on a big screen. It was a great podcast game. I thought the music was fantastic. It was just one of the most delightful things I played this year.
I very much like what you showed of me
Yeah.
and had me play.
What?
Does it have? Is there more to it than what I got out of it? I played for like 20 minutes, maybe.
It is.
Does it have
definitely
legs
has
to it?
A lot more variety beyond that, and they keep changing up perspective. You know, obviously the art's always changing, but like you saw the beginning, which is like the hey, show a friend mode, right? Where it's like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, and it changed it up a lot there. But I think it even gets wackier as you move on, and stranger. But I mean, that is you saw the delightful aspect, right? Of just you got a good taste of the variety, but there's so much more, you know.
I have a question, Serial.
Yeah.
Hang on though, Kyle.
Oh yeah.
I mean, do you like What the Golf on this list?
I do. I'm not as passionate as you, but I
Yeah.
do like it on there.
I do too.
But it's like on the block for me. Like
Yep.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Serial, how do you feel about Devil May Cry?
Yes.
That is a weird one because I really
Yes.
do like it, and I remember really liking it at the time. But it almost feels very similar to Apex Legends, where like when I was
Yeah.
into it, I was super into it. But
I
then,
played it and beat it and had a decent time with it,
Yeah.
but it was very like one and done.
Decent.
Yeah,
Decent.
decent May Cry. It's not one that's like, you know, anywhere near my personal top 10. It's
I'm okay with
you know,
cutting it. I
Yes.
think is
Yeah.
the
I'm with
I like
you.
that game
I'm
quite
with
a bit.
you.
It's just that like there are in ways they did right by their community, which like very much wanted something different after DMC,
or
but
they wanted
also,
something the same after DMC.
there is
you know?
also like there are parts of the game that I don't like. I don't think V is a good character. I think that like his character I think is an interesting concept that I don't think they execute well enough.
I think interesting is too kind.
No, I mean I like that he is playing a different style of game. I just don't think they execute on that as well.
Oh, I
as
thought
they
you meant
should
as a
have.
character, like as a person.
Oh
with
no!
dialogue.
Like as a mechanical thing that you control.
Yeah.
I didn't care for him because like straight he just made the game way too easy. Like you could just spam whatever you wanted and just get like triple S combos. And
Yeah.
part of me like wanted to dive into the repeats, but like even the system where you can only play certain levels with certain characters, I think is like a bigger bummer to me in hindsight than I thought at the time. Because I just want to go through like I just want to master Nero, and the fact that there are certain levels where you can't do that, I think
Yeah.
it works against it. And I guess like the story I wasn't super into. There's like some resolutions and stuff in there that I think are fun, but
It weirdly-
ultimately
It's-
We got him where we want him, Jeff.
I mean, we don't have to keep talking about it, but like it weirdly is. It's what fans wanted, And I would not consider myself a big Devil May Cry fan. I've actually played them all, but I'm not like I don't love that series. And it to me it felt like a step backward, which is what fans wanted. But for me, I wanted like something more along the lines of DMC, where it's like let's try something, let's go crazy with
and
this.
And even I'm pretty open to having like those two games kind of coexist, like those two kinds of games coexist. But even then, it's like. For me as a fan, I just wanted like Dante and Nero.
Randall.
I think.
Oh. Sorry. Yeah, Nero.
Dante and Nero, I think, are two of my favorite characters to control. Period, like ever, because of like Dante's incredibly diverse moveset and like the things you can pull off both creatively and as that the game pushes you to do. I think are like awesome. But I think that I also have kind of. I'm not super into the level design of that game in a lot of ways. Like there's some things where it's like they kind of go a little overboard, and the later levels kind of look bland. Like once you're inside the like in the inner parts of that world, I don't think they do a good job of making it look cool. But I wanted to say my piece on it. But
is it time to pull the devil trigger?
Yeah.
All right. How many? 3
We're
more to
at
cut?
23, I think.
3. Oh, wait.
You want
to
3 more to
call
cut
them
for the
out
list of 210s.
for the
yes, we have
listeners?
Resident Evil 2,
Wanna
Outer
Call of Duty them
Worlds,
out?
Sekiro, Control, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Death Stranding, Days Gone, Wargroove, Link's Awakening, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Disco Elysium, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Bloodstained, Grindstone, Observation, With the Golf, Baba's You, Ape Out, Dreams, Devotion, Dreams and Devotion, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I have one I want to poke at.
Okay.
It's really just Jenga. You just want to like poke at this piece. How loose is this piece? A little game I like to call Death Stranding.
All right, here we go.
How are we feeling about it on this list? And just lay the land. I only played it for one session, which is insane to me as a big Metal Gear fan. And I'm hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. That's where I'm at. And I was intrigued by it, but I haven't gone back to it.
Why do you think that is, though?
Oh.
Do you
I
think
have
it's
too many
because
other games to play.
Okay, so it's not necessarily like
I don't dislike Death Stranding from what I've played so far.
Okay.
It is my go-to game when I have time to play a game.
Yeah.
The more I play it, the more I like it. It is this bizarre meditation on the idea of mortality and death. I mean, honestly, I feel that way about it because like you spend so much downtime sort of walking around and thinking about this world. And I think it's like unlike anything I've ever played. I understand why it has not clicked with some people. I honestly don't think that's anyone at this table. I think everyone has some appreciation for it, even if they're not head over heels
Jeff,
for it.
I think we're in the same camp, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
but
yep.
like, and it is when you first start, there is that moment of like, so this is what this game is, huh? And it is off-putting, but I probably like I'm halfway 3/4 now, and I really like it more and more, and I think it, and talking on that sort of idea of iteration, I think it actually. Like it does continually iterate on sort of improving the way you move through the world and how you move through the world in interesting ways. And I like the world. I like the story. I hear it kind of goes off the rails.
Yeah, in some good and bad ways.
Yeah, like I mean, it's a Kojima game, so like the rails or whatever. I don't know if you understand. What
I didn't
rails
super
are,
click
but-
with like the writing, and I think some of the characters I think are really weak. I think I like Norman Reedus in that, but like. There's a lot of his storytelling that I don't think holds up under scrutiny when it comes to creating like a plot arc. But there are so many like moments and like underlying motifs that I think work really well when you start if you can kind of ignore a lot of the like the stuff that is not subtext but like just in the forefront. I think he's very ham-fisted about that stuff, but there is stuff underneath the surface that actually I think works really well thematically. I like that it is a game that doesn't feel like it needs to have like a lot of combat in it. In fact, I think the combat in that game is the worst part of it. And I like just the feeling of climbing something and having this really long journey. I know that's sort of where a lot of people break off from it, where it's like, I don't want to just walk everywhere. But I think the way it gamifies walking in a lot of ways, hiking and stuff. And I had a lot of moments that felt like actual, kind of long walks that I've had whenever it's like, well, you got to walk to your friend's house and it's like super far away. And you kind of see like, you see the street sign that leads to your house and you're like, okay, good, I'm almost here. Like there are a lot of moments in Death Stranding where I had that similar experience of like, oh, there's the thing that there's the point. Oh, thank God I'm here.
Yeah.
And that, to Kyle's point about how it iterates, it has a lot of smart moments where it says, here's the thing that'll make the game easier, but it's not a thing that's like, okay, now I will forever use the motorcycle for the rest of the game. I can just motorcycle wherever I want. Because there are ebbs and flows in that difficulty that I think are really smart. But there are.
Do we want it on this list?
I do. Yeah.
I do want it on the list.
Okay.
I think it's a really compelling, sort of unexpected. I don't think we're going to.
In the AAA space, it's one of the most interesting games I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we should be going around the table still. We have 3 more to cut. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to raise my hand and take one off that has not been poked at yet. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
That was the one that I was going to
I
suggest.
was going to
next.
ask.
I had a good
How
time playing
people-
that game, but reflecting on it, outside of like, going into the stadium for the first time was kind of cool. I don't think there was any part of that game that impressed me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the next generation of Pokemon. Right?
We've been sleeping on this one the whole
have.
time.
I had my eye on it, and again, I had a good time playing that. But I don't think it deserves a spot on the 210s.
It's one of those, like, it has the Luigi's Mansion argument to me, personally important to me with like the way my family got into it, but like it would take like removing myself from that element of it and like looking at it, it's just a solid Pokemon game, which isn't like hugely compelling. We wanted like the console Pokemon game, and the wild area is interesting, but it's not like it doesn't feel like the next step for Pokemon. You know,
I think it is the next step, and it still just feels kind of blah. And I think there's so many things that are actively frustrating, or just like, come on, Game Freak, just knock it out of the park, please. Get out of this rut. And they are shaking it up on the console, but it's still the fact that we have a console Pokemon RPG, technically kind of the second if you count Let's Go, but I understand that's murky territory. But the fact that we've had 2 of these things effectively now, and it's still like, I don't feel like I've really had my console Pokemon RPG yet. That's damning. That's secretly very damning.
get out of here.
Neither an unstoppable force or an immovable object. Pokemon is Sword and Shield, unstoppable force.
Sword and shields are unstoppable force.
No, a shield is representative of an immovable object. Sword is an unstoppable force.
Have those ever been connected
you
before?
making that up right now?
Maybe.
About?
Delete it.
As they say.
What's your...
Yeah, I guess you could say ta-ta. What's a British way to say goodbye? Is it ta-ta?
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Cheerios.
Cheerios straight to hell.
I'm not happy with any of those jokes.
Goodbye, Governor.
Here's one.
Oh.
How do we feel about Ape Out?
I love Ape Out.
You
I
would.
really enjoy Ape Out.
Is it enough? I mean, I enjoyed what I played of it, certainly.
Yes.
But when we're getting down to the final things, a lot of these games that I also really like are doing a lot more, and they have a much larger scope, and that's not necessarily a reason to keep them on the list or cut something else off the list, but it gets to the point where, well, if a game does a lot of things really well versus a game that does this one thing really well, is there a lot more to that experience that I didn't get to? We played through like one of
that is the core. I mean, it changes up, and I think the ending is really, really good. But that is the experience from that stream, the Great Cody Hunt stream.
Man, I really like that. Again, I really like games that hone in on one thing, and the way that game synthesizes its action with its music and its soundtrack. I think it is like one of my favorite experiences of the year. It's just like running amok in that game, in the way that the soundtrack feels like it is directly commenting on what you're doing, and it feels like it is flourishing with your gameplay moments in a really strong way.
For a game on this list that we all have positive feelings on, seems weird to cut it.
That Jenga piece feels pretty foundational to the tower at this point.
Yep. Anybody else have
How
any
about
ideas?
Fire Emblem Three Houses?
I like that game quite a bit. I think it is one of the more interesting games structurally.
Like that game quite a bit.
But
that one's tapping out a little more.
no,
Do you think it deserves a spot on the 210s?
I think it does, but like I would say like it's bottom half of those 210s, but I would like to see it on there for sure, because
Did the other 3 of us play it or
did
have
not.
any interest in
I
it?
started it. I was interested in it, but I started playing that game like the day after I got laid off, so I don't think I was in the right mindset to play that game.
I will say it is
Fired Emblem.
It is
There you
a
go.
little too long,
Laid
even
off,
for a
laid
game that is about the progression of time. I think that game goes on for way longer, and maybe this is because I played on hard, and that makes the game a lot longer. But to me, the weakest part of that game was actually the strategy. I like the going back to the base and talking to those people a lot more than I ended up liking the actual fights.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times they kind of fall back on like the same number of tricks over and over again. But like that game's story is like really well done in a way that feels like something only a game can give you. But
Okay.
I'm happy to come back to it. But
Okay. I want to cut observation.
Do
Based on the read of this table. Cyril, I know you like
Yeah.
it, but one person liking a game at a table I don't think is making it hang. I think one person has to love a game to make it hang on this list.
Or how does it compare to Fire Emblem, Surreal?
I don't know.
We can revisit some other ones that we've.
Yeah,
kinda
I mean, I
talked
feel
through again,
like-
too.
I don't think we
I
can.
would go back. Kyle, I know you like Grindstone
Oh,
quite a bit.
That's you stay away from grind. That's my hill, honestly. I love that
I think
game.
Grindstone has a spot on this list.
Okay.
What about
I'm climbing that hill. I'm
Wargroove.
putting on my Death Stranding equipment.
Wargroove, anyone else?
I'm looking at the list again. I think I'm fine with cutting Observation.
There it is.
I like that game quite a bit, but if I'm the only one who likes it, it'll be in my list. But
Yeah, it was just for me. It was just like it's interesting, but it didn't get me super
there
excited.
are other arguments I'd rather have.
It wasn't an oh boy game. For
We
me.
have one more to cut, ladies and gentlemen.
We should cut Call of Duty.
We should cut Bloodstain.
We should cut Link's Awakening.
I'm open to it.
If Kyle's open to cutting Link's Awakening, Link's Awakening was my favorite Zelda game up until Breath of the Wild. I did not finish the Switch version. I was very excited about it, played it, and then had that moment not too different from when I last tried to play Link's Awakening on the 3DS of like, I love this game. I love the tone. I love the personality. Minute-to-minute gameplay and navigating that overworld.
Yeah, it's like
It's kind of a drag. And then on top of
it's
that,
like a number 21 to me,
Yeah.
to a certain degree.
And also just like, I think it falls into this problem too, where I think it's almost the worst kind of remake. Like it was too literal. And I understand if you're like a
But
devout
wait, don't you
fan
like
of Link's
building your own
Awakening.
dungeons and putting them together and
No,
running
I
through
don't.
them in 2 minutes?
No, but just a level of just like, oh, here's this enemy. We've looked at the Game Boy art and just basically scaled it up and polished it off. And like, I love the art design in that game, but like so many of those enemies, I'm like, these are just hideous, stupid looking things. Like when you have the opportunity to remake a game,
Yeah.
I think I would want those enemies to at least look cool instead of just like this weird, faithful. It's being faithful in ways that I don't think are necessary because you're being faithful to some big technical problems with the Game Boy itself, right? And even like, I love the quirky dialogue, but just the way that the dialogue is brought forward for the Switch version, where it's still like Game Boy text, where it's like, I'm just going to say 4 words in giant font. It's like there's a certain charm to that I get, and it's weird for like the new characters when they brought like Dampy and stuff in. Like he's very eloquent compared to everybody else who's like, look out over there, or
Yeah.
I'm living in a surreal world, whatever the wonderful characters say.
I enjoyed all that stuff about it. I kind of like that it's like I've wanted a game to do something like that where it's not just let's reimagine it and update it for modern audiences and said like, no, what would this look like if we actually like made it an actual like 3D object?
Yeah.
That said, like I think I've cooled on that game as time has gone on. So like I would be fine with cutting it.
You're fine with
Okay.
it. I could see it going, even though I'm not hungry for it. And Kyle brought it up in like round 1, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I will say personally, I like Link's Awakening over like Builders and Bloodstained.
Sure.
But I'm okay with Link's Awakening.
But those
going.
ones had passionate people.
They did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
And I'm not seeing any passion here.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love Link's Awakening.
Sure.
I played it and beat
And
it and had a good time with it and even considered
it's
going back
number
and trying
21,
to 100% it.
you know?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is
For
21.
the year. I
Yep.
mean, that's still very great.
Right. And I know I used this joke earlier, but you are the weakest Link. Goodbye.
Oh, because it's Link this time, so
You got
it makes
it.
sense. That's
Link's
good.
Awakening, I sleep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that's it. The hard part's over, right?
Yeah, we did it.
Oh
This
boy.
part is this honestly is probably the easier part, I feel like, except for the number 1, right?
Okay. We're down to 20 games.
2 10s. if you will.
Guys, I don't want to alert or alarm anyone,
Yeah.
but we forgot Gears Pop.
No.
We got to start over.
Back to the top for Gears Pop.
All right, get Resident Evil 2 out of there.
Okay,
Ah.
great. That's off the list. Okay, 2 10s. Let's start. Let's put a divider. Don't you think?
Yeah, the max
So we-
list and the min list.
That's exactly right, my son. Well, I messed that up visually.
We're at 21 again.
No, okay. Press. Do the whole thing again. Find the game that's number 11, which I think is Fire Emblem.
And then make a space.
Do that.
Disco Elysium.
Okay. And then no. Okay, now undo it.
Do two enters.
Control Z.
Just do 2 enters.
Yeah.
guys, this is.
No, do the numbering.
You're saying do this?
No, do the numbering again.
Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Fire Emblem. Yeah, good Fire Emblem.
Here we go.
No.
This is how we're doing it. Done.
Yeah.
Moving on. Moving on. Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's the list, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so just a reminder, we have Resident Evil 2, The Outer Worlds, Sekiro, Control, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Death Stranding, Days Gone, War Groove, Fire Emblem, Three Houses, Disco Elysium, Dragon Quest Builders 2, that must be a mistake, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Grindstone, What the Golf, Baba's You, Ape Out, Dreams, Devotion, and Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Bottom up, does that sound good? That's the way we like to list?
Guess, yeah. What the golf? Get to number 20.
That's where I like
there.
it too.
Get down.
I mean, I think you can just move it down towards the bottom, and we'll figure it out. I think it's hard.
It's in the bottom chunk already. It's in the
Right.
bottom 10.
It's hard to just say, okay, this is going to be our number 20, right?
Well, how about
but we
this?
can start migrating up and down a little bit.
So to be clear, okay, we have 2 10s, right?
Yeah.
So are we are we ordering the list? Does it matter whether something is 7 versus like 4?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I think we should number it. Then I think we like on the document because I think if
Is that going to be hard
gonna
to
be-
actually do though? Like when
okay, maybe not.
you're copying and
We'll do that
pasting
later.
them back
We
and
got the
forth?
idea. Let's
Okay.
just so we have 2 10s. What looks good for the bottom 10? What looks good for the top 10? What should we swap around just as a
Okay,
starting
well,
spot?
You should move Dreams to the top 10.
I agree. What do you want to replace it with?
You can move Days Gone down there because I know I'm the
I
only
was gonna
one.
say Days Gone.
Great. All right, Days Gone down to the bottom 10, which is the ghetto at this point. Serial, do you think War Group deserves a spot
On
in
the
the
top
upper
list?
10?
I think so. I would even swap like Disco Elysium and Fire Emblem if we're doing.
Okay. Yeah. Great swap. Disco Elysium, welcome to the big leagues.
Yeah, we
kid.
we didn't end up talking about Disco Elysium, but you finished it and you really liked it, right, sir?
I have not finished it.
Oh, but you're close.
But I
Disqualified.
really like it.
You want to? Let's
I would
talk
move
about
it
it.
higher. It in terms of its scope and what it does. I think it is one of the most interesting games of the year. I think that it is one of the few games that I felt like I played this game that felt like it was actually moving the medium forward in
How
a lot
so?
of ways. Because it is not afraid to focus entirely on its writing, and it gamifies that in a very interesting way that I think only a game can do. I think I haven't played a lot of RPGs like it, and I'm not saying like, oh, this is totally original. It's just I'm not super versed in the CRPG genre that it's drawing from, but I think a lot of the reason I don't play a lot of those games because I've played some Divinity and some Torment, and I think the place where I fell off was the combat. I did even though there are builds where you can avoid combat for the most part, the fact that it still exists kind of made me wary. So I think the fact that this is a game that wants to focus on its writing above all else, and it does not feel the need to water that down by saying like, well, let's have you do something else so that it's interesting. And I think the way that it does gamify writing by and so you have these RPG stats, but they're all like different voices in your head.
Yeah.
And so like as you put more points in, those voices become more prominent and kind of like they chime in at certain points. So you're constantly doing checks in the background of like, well, is your
Very good sounding checks, by the way. Like
Yeah.
I love the sound of like when that
Yeah.
stuff rolls out.
and so like you'll have the voice of authority in your head, which is like a very like, no, I'm a cop, I'm gonna be the law. So if you have that stat really high, it'll constantly chime in and say like, hey, this guy's not respecting you, and they slowly nudge you towards particular options. And like as much as authority can be like, no, be a fascist cop, like there will be times where it'll be useful to have authority because it'll say like, oh, this person's about to break, push him further, versus like, okay, back off, he's not gonna like break on this.
How much? So I played maybe about an hour, which that's why I'm backing off. I really think it's cool. A friend of mine said it's the best writing they've ever seen in the
Yes.
game, hands down.
Yeah, I would say this is like one of, if not the favorite story that I've had a game tell.
It's how much of it is like the moment-to-moment writing versus the larger story? Do you think the larger story surrounding this town builds to a place that is next level?
I think so, because of the way that it manages to make the mundane super interesting. Because a lot of the times, like the big thing you're kind of like working in is like this labor dispute, and then there is a murder mystery, but it is less about like. this is gonna be a weird argument. It's less about like the actual events that occur and more like what those events speak to. So like there's a murder, but like the motivations behind it are like the bigger thing of you're trying to uncover like why is this person like. So the big thing that it's not like a huge spoiler is like you find a body that's hung out in a tree.
That's early on. Yeah,
that's like the super thing, and you're like as you unravel. Okay, well, why was he hung, right? And then like why is he why did no one call the police, right? Until I came here, and the motivations behind it, like, well, we did this because of this, and then like as you talk to people, you learn these like interlocking motivations of like multiple people want to tell you like push you towards one group, one person will push you towards another, and so like there are these like conflicting moralities that you're fighting within, and then also your story as like a person who has amnesia, which I know is a tired trope, but they make good on that premise by saying like there are moments where they speak to like why you're amnesiac, what that says about you as a person, because it's not like, oh, I've conked my head. It's like you like the motivation is that you were so drunk and have been so belligerent for the last, it's established like very quickly on that it's been a while that you've been like this, and it feels like you have just woken up as like a person who either wants to redeem themselves or kind of keep doing what they're doing. And like a lot of the characters kind of react to you, like a lot of people are wary about cops, and I think that a lot of what they do with making that world feel lived in is super strong, and what those things speak to about, like there are a lot of philosophical arguments here, but they're couched very well as being like there's a reason people are bringing up like here's why I feel like striking because the government has screwed me over, right? Like, and so like, and this has to do with the way workers are compensated, things like that. And so it does a really good job of integrating that stuff all really well. And like every time I sit down and play the game for an extended period of time, I feel like I have a substantial episode within that world. Like there are episodes where you're helping establish like a disco club, and there are times when I've had really long-winded conversations about the nature of work and how people are compensated, and it doesn't feel like it is being overly preachy, because it does a good job of like saying, well, okay, even if you want to be a communist, it kind of leans into the trappings of like, well, here are some of the issues with how communism has been implemented thus far. And so it's like, it's not overly kind of like...
Even in this fantasy world.
Yeah. So for example, one of the major like themes of it is like there's a union that is striking, right? And so like if you're someone who supports union striking, like you'd be like, yeah, I'm all in on the union. But the union leader is kind of like he's like one of the most corrupt people you meet. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of does a job of saying like, even within these ideas that you are a fan of, understand that the ways that they're expressed happen to be through people. And so like the way it hones in on those themes is just so incredibly sharp, and the writing feels like it is sometimes flowery, but it is sometimes very cutting. It is like an incredibly funny game that I think skewers a lot of the things that it kind of approaches in really like well done ways. Mm-hmm. And like, I like that it doesn't feel the need to like, well, let's pretty up all this writing with like some other obscure mechanic that it's like, we need to make this like active. I think it does a good job of making the writing feel active, like you are a participant in how the story is playing out, more so than like, oh, I just happen to choose these analog trees, right? Like these dialogue trees, I mean, of like, I'm going down this specific path. It feels so much more complex than that. Yeah,
but in Ape Out, you're a monkey.
That's true. But I
so it's in the top stack.
Yeah,
top stack. Okay. Death Stranding, does that stay in the top pit? I'm just trying to get a rough framework before we iron out these numbers.
I would not have a problem pushing that down to the lower stack.
Are there things in the bottom stack that people
that need to go up?
I would swap Ape Out and Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Two biggest Death Stranding supporters going for that. I love it.
Well, no, I wasn't.
You
on
said
board with that. I would like to see Death Stranding in the top personally. I didn't Ape Out. Just I don't know. I didn't participate in the stream or play that game, and I mean I think there's
wait what?
I will say I think that is a game you definitely need to play that more so than watch, because the way the game is again synced up to what you are doing specifically, I think makes playing that game intrinsic to enjoying it. I don't think there's you can get some enjoyment out of like watching someone play, Mortal Kombat 11 or even Disco Elysium, but like I think so much of Ape Out is in how the game tries to like work in tandem with what you are doing literally in the game. Like on a moment to moment level.
You are to Ape Out too. Like it was just just a couple weeks ago. You're like, what the hell?
There's just I don't know. I really have a lot of love for Death Stranding. Just that immediate swap kind of throws me off. I mean, it can go lower because it is kind of a difficult experience to get on board with.
So is there something on the lower list that you would rather swap it for?
What about Wargroove and Mortal Kombat 11?
I mean, Kombat 11 has its. We were talking about microtransaction issues earlier, right? I mean,
I mean, well, it's not so like they're not good at them, which is weird. It was just both a good and a bad thing. It's because like I was never encouraged to really spend money. I think it is the big issue that people had was like, oh, the Towers of Time are going to be microtransactions to death, and that's not really the case because you can't buy your way into more power ups in that mode. The thing you are buying is just the costumes that you get out of it, and I think
sure. I like Mortal Kombat 11. Do you think it's top 10?
I think it's top 10. I think if there's more support for... I feel like there are quite a few games on there that I feel like I'm the only advocate for. But if there's more support for Mortal Kombat, I feel like I'm the only one who really likes Wargroove, and I think of the games on that list for me personally, I would like to see it at the top half of the bottom rung, let's say.
Yeah.
Is where I would want
What would you
Wargroove.
move up? If you were to move
well,
down.
I mean, it's weird because like I would want it to be on the top stack, but if people have suggestions for what they would rather have
what do we
on
want to
there-
move up?
Well, you guys were just advocating for Ape Out, right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I personally like Wargroove more than Ape Out, but I think there's more support in the room for Ape Out personally, so I would be okay with swapping
I will
those
put
two.
Ape Out towards the bottom of the top stack.
Yeah, I think that's a good place for it.
Yeah, in terms of
Just for a reminder,
the stack
so-
versus stack. Like I'm
Stack v.
individually in the stacks. I'd like to see stuff move
Yep,
up
yep,
and down.
but
Just
right,
feel
we're
like
talking
the split.
just-
I think it's pretty
yeah.
good.
So right now, the bottom stack is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm sorry, the bottom 10: Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Devotion, Days Gone, Wargroove, Baba's You, What the Gulf, Grindstone, Bloodstained, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Fire Emblem. Top stack: Ape Out, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, Dreams, Mortal Kombat 11, Jedi Fallen Order, Control, Sekiro, Outer Worlds, Resident Evil 2.
So you want to poke the bottom stack a little bit?
By poke, you mean rearrange? I just want to see, does anything look out of line for the two 10s? Not specific arrangement, but just for the big bulk here.
I know, and I'm probably alone, but I would probably want to see Jedi on the bottom rung.
Ooh.
Personally.
What would
Well,
you
I
move
feel
up?
like we
that's
should
the-
start with if there's something on the bottom that we
yes.
need to
Oh, okay.
move
Yeah,
up.
okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Um,
I'm noticing the bottom running is a lot of lone passion.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that
Which
works.
makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it does. I think that bottom list looks pretty good. As far as I can
Call
tell.
of Duty stays down there, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's nothing down there that I feel like is an injustice that should be on the top half of the list.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. It's like, well, personally, I would move several of these up, but I mean, let's try.
There are games on the bottom rung that I like more than games at the top rung, but I feel like you said, there is a lot of individual. I think
Yeah.
the bottom rung is for like
mean,
individual passion games.
That's
for sure.
true for all of us, right?
Yeah.
At this
yeah,
point,
for sure.
Yeah.
we all have
We're all annoyed by this list already.
individual ones. I
hate
honestly, I think it's great that we still got to the point where an individual person who feels passionate about a game can
Yeah.
still get it on the top
Hell
20,
yeah.
on the top 210s. Sorry.
That's right. Top
Yes.
2 10s.
Top two tens.
Patreon.com/MinnMax. 2 10s.
2 tens.
Okay. Do we start ranking the bottom list, ladies and gentlemen?
I think so. Or hey,
Huh?
do we want to cut the bottom list in half so that it's still kind of filtering back and forth?
I don't think we need to do
Does that
that.
make
Oh,
sense?
just in case. No, I think I'm happy locking these in carbonite. As
No, but I mean, in like now we're tackling the bottom half, the bottom list. Do we want to still split that into two groups so we kind of know what's at the top of the bottom list and what's at the bottom
I
of
think
the bottom
not.
list?
Yeah, I don't
necessary.
think that's super necessary, personally.
Yeah, I think that's pretty dumb.
All right,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah. Should we just start shouting at each other? I feel like Bloodstain can move down like 4 slots.
I would say that about What the Gulf first.
Yeah.
I
Both of those move down.
I would say I could see What the Gulf at 20 and Bloodstained at like 19. Let's say.
Really? I'm amazed you guys are. I thought everyone was hot on Bloodstained.
I think I'm the only one who's like super hot on it. Wait, I noticed you only moved one of those.
You're right. That was unconscious. I don't want to move What the Gulf down yet. Do we like Fire Emblem Three Houses at the top of the bottom list?
No, I don't like
They
it
can go
there, but
down.
I would struggle to push it down all the way to the bottom.
Right.
Yeah,
What
good
game
job.
has the most collective oomph on the bottom of this list? I can think of one.
Collective oomph.
Yeah.
Days Gone.
I
feel like
I'm lukewarm on
I know
Days
Jeff
Gone.
really liked it, but I feel like the rest of us are like it's.
Days Gone
barely
certainly should
fine.
move up based on Jeffham's love.
But
I'll put it
well,
right
well,
here.
Well, I think the biggest collective is maybe Dragon Quest Builders.
I was going to say Baba.
I don't know. I feel like we're too like.
I think Baba can move up further. I don't know that it has the most collective oomph.
Okay.
I think
it
it's
has
got
one
I
oomph.
think it's got medium oomph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or half.
But you're
oomph.
still moving it up.
We're
Okay.
at half oomph between me and Hanson.
Hang on. Cyril wants to chop my fingers off. Look, well, we can all make our case. I'm not
Okay.
I'm
And
not strong arming
we
this
can
stuff.
move Fire Emblem down.
What do we think is at the top of the bottom 10?
I think Fire Emblem's in a good spot. Honestly, I like.
But again, I'm like reading the rest of the internet and how much they love it, and I'm trying to get a sense of Cyril.
I really like it. Like it's.
Do you think it should be top of the bottom 10?
I think it should be up there. Like but I'm a little bit
Yes or no
conflicted
question,
about.
Serial.
Yes, I do think it should be on the upper end. Yeah.
Okay. I will not argue with that. I am unquestionably taking the larger internet into account there.
Well, that's
which-
a weird but I feel
Which we
like
shouldn't
this
be
is-
doing, right?
I know I shouldn't be doing, but just in terms of like asking and assuming that like, well, Cyril's right. You know,
Yeah.
if Cyril had said the exact same things about Fire Emblem Three Houses, but then also the internet gave it 7s, I would question it more, which is why I'm calling
Right.
shenanigans in
But-
my mind here.
My question at this point is,
I don't think that should factor in.
well, and is
It's
is
only
just
for the
one
line of questioning.
is one person being passionate enough to get at the top of this list at this point? It was enough to get on
think
the
so.
top 20 altogether. Is
think
it
it
enough
is.
to be one spot away from the top 10?
I think it is.
I don't think. Well, I think.
What
I
else do
think
we got?
the reason we have these two lists is because I don't think that's like to almost be on the top 10. I don't think that's a weird argument to make at this point. Either it is on the top of this particular list or not.
Well, I'll say this.
Which I'm saying is one person advocating
it is.
for that game
This
going
list
to
is
get it to
nothing
the top
but
of the list.
one person advocating.
But that's
Well,
the
is
weird
it
thing
though?
here-
Because Dragon Quest Builders 2 has 2 people, Baba Is You has 2 people.
Grindstone
I think
is
Call
my
of
hill that
Duty
I'm
has
dying on.
multiple people.
Yeah, that's why I said I think Dragon Quest Builders has the most collective steam on that list, even though I'm not
Kyle?
the one who played it. Because Kyle
do you
likes
agree with
it.
that? I didn't think Kyle was that hot on it. He was trying to cut it.
Kyle loves it though.
That's not Steam.
The question now
So
is
then
does
is-
Dragon
is
Quest
there-
go above Fire Emblem?
Yes.
So then if
I
there's
think.
no
I think it does for this table. Certainly, yeah. I think
And I
even
think Baba
Cyril's
Is
advocation
You-
for Fire Emblem is muted. Like I think it's like
I'm a stronger advocate to be clear. I'm a stronger advocate for Wargroove than I am Fire Emblem.
okay.
So I would I would love to see that
Oh, wow.
if we're picking hey, my passion game I think on this list is Wargroove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now the list is for the bottom 10: Dragon Quest Builders 2, Baba Is You, Wargroove, Fire Emblem, Days Gone, Grindstone, What the Golf Devotion, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and last Bloodstained.
I would love to see Grindstone above Days Gone. Because Days Gone really just puttered out for me into nothing. And Grindstone, I put so much time into
And if I
Grindstone.
may add a little oomph to that, I didn't play a lot of Grindstone, but I really like
That's-
Grindstone.
I'm-
And I played
I'm
several
not-
hours of Days
that's
Gone.
Fine.
It was-
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I don't have a problem with that. I recognize that's a one oomph game at this point. What about Call of Duty moving
Call
up?
of Duty is tricky.
You guys liked it a
I'm
lot.
personally
I
fine
did
with
like-
where it is.
I'm kind of okay with where it is as well. And Devotion is, I can't even touch it. I don't know what to do with that freak show.
I would even go as far I would want to swap Bloodstained and Call of Duty, but I know there's more support for Call of Duty at this table.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Call of Duty more. Yeah.
Jeff, Call of Duty versus Days Gone. Where are you at?
No, I like Days Gone better than Call of Duty.
Wow. Hey, everybody.
Feeling pretty
Sorry.
good about it.
I'm feeling
honestly.
pretty good about
I
this,
know.
too.
And it feels kind of quick, but honestly, yeah. Like,
I'm
Does
trying
anybody see anything
I would-
outrageous?
I would want to swap Devotion and What the Golf, but other than that, I think I'm okay.
You got it, dude. Got yourself a deal. And for the audio listeners, Cyril's sliding me a $5 bill across the table.
I take care of my own.
Hey, is the bottom 10?
I'm not going to complain about any of that.
I think that's
I think this
good.
is solid. So going from the top to the bottom.
Hey, Call of Duty and What the Golf? We like it in that order?
I do.
Okay. You were the,
I'm
you
okay
were
with
the
that.
other,
Personally
you were the
impartial.
other Call of
You
Duty
guys can
person.
take that spot
so-
or leave it.
Okay.
I'm a little disappointed about Bloodstained, but I don't know that I want to make the case as strongly. As,
Yeah, Bloodstain was
If we have one
Was
person who's
op-
passionate about it, and one person who's like
Yeah,
outright
yeah,
disappointed in it.
Bloodstained Ritual of All Right.
All right. Yeah.
All right, so from top to bottom, the bottom list is, or Forever Hold Your Peace.
I mean, you can just say like number 11, right? Like, or are we?
It's
number,
2 tenths.
It's 2 tenths.
Okay, so
Serial.
one.
What the
so
hell are
then,
you talking about?
So then count down,
about?
right?
Yep.
We're
Okay.
not calling it
So number
11.
Well, this
No,
is weird.
we're not starting
so
with
then
number
we
11.
have to say list 2, number 10, right?
No,
We
that's
only have to
just
say it
weird.
right here. Okay, effectively it's number 11, but it's 2 tenths. Anyways, from the top to the bottom, it's Dragon Quest Builders 2, Baba Is You,
Okay.
Wargroove, Fire Emblem, Grindstone, Days Gone, Devotion, What the Golf, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night.
Beautiful.
I
You
like
did
it. Sure.
That was
High
amazing.
fives around.
Oh my
That took like
God.
5 minutes.
We're so sweet to each other.
I do honestly
Now,
feel
here
like
we go.
the part, everything before this was the harder part. Like, because this is like at this point, it's like we like all these games. It's just
Yeah.
how much
there's-
do we like these?
There's
you
no
know?
snubbing going on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of no snubbing, what are you doing? Let's knock Dreams down a couple slots.
No.
Okay. Hey, just lay the land here.
Okay,
We are
now it's getting contentious.
Yes,
yeah,
now
there
we're-
it
It's
is.
gonna get tough.
Now this is the top 10. Here we go. This has not been touched, but from the top going down right now, it's Resident Evil 2, Outer Worlds, Sekiro, Control, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Dreams, Disco Elysium, Death Stranding, Ape Out, and Print It. Here we go.
You don't have a printer. It's
Printing
the joke
joke.
here.
What is outrageous?
I think the Outer Worlds could stand to move all the way to the bottom.
I agree with
What?
Surreal. Maybe not. Certainly down. Let's put it at the
I'll
bottom
put
for
it
now.
like in the 7-ish range.
Yeah.
I would put it in the 9-ish range.
And Mortal Kombat's sticking that
Mortal
high?
Kombat 11 seems high.
Yeah,
I love Mortal
lower-
Kombat 11, but
I would probably swap it for Dreams.
I would also swap it down past Outer Worlds.
I would put it below Disco.
I would put
I
it
would
right
not.
below Outer Worlds.
I would not do that. I like that game a whole lot.
Yeah, but
I
I,
guess-
mean,
Hang on, just
I
to be
feel
clear,
like the-
like, did you guys play Mortal Kombat 11 and didn't like it, or just haven't touched it?
I haven't touched it.
I haven't touched it.
I played it and liked it, but in my mind, it's well below Outer Worlds.
And at the table
Really?
here, if we're going by the table consensus,
Table rules.
yes,
Yeah.
2 of us didn't care enough to touch it. 1 liked it but wants it to move down.
Hang on. Does not caring enough to touch it hurt things? Because in that case, like, Fire
Because then it's
Emblem's
like
hurt.
a game of like which game just is the most
Yes.
universally appealing.
I think playing it and not liking it is a factor. I don't think not playing it is a factor.
Sure. But it's
But if I
Mortal
played
Kombat's-
something because I didn't think I would like it, if I didn't play something because I
I don't
didn't
think that's
I
a
would
factor.
like it.
I don't think it's a factor. It's positive or negative love for a game, and I think you can only have that if you've played it. Otherwise, you're a 0 on this factor in my life.
I mean, Mortal Kombat's kind of weird though because like I actively was disinterested in playing it because of just the absurd violence. Like the way it glorifies violence is something that I just don't want to like. I don't want to participate in that game. You know what I mean? And is that a factor? I don't know because you guys played it and you really liked it. I just actively did not want to play that game.
Yeah.
You know, but like I don't know. Does that matter in the ordering?
You tell
of-
us Al Gore. I don't know who else is.
It just feels like
I
a game
feel
in a
like that
different
should
era.
count for something in terms of putting it above other games
I
that
don't
everyone
think you can.
played
I
and
don't
enjoyed.
think you can hurt a game that you haven't played.
I agree with that. I mean, it's not. I can't pass judgment on. I can tell you why I didn't want to play it, but I didn't play it. So I
guess
can't,
I want to
you
hear
know.
the inverse argument because like I feel like we kind of left Outer Worlds being kind of not super hot on
I like
it.
Outer Worlds a lot.
Okay.
I also,
I'm with
it's
you,
one
Serial.
of my
I-
favorite games.
It's. I didn't love it. But I like seeing it on our top 10. But it would be my number 10 on this list. you
Yeah,
know?
that's
it's not
sort
my
of where
personal
I'm
top
sitting,
10.
But
you know?
if
But you know, yeah. It's
I mean,
all a matter of balance.
this is more because I like the other game, but like I would see, I guess I would be okay with it moving. I don't know. I guess
Mortal Kombat?
I'm super cold. Yeah, I'm pretty cold on the Outer Worlds at this point. So I don't know.
I'm not. Can I move Mortal Kombat 11?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
Cyril, I feel like this is just you and I trying to figure out. Man, and it's tough. I want it below Outer Worlds. You want it above Outer Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Let's just move it below Dreams for now.
I mean, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Where do you stand on Disco Elysium on this list?
I would rank it much higher.
Yeah, but I didn't
I could see
play
it.
it, so no.
Yeah, I wonder if we should just tackle individual games because I have a feeling that I am way hotter on Control than most of you guys
Interesting.
at this table. And I love seeing it in the top 10. I'm happy to see it up there. It doesn't need to be 3 for me to be happy, but I really do love Control. I think you guys are a little cooler on it.
I'm definitely cooler on it.
Okay.
I finished Control this weekend. I liked Control a hell of a lot. It was one of those games, as I was playing it,
This is going the different way than I thought it would. I
Yeah.
thought you were kind of cool on it.
No, I like it. And we talked a little bit on the Great Goaty Hunt stream this week, but like some of unquestionably the coolest locations I've ever seen in a game.
Yeah.
It's so much more interesting than I was expecting, which is weird to say, but it's like, I feel like when it came out, everyone was just like, "Oh, it's the best Remedy game, the best Remedy game." I'm like, okay, I got it. But I wish when it came out, somebody would have grabbed me by the shoulders and said, "No, this is seriously a really cool thing that you should experience." Like, I don't think anybody was giving me that, like, holy crap. And like while playing that game, there's so many moments that were, holy crap, this environment, holy crap, just like that little story detail, like digging through the extra material, just learning more about the oldest house in that world, just like weird little things. Like, Jeff, how much have you played at this point?
Like a couple hours.
Okay. But just like even in the first couple hours, like, okay, there's that letter, I think it's, or it's an audio file, I forget, but there's that little story of just like, when the Bureau of Control, it's dealing with paranormal, just weird things happening in the world. But just like this woman telling a story about like, oh, I've made a body for a god. And she like assembled like her fridge and her toaster and like all these things to house a body for God. And she's like, it's not the God that's currently existing, but when the new God arrives, he will take the form of this pile of appliances, which is like, that is so good. Or like, there's a weird note where it's like, if you notice some objects in your room have moved, speak calmly and slowly walk out of the room, both to calm yourself and the room itself.
Yeah.
Like those types of like little things. Like,
applying danger to the mundane in certain
yes,
situations.
I love that stuff.
At the same time, though, I think my issue with it is like, which speaks to a lot more, is that I wish that stuff was at the forefront instead of the stuff that is at the forefront.
The story?
I think the stories that you hear through like the audio or through the audio stuff, even like the text entries that you find, I think that stuff is so much more interesting to me than the actual plot of the game as
I'm
you
with
go
you.
along.
Yep. And even like when it wrapped up, it's like, okay, if you put a gun to my head, like maybe somebody in the game, like I couldn't think of.
And I think there are a lot of like really interesting flourishes along the way, but like at the end, I was more interested in like, again, those entries, and I think that. Yeah, I think that story, the main plot of that game, I don't think is super strong. I agree,
but I don't know if it needs to be with.
Yeah, I mean,
with the world still being as interesting
to the
as it
degree
is.
that it focuses on that particular plot, I think that plot should have been stronger. Like, to me, a lot of my issues with the Control is that it feels like a much better world than it is a game.
Okay.
I like the writing in that game. I like the world that they've established is good. I'm not super convinced that this is like the best way to make use of that world.
It's I think this is like comes down to like a matter of taste, but like I think it's a better game than any element of the story. Like the story is like so secondary to me. Like I liked it. It was interesting, but like moving and jumping and flying and shooting,
it's a good tool.
And throwing things like that was enough for me. Like that put it like way in my like.
On the
way
other
up
side of it, though, I
for
feel
me.
like the encounters and the level design in that game, like when it comes to doing stuff with that tool set, I don't think is super strong either. Like I think a lot of the encounters towards the end.
I just disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I think those powers are interesting.
Outside of like, again, tying into my favorite thing of there's those enemies that you, as far as I know, can't hurt, where it's just like this distorted glitch moving closer to you that hurts you when you get close to it. Like that is my favorite thing, like this unknowable thing from another dimension that's messing with you. Like that enemy's awesome. Outside of that, it's like, hey, here's a sphere that heals
like,
people. Here's another flying guy. I
Yeah,
wasn't really too captivated by any
when
of
it
those
starts
guys.
combining those things, I think like by the end of it, I feel like it very quickly introduces most of the enemies that you fight, and then for most of the game, it is about just like intermingling those enemies. And I think once you figure out, okay, here's the best approach. Like I never felt dissuaded from like, here's the thing that I figured out, and the game never really pushes against that in like
I guess I
interesting
just
ways.
enjoyed mastering that. You know what I mean? And like getting the hang of dashing and like I don't know. I just was just an upward trend for me of just enjoying every gunfight that I got into.
I just
And
feel
I
like
think it also like starts throwing where it's like, okay, you're going through this part of the house to get to the other part of the house. Here's just we'll spawn some enemies in there, have fun.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
feel like it gets to be like less interesting as the game goes. Where I was so much more interested in like reading all the notes and stuff, and like trying to see like the story forward, even if it wasn't like just seeing how that story played out in the environments. I think is super cool, but the actual plot isn't strong. But like by the end of it, I was more like, okay, I'm just getting through these combat environments, and like when that game really wants to push you, it is just more like we're going to send 3 waves of bad guys against you versus like here's a room full of bad guys.
Which ties into one of the most frustrating things about the game, which is the checkpoints. Like for the fact that like big bosses towards the end, it just feels like a roguelike or something where it's like, okay, you hope you have a good run, good luck, and here's just 6 waves of enemies and you can be battling them for a long time and then lose and not just start over at the beginning of the fight, but start over like 4 rooms away that you then have to run to and then do that fight over and over and over.
Which isn't always
again.
a bad thing, like, but I think it feels antithetical to what this game is trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, which is to like put you in a world, put you in a more so than like really like challenge you. It wants to be a power fantasy more than it wants to be that kind of game, like a Souls-like game.
Yeah.
So I think that like there are a lot of messy spots in that game's design. I think when it comes to actually like getting down into combat. I think.
And outside of combat, I spent 40% of that game running in circles, looking at the map, saying, where the hell am I supposed to be going? Because it's like, oh, just go to central maintenance. And I'm looking at the map. I can't think of a time in the last 5 years I've been so frustrated by a game's map.
You're
like,
all over the place on this game, Hanson.
I know. I am. There's a lot that I love in it. I think sound design, probably the best sound design of the year that I can think of. Like,
Best fonts.
Those hotel sequences are really good. Like
there's so many amazing things about it. But yeah, when I spent 40% of my time screaming at the map, like, what do you want from me? Where am I supposed to go? And I'm an idiot when it comes to navigating space in games. I totally get it. But that map was dog ass.
Great.
Yeah.
Do we move it below Dreams?
I would.
Kyle's the one
I
who...
wouldn't. Dreams. You
Uh-oh.
guys want to talk about Dreams? Dreams is all about potential and everything that
and
I've
the
played.
potential that people have realized from
I
bringing their
disagree.
dreams to life.
Everything that I've played in Dreams has been like it's cool, but it's just a lot of me going like, oh, that's cool. You know, like that is my big takeaway, and it's like. I don't know. I just like it all. They all feel like Dreams games. It doesn't feel like this huge step forward. And like I'm not super excited about playing. I honestly like at this table with you guys. I know how much you love Dreams. It's going to be high on the list. I think it's a cool project, but like it's not
project.
Honestly, like that's kind of how I feel about it. Like
I do
it's
appreciate
like a
it more
cool
than
project.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think.
honestly, like I don't really. Even when we did the stream, I mean, we jumped around from game to game because it's like it's not that compelling to stick with one game.
Yeah, I
for
mean,
a long
you're not
period of
gonna. No
time.
one's making a 40-hour polished game out of Dreams.
Right,
stuff.
but you have
And
to
I think
take the
that's Kyle's
scope
point, though.
into it. Like, yeah, you're not going to have a game that standalone could be on this list as of yet. Maybe in the future they can get to that point, but I would bounce back against the potential argument just because going through that and seeing that breadth of content and the variety, everything like that, I think is so impressive. It didn't matter to me that No One Experience was one of my favorite games of the year, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess that's.
But again, that to me feels like what I get out of that is more appreciation than like outright love for any individual game, which is like, oh,
Yeah,
it's really cool
it.
that you can do this, and that's sort of where I fall off. It's like this is really impressive, but I'm not actually enjoying what I'm doing.
Well, that's why the
It's
two
a game
tens
I
are all
admire,
about the
yeah.
games we appreciate the most.
Well, that's why I'm saying that's why I would argue for like
It's
that's
a-
kind of why I
it's-
agree with Cal that I appreciate more than I
Yeah,
like it, but
yeah.
It's a
I'm
weird
impressed
one,
by
though.
it more than I enjoy it.
It's a weird one because like even as I'm like I feel like I'm arguing against it. Like I look at Dreams, I'm like, this is a cool thing. It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's just like the actual act of playing it hasn't been this like mind-blowing experience for me. It's just been a lot of like, that's a cool thing that person did. That's really neat. Let's see what the next cool thing someone did is, you know, where like a lot of the experiences on that game, I have these like really compelling moments of excitement and like overcoming like crazy challenge in Sekiro and like all that kind of stuff. Like I'm not getting
I don't
that
think-
sort of similar experience out of Dreams, and you know,
I get
it's
it.
not supposed to.
I don't
but
think anything on this list has filled me with as much awe as Dreams, which is
Yes.
a weird way to
Okay.
frame this. But in terms of just experiences of the year, where we go, holy God, like what that team pulled off, what that Sony has been funding for 7 years. The fact that this can be released, it's humbling.
But
Yes.
again, that to me speaks more of appreciation than outright love.
I get it, but then at the same time, playing it, some of the hardest I've laughed throughout the year has been playing Dreams with friends and just losing my
and
mind.
genuine enjoyment
Yeah,
for me as well. So I
absolutely.
think we have 2 ahs and 2 appreciations.
Yeah, it's a
So
weird
number
one.
one.
No, number
There
one.
you go.
Certainly
That's
not.
how math works.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
not
number
not
one,
number
but-
one, but to me that is
I would put it above Jedi Fallen Order.
I would too.
I wouldn't. But
I
think
would
we've
put
made
it
our arguments, yeah.
more because I dislike Jedi Fallen Order. I would move Fallen Order way down, but that would mean that
I
Dreams
wouldn't
would
move
up.
it way down. I would just.
What if I just
swap
move
those two.
Dreams above Jedi Fallen Order?
And Kyle, weren't you the one who brought up moving Control farther down?
I wanted to bring it up as a discussion because I thought it would, like, I just thought I was at a much, like, stronger passion for that game. But honestly, I feel like
I like it a lot.
I love it there. I'd like it to be high on the list
see it going
personally.
down.
I thought it was going to be a difficult battle for me.
I like it to the point where I can live with it as number 3.
I like it as number 3 a lot. I
feel like it feels like slim pickings. Like I don't like between
2019,
Control,
ladies and gentlemen.
between
feels like
well,
slim
no, for
pickings.
me personally, because like Control, Dreams, and Jedi Fallen Order, like I would pick Mortal Kombat. Like that is sort of where I'm at. Is
Yeah.
that I'm not super passionate about any of those games personally.
Sure.
So I guess it like ultimately does not matter to me
do
which
you-
one is ranked where.
How do you feel about Fallen Order versus Mortal Kombat, Hanson?
I mean, I've only played a couple hours of Fallen Order, so I don't think I
Yeah?
can be the most
Okay.
helpful person here. I mean, I really like Mortal Kombat 11. I did not get into the competitive scene. Like, I played through the story, had some fun rounds
Well, I think
against a friend,
well, I guess,
and had a good time, but I'm not like, holy God, this thing.
I guess part of it is that like you don't necessarily have to. I think there's so much
Yeah.
there for the lone players to do that there are people who mostly just focus on the tower stuff, which like for the most part they've kind of eased out over the course of a few patches. And I think that competitive, like the way they've managed to change the pacing of those matches, I think is incredible. And but I do understand that this is all within like this niche context of like they did a thing that I really wanted them to do, but I know that like universally there's not a whole lot of love with Jeffem and Kyle. But I do think that they did something impressive by making the story mode actually like kind of resolve in an interesting way. Which
Very
is not
interesting way.
Yeah, not a thing that I expected from them.
Yeah, they had a conclusion,
Yeah.
which is shocking. I want to poke at Disco Elysium. I just want to make
Poke it
sure.
up?
I'm wondering if you want to move it up as the main spokesperson for Disco Elysium here.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
I'd like to see it above Outer Worlds, I think.
I'd love to see it. I
Based
would love to see
based
it.
on your love for Disco Elysium and my ho-humness on Outer Worlds. And
I know that there'd be more resistance, but I would love to see it somewhere between Control and Sekiro.
oh wow.
oh
That's-
wow,
yeah,
that is
that's tough.
number 3.
See, and this is where I feel like people not playing something has to count for something as opposed to the entire table played it and the entire table has positive feelings about
Well, sure, but
the other game.
I think that will always favor games that are like kind of more ubiquitous and more like
Yeah.
that are a push
Then
forward.
Mario
more-
Odyssey would win.
Yeah, is
You
the
know.
thing is that like, well, but
I mean,
like,
not necessarily to that degree. But if we're talking about, there are 4 of us in this room.
Yeah.
Our favorites as a group, I think, has to count to some degree
Yeah.
against an individual who played a game.
Yeah, but if the individual that played that game says
If they
it's
love
one
it
of
and
the-
they lose their mind and it's their favorite game, then yes, I understand
right,
it moving
and I think it's
higher
close
up.
to that for.
I think
Serial.
it is. Yeah, for sure.
That's where I'm coming from. I agree that it needs to be factored in, but when the one person that's played it is saying it's one of the best games, I
I've
don't
played
know.
in a very long time.
Yeah, I think that means a lot.
What about Under Dreams? For Disco.
I mean, I will take what I can get.
That works for me.
Works for
Yeah.
me.
I like that.
Okay, so right now it's Resident Evil 2, Sekiro, Control, Dreams, Disco Elysium, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Ape Out. Is anybody outraged?
I don't know if we want to get into this
I've got
yet.
one qualm.
I don't know if this is opening a floodgate here potentially.
Probably. That's the point.
I really like Resident Evil 2 where it is.
I really like Resident Evil 2 where it is.
I would swap Sekiro and Resident Evil.
I wouldn't.
Yes.
No, I'm fine with Resident Evil.
Fine.
Oh my God.
I have felt that way from the beginning. I hadn't said anything about it, but yes, I felt it was going to end up at the top of the list.
Yes.
I'm still in my first playthrough of it, but it's very high on my list as well, just because.
Yes.
I mean, and to some degree with this one, it's a known quantity because I played Resident Evil 2 when it came out and I really loved it.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything it's doing as a remake. It is one of my favorite experiences this year. So I'm not going to
It's
argue
just
against
so
it.
incredibly well made and so amazing to see Capcom release this game that is just, hey, internet who has 1,000 opinions and 1,000 things to be angry about, here's a remake of one of your favorite games, and everyone's like, oh, great, perfect. Like, and at that level of fidelity, like, that game looks so good, and it's just so amazing to see that old formula modernized. And like, I love Resident Evil 4, but I'm not the biggest old school Resident Evil fan. Like, I bounced off the remake, I played 3 back in the day and stuff like that, and then I watched somebody play through 2 way back in the day as well. So it's been so distant. Like, I don't have that much love for Resident Evil 2 really, but then playing through this remake, falling in love with that basic Resident Evil formula of, oh, it's an adventure game. Like, it's an adventure game with tension. Love it.
I mean, that's what I guess that's what all of those games have kind of been. That's the secret, is that's what those games have been this whole time. Is like
Resident Evil 4.
adventure,
I mean, yes.
Well, like those early games.
Yes.
Yeah, everything before 4. I think those were basically adventure games where there were zombies.
Right.
And
I'd always be so surprised. Sorry, Kyle. But always to be so surprised by Resident Evil 2 as well. And not just like, oh, Mr. X coming through and attacking me again and again. But just like having the variety of like loading old saves. And we've been struggling to get through this game the entire year, which I know is embarrassing. But like loading old saves, going through environments multiple times, and just the variety of like, oh, this time the zombie's coming out from over here. This time the zombie's coming out from over here. Just having so many variables in what should be a pretty simple adventure game, it just never ceases to amaze me. And the fact that with all that variety, that it also just always feels perfectly balanced for the amount of ammo that you have, it's just, I think it's miraculous. Sorry,
Yes. No, all I was going to say was like, Sekiro really surprised me this year, right? Like, I'm not a big From guy, but Sekiro I really loved, but it still does have some of those From Software frustrations that I have, where things maybe feel unfair, or just like
After Jedi. Sorry,
that's actually
he's
true,
right
yeah.
in the list. It's colon After Jedi. Star Wars Jedi.
Kyle's trying to talk.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
But between those two, like I like them as 1 and 2. Like Sekiro really did a lot of cool stuff, but it also did a lot of stuff that was just needlessly frustrating or just like vague on purpose, and like as almost like similar to how I talk about Control, like the sort of the gameplay is the thing that I really loved about Sekiro, and the story of Sekiro is like I couldn't fully tell you what happened exactly, despite From trying to inject like traditional cutscenes into the game, so just to give my handful of change on those 2 games, I like Resident Evil 1, I like Sekiro 2, Control 3.
Yeah, I guess my I don't know. My biggest knock against Resident Evil, it does feel like, oh, they did the thing that they were supposed to do. Like, I guess I that people wanted them to do, and it's like they've accomplished making the remake, but I guess I never felt like too like, oh, this is I never had like this is like a next level thing for me. Like, I never had any like incredible like moments of like, holy crap. Like, I think that they're on, like, the fact that we didn't bring up any moments from Resident Evil 2 individually. I think there's a lot of really impressive systems at work. Like you said, with the variety and Mr. X, I think make for good moments. But I never had like a oh my god, this is like blowing my mind.
Did you see Mr. X before you met him in game, like online?
Well, like, but even his reveal, I thought was like, oh, that's a super cool way to do it. Where he's just like, I had not seen his reveal. Like,
Okay.
I knew that he was in the game. I did not, like, for one, I didn't expect him to appear as early as he did.
Yeah.
So
I
you're
was still
saying
like,
you want more of a sense of awe from the games in your number 1 spot?
Well, no,
'Cause
I
got a
just
contender
no,
for you.
not even like. I just wanted to have a moment where I was like, whew, that was incredible. Like, I'd never had that from like the thing that I did in this game, like, was incredible. It just feels like, okay, that's a cool way to have done that. That's a cool way to have done that. That's super cool. That's super cool. Like, that was me with that game.
I think that's fair.
So like, there's no, like, to me, like, a really strong high points. Whereas I
don't
feel
think
like
it
Sekiro,
needs it when everything is so soft.
well, sure, but like for me, Sekiro was like was to me consistently that strong, and also had these like incredible peaks for me at like individual moments. But I think that I know that I'm kind of pushing against it, so I think I'm ultimately okay with where it is. But I did want to state my case. Let's say.
Sure.
Noted.
That's it. That's my book report.
Okay,
Thanks
just
for
for a
listening,
reminder for the audio
everybody.
listeners right now, working from the top bottom, right now, it's Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Control, Dreams, Disco Elysium, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Ape Out. I feel like there's a little... I like Control, but do we need to talk more about that as number 3?
Yeah, we should move Dreams to number 3 and Control to number 4. And then we should
Disco
print
Elysium to
this
number
list.
4.
it is one of those things of like level of passion. You know what I mean? Like I'm really passionate about Control, but you too are really passionate about Dreams.
I'm passionate about
and Surreal's
3/4
kind
of
of
Control.
about passionate about either. You know.
I'm more impressed with Dreams than I like Control. Is sort of where I'm at. So I would be okay with swapping those two, but ultimately, like, I don't necessarily have a strong horse
I think
in
the
that race.
table swaps those two. I don't, but I think the table swaps those two, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like both. I would say I love both.
Which one are you going to marry, though?
I was just so frustrated by so many moments of Control, and I think it's a little bit of that Red Dead 2 epilogue conundrum where I was trying to get through it this weekend, and just every time I was getting relatively lost or just going in circles.
And we've since acknowledged that your take on the Red Dead epilogue is a bad one, right? We've all agreed on that, right?
You know what? I stand by some parts of that.
I feel like we
I
got.
was peak frustrated when we recorded
I feel like we got to
that.
swap here. I feel like everyone is in agreement.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Surreal, you tipped me over the edge. I'll blame you, Surreal. Are we living with this list, ladies and gentlemen?
Might I interest you in swapping Control and Disco?
No,
I would even
get
go.
outta
So
here.
here's my ultimate. Here's my quick pitch. I think that this is not a genre that I'm super versed in or had any interest in, and I think I was fully prepared to go into Disco Elysium thinking this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And I fully fell in love with it, and it feels like it highlights a lot of the reasons I was so I had pushed away from other games like it before were because of it kind of validated those concerns for me of I just want a game that feels like an interactive novel, and this feels more like that than visual novels, than games where you have all these different branching paths. It feels so active in the story. The storytelling feels so much more active in Disco Elysium than it does in most other games that emphasize story, and in a way that it feels like you are, because there are just certain texts where voices, you start building an attachment to certain voices. There's just a thing, there's one of them is called Inland Empire, which is just you start wanting there to be supernatural elements to the world, and if that voice speaks up for you, it'll be maybe it's a ghost, right? But if you factor in there's a trait called spirit de corps, which is a French term for morale, basically, where you literally start empathizing with people so hard that you start seeing the game from their perspective of they narrate, you have a partner named Kim Kitsuragi, and if the spirit de corps thing happens, you start seeing well, this isn't how I would approach it. And then there are to the point where you see I wonder what that is like. I wonder what it's like being this kind of person. And it'll cut to, here's a quick vignette of here's a day in this guy's life. And it'll just be part of that same kind of scroll of the story. And it informs your understanding of what is going on in the situation.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that you can invest points into. So if you like a particular, that's super cool, you can put more points into it. And I think it does not feel like you are just being told the story passively in a way that is, I think, super strong and not a thing we see in games very often.
But
I hear ya.
can you fly and pull debris off of a wall, throw it at a group of bad guys, and then dash out of the way and throw up a shield of debris that you pulled from the floor?
Right.
Can you do any of that?
Is the cop a dynamite cop?
Oh.
You can be.
Jesse's
You have
pretty
different
dynamite.
types
Yeah.
that
It
you
is-
can be.
The point I'm trying to illustrate though is we're arguing two different, very different experiences. One's a very narrative driven, but one's more a really awesome action experience.
And I feel a lot of it's coming down to Jeffham's question of how much is the group worth versus one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough with
it also
Disco,
speaks to that other argument of I guess I'm not super keen on your reaction of I don't know how you liked it, but it just feels there's one really strong plus, one kind of mystery with you, and kind of to people who haven't played it, whereas I feel I'm not super strong on Control. I feel I'm overall a minus on Control if we're trying to quantify
That's interesting.
it.
Yeah. That's
I have
But-
played some, and I am enjoying what I've played so far.
Of Control.
It's just I'm still very early, which is why I have
It's
been
hard to
keeping my
commit to,
mouth
like,
shut.
a-
Yes.
But, and I would go as far as to say, if you're at all someone who likes story, the ways games can tell stories, I would encourage you to play Disco Elysium, despite any qualms you might have about the kind of game that you think it is.
Yeah.
I think everyone should at least try to play Disco Elysium.
Kyle, I'm going to do something. I'm gonna
we're
move
taking
Disco
Control off the
Elysium.
list.
All right, well then
above
let's
Control.
swap Death Stranding and Outer Worlds then.
Can't
Let's
let
do
you
it.
do that,
Let's do
Kyle.
that. Let's do that.
Can't let you do
no,
that.
if this is, I think that's a fair compromise. That's a fair compromise. No, I like that. I'm willing to concede that.
I certainly like Death Stranding a hell of a lot more than Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Really?
Me too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do not.
But both of us have not played that much Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I've played enough to enjoy it and like it. I know that it will not surpass Outer Worlds for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
I mean, if you two feel that strongly about that, I think that's a
Death
tough
Stranding
thing.
feels like
Outer
something.
Worlds is one of my favorite games this year. I don't know if...
Death Stranding is one of my favorite games this year.
I like.
I mean,
this
it's
thing.
Have I mentioned
in-
Baba is you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to play into sort of that idea of Kojima being like it's a new genre. I don't think it's a new genre, but
Right.
Death Stranding feels like it really feels genuinely new to me. Outer Worlds seems like an execution on something that had already been established, which was admittedly in
It's
a
a
genre
throwback,
I don't really love.
But it's a really cool throwback.
And it's a smart one that
Yes.
not just throwing everything in the kitchen sink into it.
See, I would argue Outer Worlds feels more kitchen sinky to me than Death Stranding. I feel like Death Stranding
Yeah.
is very focused, where
I feel
Outer
like-
Worlds lets you go in any direction you want, and you can
Yeah.
kill anybody.
Yeah,
and-
that's
But
great.
I've also literally done everything there is in Outer Worlds, and the experience ended as opposed to a Fallout or a Skyrim where that just feels completely overwhelming and impossible.
Only one of us at this table has finished Death Stranding, and all of us have finished Outer Worlds.
Well, hold on. We had
gavel.
we had a motivation to finish the Outer Worlds though.
Yeah. No, I've said my piece about Death Stranding. I would have moved it way up on it, like personally. Like I probably maybe even above Fallen Order.
Do you think Jedi Fallen Order is in the right spot?
Yes, I do.
I
Don't
really
touch
like
it.
Fallen Order a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Serial? Give me the opinion I want to hear, baby.
I'd sub Mortal Kombat and Jedi.
No. You've done enough,
Other than that,
sir. You got the
other
number,
than that,
you
yeah,
got
other
Disco
than-
Elysium all the way up there.
I don't want to push my luck any further. I'm fine
Okay.
with where it is. I have my personal list. I'm fine.
So right now it's Resident Evil 2, Sekiro,
Yes.
Dreams,
Love it.
Disco Elysium,
It's okay.
Control, Jedi Fallen Order, Mortal Kombat 11, Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Ape Out.
Love it. Print it.
I
Jeff
love
was
it.
nodding.
I love it.
It'll do.
I mean, yes, of course, there are individual ones that, I still feel more passionately about, but
Yeah.
this is the one that I feel good about it. I feel good about where it is now.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid people are going to move the ones I like further down.
Don't touch this list, please.
I'm happy with it.
I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
We're all happy and terrified of anything else moving around.
I think that's a super good list.
All
All right.
Best list ever made.
Are we locking this away?
Let's lock it, man.
Donk donk. All right.
Let's slap
The
the
two
table.
tens. Bottom 10 is From the Bottom Up, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, What the Gulf, Devotion. Wow. Days Gone,
Yeah, baby.
Grindstone, Fire Emblem Three Houses, War Groove, Baba Is You, Dragon Quest Builders 2. Top 10.
The max list.
The
Number,
max
say the
list.
numbers. I want to
Number
feel
10
them.
is Ape Out. Number 9, Death Stranding. Number 8, The Outer Worlds. Number 7, Mortal Kombat 11. That's with a K if you're Googling it. Number 6, Jedi Fallen Order. Number 5, Control. 4, Disco Elysium. 3,
Shivers. Ooh,
Dreams. 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Number 1 game for 2019 from MinnMax, Resident Evil 2.
There it is.
Can we give... I don't want you break in with any sarcasm, Kyle. Let's give a sincere, extended round of applause for all the developers who killed themselves making these games.
Did it.
Dang
That
it,
counts
Kyle.
as sarcasm, Kyle.
Aw.
Thank you so much, everybody. Woo! That was a journey. Again, is this list wrong?
It
You
could very
tell
well
us
be.
on next week's episode of the MinnMax Show, where the community fixes this list.
Yeah, are you sure you're going to have enough people chime in? Because it feels like, who's going to want to touch this list? I certainly don't.
Untouchable! Untouchable! Again, if you're watching and listening to this, on Saturday we'll be recording that episode where we'll have people actually calling in to the show, which should be a lot of fun. And so we'll be recording that Saturday, and we'll call people through the Discord. So if you're watching and listening to this, you could support us at any level on patreon.com/MinnMax210s, and then get access to the Discord, and you'll find the channel in there.
And to be clear, the community is making their own version of this. That's not superseding.
Correct.
Our
Yes, this
list,
is locked
yes.
as MinnMax's list, but we will have the community
The community
version.
fix it better Probably better than our own list.
That
yes.
is very true. Hey, good job, everybody. That wasn't too bad. We did it. That was a good 2019.
This is one of the first lists I'm going to walk out of the room feeling good about. I don't have to make my own sarcastic awards after this. So.
Hey, great.
We did it.
Fantastic. Let's see. We got more of the show to get to, folks.
Oh!
You want to get to this?
Sure.
Get that computer off the screen. Tell you what, let's take a little break and then come back and do the rest. If you've enjoyed this episode so far, you can thank the supporters at our Patreon, patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns. We have the $100 tier, which is the Wall of Heroes behind us. If you want your picture of your pet, loved one for a hot anniversary, YouTube channel, Twitch channel, $100 you support us throughout the month, and then it'll be rotating throughout every episode of the MinnMax show throughout that month. I think that's a hell of a deal, something fun to look at as well. So make the pictures nice and fun. Send it on over. We'll take care of it from there. We did add a new Patreon tier, which I'm very excited about. The legendary, the missing link, some call it, the $50 tier. We've added to patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns. With the $50 tier, we're debating for a long time about, like, what do you do with 50? It's kind of a tricky number. If you support us at the $50 level, what you get is
Half a picture on the TV.
half a picture on the TV. We'll record. I'll record. If anybody else wants to join me, that's fun. A personalized thank you video that we will send to you for your support. I promise they will be fun and entertaining. You'll want to gather the family around the TV to look at these things. I can't wait to record them.
I don't know about that.
I think that's going to be so much fun. Just record this personalized custom thank you individually for people that support us at that level. And then on top of that, we will add your name in the description for the YouTube or podcast version of the MinnMax show. So every month when you're supported at the $50 level, you will find your name in the description as a big thank you as well. So I think that's a good 1-2 punch. So if you're interested in either of those, jump on in. And again, if you have a small business or something like that, or your YouTube channel, and you want to put that in instead in that YouTube description, hey, knock yourself out. That'd be fun, right? So $50 tier, check it out. patreon.com/MinnMax.
2 N's.
2 N's. Check it out, everybody. Hey,
Hey.
one of our most generous supporters, Richard Mady. He is a huge supporter. He's been with us since the beginning. I love him with a fiery passion. Richard Mady says, hey, happy holidays, MinnMaxers.
That's us.
Are you getting cozy in your brand new VR headsets? If so, check out To the Top. It's a first-person platformer that gives you superhuman abilities and the chance to escape from your family with hours of gameplay. Official PlayStation Magazine gave it a 9 out of 10. To the Top is available on PSVR, Steam VR, Oculus Home. It's 2020, y'all. Take the leap into the future with To the Top! Thank you so much, Richard Mady. You're
Thank you,
very
Richard.
generous, and I'm so glad that the official PlayStation Magazine actually To the Top, and then it's not a real stinker that we have to promote every week
I
on the
also
show.
like that he calls out you can use it to get away from your family.
That's very nice.
Smart.
Isn't it?
Earlier today, I was thinking, how can I escape my family?
Surpassing even Richard Mady's generosity is Michael Moran, and just this week, I played over an hour of StarCraft 2 with him. Because if you support us at the $500 level, which we don't really talk about too much, you can choose within reason if it's agreed upon, like somebody from MinnMax to play any online game with. And Michael Moran, I love it. I love that he chose StarCraft 2 because I don't think there's a game I'd rather play online with somebody, especially a MinnMax supporter, than StarCraft 2. And so we played 3 games of StarCraft 2. Yeah, it was embarrassing because I crushed him so hard.
You were telling us a different story earlier.
No, trust me, I'm very good at StarCraft 2.
All right, well, there's no way of knowing.
I was really at my peak StarCraft 2 play over the summer, and telling Michael Moran that I'm sure he was flabbergasted, but like, you claimed you were decent at this game because he annihilated me.
Nice.
It was very funny. Like the second game, he was Terran, who he's weakest with. He was playing random, so he's good. I was Protoss. It was very funny because like after like our first big battle, he said, "Well, there was only one way you could have lost that battle, and it's if you just chose to stand on that ramp and get annihilated, and that's exactly what you did."
And then he said amateur toss in the chat.
But thank you for your support, Michael Moran. I really appreciate it. It was funny, too, because I'm like, why did you choose to support at the $500 level? Because you're the first to do it. It'd be fun to play more games with more people, And he's like, back in the day, when I was in college, there was a $500 opportunity to have a meet and greet with Taylor Swift. And I thought about it, and I didn't do it. And he's like, and now I always regret it.
Oh,
and
that's funny.
And now she has just skyrocketed to the top of the chart. So he's like, I think you're on a Taylor Swift-like trajectory, and I was trying to get in while the getting's good.
all right.
Hell yeah. So watch
good
your
story.
ass, T Swift. We're going to own your music if you're not too careful.
Not gonna be able to shake it off after we're done.
That's right. Wario Land, shake it off. All right, here we go. If you want to support us and also submit a question or a comment or a topic for us to cover on the MinnMax show, you can check out our Patreon. We have a post every single week. People leave comments, questions, whatever they want on there, and then that's where we're pulling all these things from. First thing, Mark Ramirez says, what was your favorite announcement or reveal from the Game Awards? Remember that happened last week? Mm-hmm. I had no idea Wolf Among Us Season 2 was coming, and I'm very excited. People aren't really talking about that. Wasn't that strange?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of like vagueness surrounding it because it's not Telltale is not what it used to be. I think
it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they're involved to some degree, and I think the people making this game are from Telltale, but it's not everyone.
I don't think that's been made clear. So the
Really?
Telltale
Okay.
name was revived by different people, including, this is a bizarre fact, but including the original editor-in-chief of Game Informer. Does anybody remember her name? I forget her name.
Oh,
but she was involved in like reviving Telltale, and they might be pulling some former employees, but I think people are combining that story with like the Walking Dead finale, where they did try and like reassemble that team. But I don't know if it's been
That
made
was
clear.
Skybound, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's clear like who exactly is coming back
Yeah, so
for this.
it's hard to be like kind of super gung-ho about that announcement, but as like, so I still, for me, Wolf Among Us is still my favorite Telltale game, but like, it's hard for me. Like, okay, is this gonna be good for the reasons that I remember the Wolf Among Us being good? Because like the talent isn't there. But I am curious enough about it that I will play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Game Awards unquestionably the biggest event there was the reveal of the next generation of Xbox, which
Seeing it.
yeah, I love that we were streaming that serial and that forever we have our archive recorded of like the first time we saw like the console itself because it's so funky looking, and then also the name, and we're like,
Yeah, it's because I feel like I saw something where they're definitely pushing Xbox over Series X as the official name of the
everyone's
console.
too hung up on that. Yeah, so it's like it's just Xbox, and then Series X is going to be seems like that's the more powerful version here.
Yeah, that just seems totally natural with what they want to do. They want to build they're building a platform more than they're building a console at this point. And even though there's what I imagine is going to be a pretty good console, like horsepower wise, they're definitely moving more towards like, what do you call the thing? It's the Xbox, like whatever. Like, and I think people have become more used to the idea of just calling it the iPad. You don't think like, oh, this is the iPad Generation 3. Right? Like no one calls it the Generation 3 because it doesn't matter. It's just the new iPad.
Yeah. I think we talked about it in the MinnFax, which is the exclusive audio podcast, also the stream every Monday. There's a lot of stuff to explain with the Patreon over and over again. I hope that's okay with everybody. But the slogan, I think, is fascinating, where the slogan, it seems like, for Microsoft Next Generation is Power Your Dreams. Isn't that weird?
So Dreams confirmed for Xbox.
Well, that's the bizarre part. It's like we were talking about it on MinnFax, though, but just like the idea that like if Dreams would have been a big hit this year for Sony in its early access state or whatever, would Microsoft have not called it that? But it's weird to like basically have 6 years now of Sony talking about the power of dreams, and now for Microsoft Next Generation, their marketing slogan is going to be Power Your Dreams. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I don't know that they've really leaned on the angle of like, because the thing that Power Your Dreams says to me is like, make it easy to make games. That is sort of like, because I guess for me, I don't see what the like for the player, it's like, yeah, I can power my dreams with this thing. Like I can play, like to me that doesn't necessarily translate.
Play anything you can imagine, I think, is what they're going for.
Well, but then like I
don't
guess
think they're talking to the devs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying is that like. That to me, I know that they're not talking to the devs. That's kind of why I have a problem with it. If you feel Power Your Dreams feels like we're going to make the console easier to develop for.
Yeah.
But that doesn't strike me as a pitch in any way that they're willing to follow up on. But it doesn't strike me as a particularly strong pitch to players, right? Like Power Your Dreams is like, I've always been looking to power my, like even on a literal sense, I've always been looking to power my dreams. It doesn't feel like it's that strong of a slogan, but that's me maybe being pedantic.
That could be. A lot of people commented, and it is very funny, unquestionably, that Phil Spencer, he said, instead of lifelike worlds when he was explaining the Next Generation, he said like worlds.
like worlds.
It was weird at the Game Awards that we were promised more Half-Life Alyx stuff, and then it seems like Valve said that they pulled the trailer at the last second, and that's how they were going to close the show. And like knowing that and knowing that weird structure now for the Game Awards, it does feel like they were missing a climax at the end. It was just kind of like and I don't know, there it is. I guess Sekiro won, and then Vin Diesel shook Miyazaki's hand. The end.
They should have moved Hellblade 2 there, because that was my most exciting announcement.
Oh yeah, Senua's Rage.
Yeah. Just because, I mean, for a lot of reasons, like I love Ninja Theory. I think they're a great developer. I also never thought that game would get a sequel, just because of the way it ends and everything.
Do you love that game?
Yeah, maybe love's a strong word, but like I really like Hellblade a lot. Yeah, I think the thing that I always feel about Ninja Theory is I feel like they were way ahead of the curve in terms of recognizing the importance of performance capture. Now they're getting a chance to kind of be thrust into the spotlight of like, look at how we've been working on this longer than almost anybody. Like, take a look at this, and like then they showed that Hellblade 2 trailer, which was really impressive. So more Ninja Theory exciting. Is surprised that it was Hellblade 2.
I'm very curious as to what they do with that story, because I think the first one was definitely about like, you know, having this person who like they say is like they've consulted with mental illness experts and things like that, and it was sort of her personal like struggle about coming to terms with that. And this sequel definitely feels like it's building on the world and the kind of like that story, you know?
Yeah.
But it feels like this weird
personal,
like pivot,
you know?
right?
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, it's curious to see.
If you've never seen it, I do recommend going to Game Informer's YouTube channel. Give them some love. But watching a video we shot at Ninja Theory of Ben Reeves in the mocap studio doing improv with the actress who is also the video editor, which is confusing, for Hellblade. It, especially like as now, is like, oh, Senua's Rage is this big deal, Xbox exclusive. It's so insane to look back at that and like, that was the first part of the first day at Ninja Theory. We walked in with our equipment. It's like, hey, let's film that thing at the mocap stage. Nobody knew each other, and it was just like the most uncomfortable improv you could imagine between Melina.
Which is where Reeves shines, though.
Oh my God, is it uncomfortable? But it's very funny now to look at, because Reeves is like a big monster from Hellblade, and like I think yes, the performance in Hellblade is awesome, but like spending some time with that actress, like she's a video editor, and like their video series, the documentaries, I think had a good look at like her trying to get more comfortable being an actress. But it's fascinating now, especially like their performance in that trailer is so awesome and the music's so awesome. Just knowing like how, I don't want to say meek, but like how uncomfortable she was with the acting role, even when we were there.
She had to learn how to be an actor, basically.
Yeah, but like even when we were there, like you could still see it was still like a kind of struggle to be like, oh, not quite. Like, you know, Tamim had a lot of takes for even just like simple things, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's fascinating that now it's like, oh, that trailer's performance is incredible. Yeah. So good for them. But speaking of Hellblade, here's a related question. Brady E says, hey, Ben and the boys. I got a question for you. I've noticed an interesting trend in games journalism recently. There seems to be a lot of praise going towards games that are very unique, but not necessarily as traditionally fun to the general public. Antithetically, games that might be more widespread in their general appeal, but repeat well-known mechanics or tropes are seemingly looked down upon. For example, Shenmue 3 and Death Stranding, he mentions people like talking about, oh, it's not really fun, but they're really good games or interesting games, whereas Borderlands 3, people were like, yeah, it's fun, but it's dumb. He just talks about that trend. Do you guys notice that? What do you think about that? Just the rise in reviews being positive towards games that are not traditionally fun.
Mm-hmm. I think for a lot of people, fun can mean a lot of different things. And I think when people talk about fun in the traditional sense, I think it just means immediately gratifying, where it's like you constantly feel good about what you're doing in a moment-to-moment basis. And so like something like Death Stranding, like there's not like headshots going off everywhere, and it's not like you're not constantly like yeah. It's more about like having this like delayed gratification of like the joy of finally accomplishing something that had a little bit of like friction or like what's the word, like you rise above like
adversity.
Yeah, like the fact that you accomplished something that feels like that was adverse, right?
Yeah.
I think it is like two very different kinds of fun. So I still think even though so when people say like, oh, it's not necessarily fun, it just means that like there's a little bit of delayed gratification to it.
Yeah.
Is sort of where I come from.
I think also just critics in general, not even just video game critics, but like film critics, just crave new experiences because they spend so much time, you know, playing games or watching movies or reading books that follow a similar structure that they get really excited when it's like, oh, I've never seen anything like this before. This is really unique and new, and that's more exciting than playing a really polished first-person shooter where you know all the tropes, and even if they're well executed, you still kind of like you get it, you know.
Yeah. Sutton has an interesting one. He says, you must remove 3 of these games from existence, all of which are set to
Detroit.
release. Set to release in 2020. Only 3 can remain.
Okay.
He's listing 6 games. You guys like lists?
And we have to remove 3.
Remove 3 from existence.
Okay.
Last of Us Part 2, Halo Infinite, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima.
Get out of here.
So Resident Evil 3 and Final Fantasy 7, because those are remakes.
I'll get rid of
Simple.
Resident Evil 3.
Yeah. I was going to say Resident
And
Evil 3.
here's a controversial one for me.
I'm sorry, the follow-up to our Game of the Year. See ya.
I actually would be okay with Last of Us Part 2 being gone.
Disappearing.
Just because I loved
Yes.
Last of Us Part 1
Yes,
so much.
yes,
and
yes.
to see it remain a singular
Yep.
beginning, middle, end story I would be okay with that. I'm excited for Last of Us Part 2. I want to see where it goes next. But if there was no Last of Us Part 2, I would
I'm
be
with
okay.
you. Gone.
Boom.
Okay, we're down to Halo Infinite, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima.
So it's between Final Fantasy VII and Halo Infinite, right? Is
Yeah, I think so.
that where
I'm
people
so
are landing?
curious about Halo Infinite.
Yeah,
I am too,
Really?
but I want to see what the
I would
next
remove
next-gen
Final Fantasy VII
Halo
remake
version.
versus
Over my dead body.
or Halo Infinite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Or
didn't.
my living body.
Please.
What would you cut, Hanson?
Ghost of Tsushima?
Really?
Get out of here, you
Nah,
suck.
That sticks
I
around.
don't. It's. I'm not.
Outrage.
on either of
Look,
them,
I'm not
but
saying
We
it's going
got
to be
through
a
that
bad
whole.
game.
We got through the whole year-end list.
What if we
and
spent
this
the
is
next
what
hour and a
is
half
gonna
arguing
split us
about
apart?
this?
Out of all of these, I think Ghost of Tsushima will be the least talked about at the end of next year.
You
Maybe.
are giving a lot of credit to Halo Infinite for something we have seen nothing about.
That's true.
That's kind of why I'm so curious about it.
I'm
though.
so curious about
I am
it.
too,
Exactly.
but I wouldn't trade Ghost of Tsushima
Did
for
you guys
it.
play Halo 5? I don't know. I'm just.
That's why
made
that's
more
part of
Halo
why-
games?
Like the fact that they didn't immediately pump out the next one makes me think that they know what,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
reaction
True.
to Halo 5.
Absolutely.
But I'm very excited for Tsushima just because I like Sucker Punch so much. So
Do you guys really think?
if you put those 4 games in front of me, I'm going to play Tsushima first.
What?
Yeah, honestly.
Really?
I'm not a Final Fantasy VII guy. I'm excited for that remake. I'm going to play
Wow.
it. But look, man, it's the truth.
Yeah, that and Cyberpunk for me
Yeah.
would be
Yeah,
my
I'd probably
first
play
two.
Cyberpunk first.
I'd cut Cyberpunk before Final Fantasy VII.
Oh boy.
At
Not to do
Yozetti
with
on
my
Twitter.
dead right.
Good question.
Hey, let's go with the original Cyberpunk. Final Fantasy VII. Sorry, everyone's just losing their minds. I'm just messing with you guys. Don't worry.
How long is this podcast?
Okay, Halo Infinite I could cut.
I could cut it. That's the one I said Final Fantasy VII already.
Is
But
that
if,
it?
if I'm not allowed to cut Final Fantasy VII, I'd do Halo.
I'd either cut Final Fantasy or Ghosts, but
Okay, there we go, Sutton. The 3 we're keeping for next year are Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Ghost of Tsushima.
apologies
Also-
to all the development teams who were working so hard on those games.
Yes, and also Halo Infinite is gonna get cut from next year anyway, right?
You don't think
Oh,
it's
they
coming
got
out
it
next
That,
year?
that seems like out of those games, I would
I think they
that would be
needed
the
at the
one that would
launch
be
so
first.
badly. And
That's
even
a
if they have
Series
to do
X
some
launch.
emergency thing and be like, it's only single player or it's
Oh,
only multiplayer. I think
There's
they
a good chance it'll be good next year, but I think they're releasing it at launch no matter what.
You being a little stinker?
No,
You meant good in 2021.
I think that they're releasing it on launch whether or not it's like ready.
Whether it's done or not.
Yeah.
Here we come, ready or not. Get the game out.
Halo Infinite.
Okay, Greg Flaming Queso, champion. Flaming Queso is so good.
Yeah.
And he's been so supportive of MinnMax so far. Guess how long he's been a fan of Game Informer?
10 years.
25.
No.
He found it with Leo's rapid fire for Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Which feels like just happened yesterday.
Yeah,
like
that
it's
was-
so
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
He's so supportive.
I was in the room for that.
Wow.
Wow.
Meow.
Meow.
Meow. Do you guys remember? I just went back and reread it because it freaked me out. Do you remember that review for Incredibles 2 from, I think it was the Washington Post,
Oh,
where
I
that
think I know
guy
what you're
is
talking
just
about.
the biggest creep about Elastigirl?
Yeah, I know what you're
It
talking
is.
about.
Just look up creepy Washington Post Incredibles 2 review.
Safe search off.
Yes, because like I understand like people are into Mission Incredible. Look, I understand that intimately, but like this thing is insane.
Wow.
Yeah, stay
I
away
don't
from
think
that.
so.
Stay away from him, Elise.
Get a load of that.
Yeah, there are children on this plane. Anyway, what?
It's been a long day, folks.
Right. Dear Ben and his computer-loving cohorts.
Hey, that's us.
No negativity towards this year in gaming. 2019 was a great year, but something I've been wondering about. If Spider-Man, God of War, Red Dead 2 released in 2019 instead of 2018, do you think any of these would be the clear game of the year 2019?
I think Red Dead or God of War would.
I think based on the list we just put together,
I think
Probably.
Spider-Man would still probably take it.
Yeah.
I think that would be Spider-Man's chance. If they just would have delayed it 1 year, I think they could have won Game of the Year.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
But I'm also like a little cooler on Spider-Man. But I still feel like the general consensus on that game is cooler than people expected. But I don't know.
What's that?
On Spider-Man?
Yeah, on Spider-Man.
You think it's cooler than expected?
Yeah.
Like, not as... people
I know
weren't
that
as
there's a lot of
jazzed
people
about
who
it.
feel like it should be Game of the Year, but I think that I think there are a lot of games that were stronger to me personally than Spider-Man. But
Boy,
we'll see.
I don't know about that.
Meow.
Yeah. So yeah, they should have delayed it. They blew it. No. There's no universe where that'd be worth their while, would it? To just get that Game of the Year
to come out at the same time as the new movie. That was this year, right? That might have been... Might have helped
Yeah,
it
but
maybe.
that'd be confusing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're fine. It
I
didn't
also
need
don't
help.
think Far From Home made like the biggest splash, right?
Yeah.
I think, and they could have timed it with Endgame, honestly, and had maybe a little more
Into the
success.
Spider-Verse.
That's true, yeah.
Grizzled Gaming says, this is the last MinnMax show before Christmas. I'd love everyone's heartiest ho-ho-ho to help get people into the spirit. 'Tis the season, right? We'll have to do it far away from the mic so we don't blow it out. Serial, do you want to give your best ho-ho-ho? Seriously, as if you're a mall Santa. Like, get away from that mic, but yeah.
Oh, oh, oh.
ho ho ho!
Ho, ho, ho! Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
No one's sitting on your lap. I was expecting a John
think so.
Marston.
I
Like,
think the kid is...
ho ho!
Oh, hang on. Yeah, let's role play. This is a little play we've been working on with Jeffem, where I'm Arthur Morgan, and you're James...
No, you should be John.
Okay,
John
I
Marston.
was going to say James Marsden. Okay,
Did I
I'm
just
John
say that?
I'm
I
John
may have
Marsden.
just said
I'm
that,
John
too.
Marston.
Yeah.
You're Arthur Morgan, and
Morgan?
we're
Mogren, the developer
we're
of...
surprising the camp with Christmas presents.
Oh, boy.
Ready? You guys are the camp.
Hey, camp buddy.
Howdy.
It's cold. Mm-hmm. Oh, hello.
Ho, ho, ho!
Oh, John, you all right?
Merry I'm cooking soup over here.
Anything to get out of work. I'm the one stuck carrying all the presents over here.
Oh, hell. So you'll cut this, right?
Just stage right
Good enough.
lines.
Well, see ya! I'm gonna go die! Been thinking about building a house
Good girl.
to put all these presents in. It's a gingerbread house! I love Christ!
If anybody wants to make that poster, John Marston quote. I love Christ.
Feel free to animate that in full if you want.
There's
All right,
something
next
so,
letter.
There's something so funny to me about like setting up this improv and just choking after. Like, what
am I
have we
supposed to
done? Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
Eric Smith says, "What is one Christmas tradition that is unique or original to you or your families?"
Hell yeah, dude.
Kyle, you play Spin the Bottle, right?
With your relatives?
I don't think
You sick.
I don't have any like big any off the top of my head, really. Honestly, I'm still recovering
I have
from
the
that last
best
bit.
one,
Yes, please.
which is instead of eating a stupid turkey or ham, we have Christmas lasagna every year.
That's very good. That's
I look
very
forward
good.
to the meal the entire year leading
a
up.
I don't
to it.
think
Christmas
people.
lasagna?
It's just a lasagna at
okay.
Christmas.
There's not like...
Peppermint in it.
Well, that's. I mean, if you use different flavors or whatever, I don't know. That's why I asked the question.
No.
Yeah. I think lasagna near the top of that list, and people please it right in next week with your suggestion. Top of the list for foods that we should all eat more because it's good, but I never think of.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's time consuming to make it, I think.
Is that
the
right?
Bigger,
Is
yeah.
that right?
I mean, compared to a plate of pasta, which is pretty close to the same thing.
Do you think Jim Davis loved lasagna and that's the whole Garfield thing? Like, why lasagna for a cat?
Maybe just like drawing it, maybe.
It did look simple,
Yeah.
you guys. Okay.
Makes you think.
Patrick Polk says, surreal story about his hometown paper making fun of him compared to his brother Edgar cast a new amusing light on all the questions and comments that Edgar submits. Is there a sibling rivalry? Are you competitive with each other in video games, other arenas? Who's winning?
I think
Aside from the obvious category of write-ups in the local newspaper.
we're always competing about those. I think we used to be, and I think we kind of just drifted off. I think for a while we were both pretty into fighting games, and then he eventually fell off, and then I've kind of continued with them. So like we don't, and we also used to play Dota a while, but we've never played against each other much. So it's like I don't know. I you'd have to ask him, but like I don't feel like we're as competitive.
He
as
told
we
me
used to
that you
be.
guys are more competitive than ever.
Oh.
And that your ass is grass.
Oh, wow.
Are you the older brother?
No, I'm the younger one.
You're the younger
Yeah,
one. And how much
interesting.
older is he than you?
3 years.
Just the two of you?
Okay.
No, there's 4.
Really?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh. How come you don't talk about them? Or is it just that they write into the show less?
They by which I mean Edgar writes in it all.
Here's a great one. Tim Laro says, hi, Ben and the computer-loving cohorts. Let's really get to know each other.
Uh-oh.
These are very important questions. How tall are you and how old are you? I just need to know.
For no reason. I have this form here I'm filling out. It's called a subpoena. For some reason, I need to know your height and age.
Hey, Tim, I'm 6'1", 32 years old.
You're really 6'1"? You're not really 6'1".
You're only 32?
Yeah. I'm
Holy
6'1".
Crap.
Really?
Yeah. I thought I was 6'2" for a long time, and then I
Prove
went to
it.
the doctor, and they said, you're 6'1". Oh. You idiot.
I went to the doctor to measure my height.
Yeah.
Is that the only thing he
And
told
then
you?
he said, ooh-ee, ooh-ah.
Walla,
Dang.
bing bang.
Yeah, get life insurance. Does anybody else want to volunteer these things?
I'm 5'9", and I'm 33.
Oh,
I-
cool.
I
Speaking
don't-
of Jesus.
It's something I have to like do the math in my head,
Yeah.
like because I don't think about my age.
Yeah,
ever.
you're old enough to.
Yeah,
That
like
happens.
once you've hit a certain point, you're like, I don't know, I'm around 30,
Sure.
mid-30s, something like that.
Great.
I'm 5'7" and 38.
That's amazing. You're looking good for 38.
Hey. It's all that Christmas lasagna. Keeps you young.
I think I'm 5'7".
Yeah.
And I'm 27.
Okay, so for the official MinnMax height and age, someone needs to average those. Okay, Justin Swart says, hey, Ben and the CLCs.
That's really sticking around. I like it.
As 2019 is coming to an end, it's time to check your list and tally up the games you played.
Oh, right.
How many games did you play or complete? Across all platforms, I beat 50 games this year, which is way more than I have ever done in a single year before. I guess following MinnMax and Game Informer closely will have that effect.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's
Let me
absurd.
check my list.
I don't know if I have a beaten list.
How many times are you going to check it, Surreal?
I'm fine with ones.
I don't keep track of how many games I complete because it's really embarrassing, but I play so many games just to start them. I counted up 2019. In 2019, I started 114 games.
You're sick, dude.
These are just games that came out this year, too.
That's absurd.
I know.
I'm at
Okay.
like 30.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm at like 50, and I would say I've beaten like 70% of those. But then for that other 30%, like I played them a lot. I just didn't finish them.
Yeah.
So that's about where I'm at.
I'm at 43, and I think I beat about 80% of them, yeah.
Wow. So I guess I'm cool. Huh. All right. Let's see. Stud Muffin, great question. How many hugs do you participate in per week?
Like 8 or 9, I guess.
8 or 9?
Well,
'Cause
probably
of the
more
kid?
than that. Yeah, I hug her twice a day, so probably more like 15 or 16.
In a room.
A week?
Yeah, a week.
Did he say?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm probably 9.
I hug my wife all the time. I don't know what that number is.
Yeah. Vertically?
Infinite.
Hey.
Dumb. What about you, sorry?
Not a whole.
Oh,
I got the hug I needed right there.
He's got one at least.
Wes Pomeroy, born and raised, says, hey, Ben and crew, if you could have a month off for a holiday break like you were a kid, What would you do? What games
If
would
you
play?
could have a month off.
Jeff is living his childhood fantasy.
Yeah.
What would you play?
Yeah.
Man.
The one that is always on my backlog that I've tried multiple times when I have these big chunks of time off is Witcher 3.
Oh, interesting.
But I never can stick with it. I think the furthest I got was 8 hours once. But yeah. So
Wow.
that'd be my answer maybe.
I've wanted to replay, and I want to do it over while there's snow on the ground. I've wanted to replay Chrono Trigger so effing badly. And I hope in the new year we do that. Wink, wink, wink.
You gonna do it on your iPhone?
That's right.
That is
The only way to go.
that is not a short game.
I'm aware. I'm aware. You guys have anything?
Every game that came out in 2019? Or Red Dead.
Do you guys feel like 2019 purged at this point? Or do you still feel like I need to keep
No,
playing?
I still want to go back
Yeah,
to
there's
all
a
the
few things I do.
games on
Like
that.
Life is Strange 2.
Oh, yeah,
for
exactly.
example.
Yeah.
I would either just work through my backlog or maybe try to learn like a Street Fighter character or try to learn something in either Dota or like a fighting game. Just try to if I have that amount of dedicated time, I would probably try to get better at fighting games or something.
Have fun. Henrik Jacobson says, "Hey, minis. I love this question so much, Henrik. I love you. Henrik, do you hear me? Remember, Emily Reese suggested we talk only to one person in the mic.
Oh,
right
that's
now,
right,
I'm
yeah.
only talking to Henrik.
Listen up, Henrik.
Henrik. He says, sorry. He says, what fighting game character do you think you could actually beat in a real life fight? You can't pick. I don't know this character. Dr. Buskanovich from Tekken 3.
Yeah.
Beating up an old man is too cruel.
Yeah, he was like some weird scientist guy.
Is there any fighting game character we could beat in real life?
As a team, will we all gang up?
No,
Individually.
What about the car from Fighters Megamix?
I would not want to fight a rogue. I would not want to placed into an arena
You're gonna
with
get run over,
a
Hanson.
car that can move.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Phoenix Wright is the correct answer.
Oh,
'Cause
that's a good one.
He's just some dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a very good one. Well, what does he do in MVC?
Well, he's got a lot of when he yells objection, the bubble will actually hit you, and he has a thing where he can solve a case during a match by picking up clues and then hitting you with a certain
He
attack.
can't do that in real life.
Exactly.
He's
I'm gonna whoop his ass, dude.
he's pretty buff though, right?
That's
Really?
fine.
I think part of it is he is
just
constantly
like a late
intimidated by
20s
anyone who's
lawyer,
he's
right?
intimidated by the opposition constantly. So
Yeah, that's
I think
such
I
a good
could take
choice.
him.
That's such a good choice. Because I was thinking if you go back to Budokai 3, the Dragon Ball game, okay, who's the weakest character? Hercule, but Hercule or
Yeah,
Mr.
he was in
Satan would still
Budokai.
kick my
Yeah.
butt.
Yeah, because he still trains in martial arts.
Majin
right?
Buu I could probably distract with candy or something, right? But it's not really beating.
No.
Yeah.
I could try blowing myself up. I don't think that would work for Majin Blue. Majin Blue.
Majin Blue.
Majin Blue himself.
My
up.
brother was talking about how he's heard about Majin Blue. He's a new type of enemy, man.
Dude, Ness from Smash
But
Brothers.
he's got
He's
psychic
psychic.
abilities,
Oh.
and he has a bat.
He beats up an RPG
yeah, but he's a little
boss.
kid with a bat.
He-
I mean, you only
He
have
can summon
He only has
fire.
to swing it once, and you get past
Yeah,
it.
he can summon fire. You're totally right. You're gonna dodge
well,
that PK
if you're
fire.
gonna go by psychic powers,
But Smash is interesting. I hadn't considered Smash.
the Duck Hunt dog.
Duck Hunt Dog.
Olimar, I could step on.
You could just pounce on his. Yeah.
Yeah, Olimar. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
What about
Olimar.
Piranha Plant? You just pluck that sucker out of the soil.
No, because that thing's big, right? Because you have
Yeah,
to go
that-
scale of how it is in the
Oh,
game.
yeah.
And in the
He'll
game,
He'll bite you.
Olimar, think of how big Pikmin actually is. If it's struggling to pick up a tin can.
Ooh, Pichu.
No way!
Just
Punt that sucker.
He's high tier.
If he touches you, you're electric. It's like Blanca or
Dude, I
something.
got rubber soles.
There's no
on
way
my
it's not
shoes.
Olimar. He sucks in the game. He sucks in real life. You
He's
can
good.
step
He's
on
pretty
him.
good in Ultimate. To be fair.
Yeah, but still.
Okay. Never mind.
All right, Mike Vote says, which character has the better backstory? The guy who paints all the climbable legends. The guy who paints all the climbable ledges while in white in Uncharted. The guy
And
who,
all games
Yeah.
ever.
yeah, the guy who makes sure all the barriers are exactly waist high in Gears of War. Or the guy who makes sure each random box of ammo contains exactly the right amount in Resident Evil.
The painter, because
Yeah.
he's he's
Painter.
off climbing
Yeah.
and stuff and
Yeah, and he has to
exploring.
dangle while he's painting those
Yeah.
ledges.
It's also
This
the
way,
most.
Drake!
It's also the most explicitly nonsensical thing because it's oh, you can put ammo in here, so in the locker, yeah, that makes sense. But it's go paint this ledge that someone at some point might need to use to step onto the thing.
Right.
Who's gonna do? If you tell someone to do it, they're like, why? It makes no sense.
Can we trace that back? What was the first game for the white paint edge.
I think, Assassin's Creed is probably the first one I remember, but it might have been Uncharted. But
First Prince of Persia had white ledges.
That's true.
I don't
I
think,
think
it
they're
did,
all
actually.
white. Yeah, isn't it black on white?
Oh, the original.
Yeah,
I was thinking of Sands of
Yeah.
Time. Okay, sure.
Smarty pants.
You guys ready?
Those jokes, man.
Yeah, I'm working
Let's
on
be
them.
serious.
Okay. Mike Spam writes in. Do you remember that name?
Mm-hmm.
You effing should. He says, "Hey, Ben and the game name guessers. Well, I'm not going to do this weekly or anything close to that. I did have another set of questions I had drafted up, which is trivia from Game Facts.
Oh, okay, great.
Number
great.
one,
Okay.
the top three random questions from games on Game FAQ that people are trying to get answers for.
Right.
Okay.
We will give the platform and the year. Are you ready?
Yes.
The PlayStation 2 in the year 2004.
Okay.
Boxer shorts? Question mark?
Maximo.
Catherine.
What?
I said Maximo.
I said Catherine.
Incorrect. Catherine 2004? Get your head
I
out of
don't
your
know.
butt.
I
All right,
just heard
Serial.
boxers.
PlayStation 3 game.
All right, Serial. Are the dragons actually dragons? And is fisticuffs worth it? Pros and cons.
God Hand?
Dragon Quest 8.
Oh.
Isn't that tricky? Oh boy, here we go. Platform 360,
Wait,
PS3.
wait, hold on. Do we buzz into this?
Please do.
Okay, all right. With our names, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Platform 360, PS3, Wii, DS, and the year is 2007.
Boy. Okay.
This is amazing. 2007. What is poo money? Problem with the push thingy-majiggies?
What?
Does anyone know a cheat code to get Darth Vader?
Kyle. Soul Calibur 6?
Oh
No.
boy, no.
Star Wars: The Force Unleashed?
No.
Was that right? Was that 6?
No,
had
that
Darth
would have been
Vader?
4.
Ah, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was way
Jeff
off.
Marky Fava.
Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
To get Darth Vader
I have
in
no idea.
2007.
I have no idea.
What the hell? Are we in a time war? Solution: Lego Star Wars: The Complete Set.
Of course.
Yep.
We're stupid.
That's cheating.
Yep. Okay. Platform is PC, PS3, and 360 in the year 2009.
What were the platforms again? I'm sorry.
PC, PS3, 360.
Okay.
2009.
All right.
Nothing is real? 3 question marks. What is the truth?
Assassin's Creed 2.
Wow!
Nice. Good job there, man.
Way to go, buddy. There we go.
Nothing is real. What is the truth? Oh, Assassin's Creed 2.
And the
of
final
course.
question was mercenaries, thieves, and hookers? Okay. PlayStation 2 in the year 2004.
Okay.
I can't find the thermal goggles under the big ear. Why?
Jeff. Splinter Cell.
Incorrect.
Can you say the platforms and stuff again?
PS2 in the year 2004.
Okay.
Oysters everywhere, but not this one I need.
Oh, boy.
Okay, this is very good. This is it, baby. Can we see what I am doing in-house after I say yes after date?
Kyle. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
There we go. Hot copy himself. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, you could collect oysters in that game, couldn't you?
I don't remember
I
that.
think you could, because you could swim for the first time.
Jeff, if you knock over that
I
mic.
can't help it. This is the problem.
Oh my God.
you
Are
wanna
you sure
swap
you're
mics?
still
Is that-
plugged in?
No.
You can pick
Yes,
this one
I'm
too.
still plugged in.
Oh my God. Platform is the Wii in the year 2009. Beeping Lighthouse? I beat Matt, but I don't have samurai armor. How do I get it? Canoeing ducks. Help?
Red Steel 2?
No. Canoeing ducks is your biggest hint. 2009, the Wii.
Kyle, Wii Sports Resort?
Wii Sports Resort!
Wow.
Way to go, buddy!
Canoeing ducks. All right.
Oh my God in heaven. The platform, PC, PS3, 360, PS2, PSP, and the Wii. Also recently remastered on everything as well. Original release 2009.
Kyle,
Kyle.
Ghostbusters.
Damn it! Yeah! Ghostbusters the video Okay, I shouldn't have given you that hint.
I should have just listened through
Yeah.
it. I'm
Question
sorry.
is-
I'm sorry, Spam.
Can
Matt
you-
Spam?
Mike Spam.
Mike Spam?
Can you
Sorry,
erase
Mike.
your property damage record? What is the best strategy for lowering the gate that drains the slime? Having a hard time trying to scan the hobo ghost? There we go. Thank you so much, Mike Spam. You can do that every week, and I would read that stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's so
love that
fun.
game. That's super fun.
Fantastic. All right, it's been a long, wonderful journey, but I think it's time for Get a Load of This.
Well, get a load of this.
Okay, you did it. It counts.
There's a whole like subset of accounts that'll just be like, here's some cool art, or they'll like retweet stuff that's already happened, and sometimes the accreditation on that can be kind of weird. But every once in a while, something like History Lovers Club will tweet something like, here's their tweet, 9/11. Check out for more. And it is a photo of the Twin Towers.
God, surreal.
There's 3 photos of the Twin Towers. One of them is like the tower smoking. One of them there's like the explosion in the left tower, and then in the third photo it's the explosion is brighter. And this post, as you might expect, got a lot of flack.
Yeah.
Things like major bruh moment with that exclamation point, because it says 9/11. For more information, check out. Thanks from a fellow history lover. Let's be fair, there are now adults who weren't born when 9/11 happened. True, but that doesn't make the tone of this post any better, which is fair.
All right. Well, thanks for a good think piece here, Surreal.
And then I think that the way that I found it was that someone had quoted it, and he was like, "Thanks, looking to learn more."
Oh, jeez.
Jeff up.
Yikes! This one was an interesting thing that stuck out to me. So get a load of this.
Yes, sir.
That almost didn't count. It's from a staff writer at the New Republic called Osita Nwanevu. I probably said that wrong. But his tweet says, in the 4 years since the Star Wars sequel trilogy began, I don't think I've read a single article focused on how the new films are being received by children.
That's very interesting.
And yeah.
Isn't that a
and
good
that's-
point?
That's what stuck out to me, too, as well, because everyone who's talking about these movies, for the past couple of years, like, we all saw them as children, right? When we were the actual target audience for it.
Easy. Yep. No, of course. Yeah.
Wait, what?
George Lucas has said 1,000 times, these are designed for 12-year-olds. Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, it's a good point.
yeah, that's about... I don't want to say anything else because you seem very concerned whenever I
it's
bring
fine.
up Star Wars.
No, I'm fine.
But yes, it is that reminder of, hey, if a movie isn't for you, you don't have to start a petition or, complain to high heavens. Maybe you're just not the target audience. and
Please
that's
enjoy
okay.
Rise of Skywalker this weekend.
I am very curious as to like the long-term impact of this specific trilogy on kids.
Yeah.
Will it be as I can't imagine it'll be as impactful because there's so much more media now
Right.
to latch onto in a way that there wasn't back during the original trilogy. So I'm very curious to see where, like, what the canon for these movies is like down the road.
Yeah.
If my kid is any indication, it will have zero impact.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
I'm just not interested. It's Dad's thing. It's according to her.
Kyle,
Speaking of movies,
what's your thing?
So Jumanji, the next level film, came out recently.
Yes, sir.
Which I saw, and it was funny. It's a funny movie.
Yeah?
Get a load of that.
Hideo Kojima. Oh, get a load of this.
No.
Hideo Kojima thought much higher of the movie than I did. And he tweeted, saw Jumanji next level. Like this film. Inspire your courage in the game. Get your trust back from friends. Utilize your own abilities and save the world by cooperating each other. And such experience will connect... Spam call. And such experience will connect to your real life. That's exactly the power of games next level. So
He loves
that's
that film.
Kojima's
Wow.
review of Jumanji, the next level, a movie that I thought was pretty funny.
So look forward to The Rock and Jack Black being in the next Kojima game.
Did you see that weird thing where PlayStation tweeted out, like, the Dreams community made,
Yeah.
basically an advertisement for Jumanji, and then the crew played it, but they had big text on the screen saying, like, you can't actually play this in Dreams. Like, it's not released. And I wonder if that's because, like, the other company had the video game rights to Jumanji. Check out this video, Jeff. It is bizarre.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Hey, get a load of this. This is a little bit different, but I had one of the most mind-bending experiences I've ever had in a movie theater this last week. because I saw Knives Out. Did you see Knives Out yet, Kyle?
No, but I really want to, so please don't spoil anything.
Nope, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
We showed up a little bit late to the movie, and I was like, oh, it's weird there's no trailers. Okay, but I guess it's starting. Okay, you just got to fill in some gaps here because it's at a pivotal moment here, obviously. Then, not too long after that, the credits ran, and all I knew about this movie was that people said it was very subversive. So I sat through the credits like, okay, when's the real movie starting? Thinking it was psych out fake credits. That is not the fact. We just went to the wrong theater and entered halfway into a subversive murder mystery, and it was mind-bending because it was like, okay, I'm done with murder mysteries, but like, this is a murder mystery on hard mode because I'm filling in so many details. So then we sat through and then waited for the next showing to start. And then it felt like I was watching a prequel to this movie that I really loved that gave some very important context for what was happening. But the crazy thing is it showed to me, or just proved to me in this weird way, like the flexibility of film and editing. Because like Knives Out, if you go in only watching that second half thinking that is the entire movie, it totally works. And it works in a really fun way of like, they keep referencing these things. And it's like, okay, you can piece it together. You have all the clues you need. But then seeing the context is just like, the fact that the film could work both ways blew my mind. And I'm not going to spoil anything to go into any further depth, but like, imagine if you've seen it, the pivotal moment halfway through that movie, thinking that was the start. And it's like, anyways, it's a very specific thing for me, but like, my mind has not been lit on fire like that from a film in so long. Like the entire drive home, where it's like, oh my God, and then this, and this, and this, and then I thought this, but it was actually that, blah, 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 blah. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I think that speaks to like kind of the reason I'm not the type of person who's like, oh, I need to play every game in this series before I dive into the new one.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like my mind is like, you can usually fill in those gaps, and at some point people will refer to like the important parts of the game, and they'll kind of, and you can fill in the clues with just context clues, right? Like it's not impossible to do that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
like I feel like that honed in when like a friend of mine who had never seen most of the Marvel movies like just watched Endgame without having watched any of those movies.
Oh my
he was
God.
like, oh, that movie's really cool. I enjoyed it. Like the fact that you didn't need to have watched all of those movies to enjoy that movie is just
it's
like
another amazing thing about Endgame, that like it can work that way. You know?
Like you don't need all the backstory to go into every piece of like media that So don't be intimidated by jumping into a long running series. You can just jump into
or don't even worry about starting a movie at the beginning. Just go in halfway
Wander through a theater, jump in wherever, you can piece it together. But that movie does rule. Like, and I feels like I watched two different versions of it, and both are very good. Hey, this week I'm going to be purchasing a bunch of toys and games to drop off at a local hospital. We had that GoFundMe. It was connected to the first MinnMax community meetup, and then we had the online GoFundMe as well for a lot of generous people donating, and we ended up raising over $3,400. So thanks to everybody that donated.
Yeah, that's great.
And so we're going to be buying a bunch of fun toys and games and giving it to the hospital. I've been talking to them just about how to get the most bang for the buck, but we'll document that whole process. We're planning on buying a bunch of Switch Lites, installing some really good games for the kids, probably buying some so they can share cartridges as well. But we'll detail that whole process for you. But I know this podcast is running long, but I do want to give special thanks to everybody that donated for that GoFundMe to raise some money for kids. And we're going to be doing more charitable things in the future with MinnMax. That's part of, I don't know, the positivity connected to this Patreon is I would love to always have a charity to champion. So for donating to that GoFundMe, I want to give a big shout out to Will Usherwood, Jordan Johnson, Average Snorlax, Jose Cordova, Alex Hackney, Gregory Eglin, F. the Habs, William Garcia, Corey Skinner, Chris Ripley, Brian Richter, Keith Butterfield, Phil Sullivan, Seth Walker, J.T. Fells, Brian Folks, Paul Poff, who says, hey, buy those kids a Switch. This is coming from the Ori team. Paul works on Ori in Will of the West. Wasn't that cool? J.T. Fells.
Is that where the game got delayed? Sorry.
That's right. Casey Tilton, Toby Goslin, Ben Balls, Seth Walker, Barrett Boswell, Alex Snyder, Nick DeFeo, Lance Wilkins, Scott Hilgendorf, Miguel Lopez, Andrew Palomo, Ryan Van Leer, Julian Watkins, Brian Richter, J.T. Fells again, Rich McLaughlin, Zeth Hillman Johnson, Matt Landers, William Garcia, Dakota Salmarillion, Jesse Molina, Andrew Arizo, C.T. Bishop, Chris Cochin, not sure, Rhonda Dameron, Christopher Powell, Dumia Black, Andrew Arizo, Caleb Peters, Michael Moran, very generous Michael, Thomas Hoster, Roman Vasco Boynikov, Jason Daphnis, hello Jason, Brian Mel Ferber, Mike Turdage, Dylan, Let's go. Dylan, Mexi, Hunter, Ferris, Adam, Christopher, Oswaldo, Grant, Paul, Birkin, James, Greg, Adam, Manuel, Brian, Anthony, Chad, Nicholas, Lauren, Han, Septipus, James, Eric, Marty, Garrett, Gary, Matt, Brian, William, Scott, Thomas, Carly, Travis, William, Sutton, Justin, Flaming Queso, Sam, Osama, Harry, Michelle, Dan, Jacob, Tom, Regav, Dustin, Andrew, Anon, Mark, Omar, Mike, Bob Buell, Wade, Wojcik, Eben McHugh, Brian Horsley, Sean Mills, Christopher Milia, Alex, Chris, MJ Wright, Adam Lewis, Eric Garcia, Nicholas, Elliot, Christopher Reardon, Robbie Adams, Chase Olson, Thomas Folk, Adam Zipper, Anthony Dennis, Dakota Samoran, Jesse Blu-ray, Brandon, Sam, Tyler, Pierce, Christopher, Edgar Vasquez, Jordan, Blake, Brooks, Hazel Mohammed, Scooms. Thank you so much.
Holy
to
crap.
Ben
Hansen there at the end.
I did donate at the end there as well.
Read your own
Right.
name.
Thanks
Thank you to
again.
everybody. That's amazing.
Generous donations. That's going to be really fun to document that whole process and
Yeah.
get some good toys and games out to the hospital. Whew, that's been a journey. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Support us at any level on Patreon. It'd be fun to have more people jump into that $50 tier because that's going to kick in, and I can't wait to have that rolling for next month here. And obviously, if you support us above the $50 tier, we'll also have... you'll get those $50 benefits as well. So everything, right? That's the way that works? Yes, that's the way that math works. Cool. Thank you so much. We will be back next week with the community fixing the list. We'll be taking a week off after that for the holidays, but it's been a hell of a year, and please enjoy some good time with the families. All right. Thanks, everybody. Be good. Have fun. Let's go.